Start skateboarding?
Whoa!
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. You just crossed him over. Danced to another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover. Josh and Ravi are here. Uh-oh. Ravi's just trying to get his
I don't know what's going
Chick-fil-A
on.
straight.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
He's good.
There might
You
be
hear
some
that fuzz?
Polynesian sauce on the ground.
Ooh, there's a fuzz in here today.
A fuzz?
Where if it's that? If
I'm going to turn off mics and see what's
It's
up.
a phone. It's the phone. Turn off the phone pot. No, just the pot.
Nope, it's not that. Turn
Oh, it
off
usually
Ravi.
is
Turn
for
off
me.
Ravi's. Boom. That's what it is.
Oh no, Ravi
Is it
can't
me?
talk
Just
today.
adjust your microphone. Just move it. Oh,
that
that made
better?
it worse.
Plug it
Holy
unplug it
God.
and plug it back in.
Better?
I can't hear it.
That is,
No.
dude. It is horrible.
Better?
Unplug it and plug it back in.
Here, you can hear it.
Dude, listen to that. You hear that fuzz?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
not good.
Yeah. Nope. Now it's. That actually made it worse.
That's really bad now. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, now it's
Oh.
gone again. You're probably triggering Nick right now.
Oh.
I turned it off
Oh.
because that's not.
Again, he
it
was
doesn't sound
triggering
good.
him. Yeah. Awesome. This is gonna be fun.
Better?
All right. Nope.
Cool.
All right. Well,
You
welcome
could
to the
just,
show.
You could use this microphone or something.
Yeah, you can just stand over there, Ravi.
Yeah, just stand over here the whole show.
Yeah. Oh, now you'll have your headphones on. Now you can hear the fuzz too. Wow, that's bad. That came out of nowhere.
Tune into 1620 The Zone for the fuzz.
Fuzz boy Robbie.
1620 the fuzz.
1620 The fuzz.
I didn't hear any of that with Nick this morning.
That's a good radio
There was
name.
no fuzz. The fuzz.
Yeah, 97.3 The Buzz Fuzz.
I like this.
That's a morning show radio host name. The
Absolutely.
Fuzz.
The Fuzz.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
hey.
Oh,
Nope. Bad. It's back.
we had it for a second, I think.
All right. Well.
This is cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
you wouldn't have heard it from our show because
Yeah, I was gonna say, why did you never notice this? And then I realized, oh, that's right. There, you know.
Usually when I hear something, it's the phone pot that's on. And
Yeah.
I one time just, it's weird because I'm sure our listeners probably either didn't hear it or it didn't bother them.
Mhm.
But once you get it in your head that you're aware of it, then you can't make it go away.
Odson commenting on YouTube says, "Wow, I can actually hear it on YouTube. That's great.
Oh, that's not.
That's
good.
That's
awesome.
good.
So it's just coming through everywhere."
But remember, Josh is a trained professional with his ears to be able to hear these things. So maybe other people don't care.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely have that like what's the word I'm looking for? I almost said a bad word on the radio. I'm not allowed to say.
Don't
Kinda
say
like,
those
you know,
words.
like,
Was it the word that Tony Romo was going to say?
No, not that word. Definitely not that word. But like cinephiles and audiophiles, like all these people that have a very high opinion of like society.
Themselves?
Yeah, that
Oh,
too.
Okay.
So I am like that
Careful.
with high definition. And so
yeah.
we got Cox Cable now.
Oh,
and she was
let's
like,
go!
"Hey, do you want to watch The Last of Us? Do you want me to set up the DVR for The Last of Us?" And I was like, "No." It's like, "I want to watch it on Apple TV on our streaming because the streaming quality is way better." And she goes, "What?" And I go, "I don't really want to explain this, but it's better. You just have to trust me." And she says, "I'm happy. I don't care about this stuff." And I said, "You know what? I guess me too, because then I can say, let's just watch it on the streaming."
It's a sickness that you can acquire, and once you have it, you just have it for the rest of your life.
Can't shake it.
We started watching the menu like that on the on-demand, and I was like, "Nah, we're going to switch over." It doesn't look very
My
good.
brother's that way with audio as well.
Well, so he probably hates this right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, he never listens to me.
This is bugging me.
But he,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
He has to have a sound bar for every one of his TVs in his house.
Oh, so
he's a big like audio guy.
It's important.
And I'm like, I literally I can tell there's like more sound when there's like a sound system.
Oh no, Ravi, you can't say this.
I understand it's better sound as well, but it's not to a degree that it bothers me. Like I can watch a TV.
So you could watch it like when the sound just comes out of the TV and it goes, and like you can hear
so tinny.
It never makes that noise. I don't know. I don't even know.
It's not that
that was a weird
That was an
noise.
exaggeration and not
There's
a
no
real noise
bass
at all. But
to it.
Yeah,
No, there's no bass to it, but most of the shows
it doesn't carry as well.
Most of the shows I'm just watching are just talking.
This is Onweiler.
Yeah,
this is
what bad.
Big buff Mark Onweiler.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Dude, he is yoked now. But
Yeah.
that's his exact opinion. I don't need it for The Office.
I don't. I mean, I really
But it
don't.
sounds so much better.
Yeah.
I acknowledge
you
that.
could have this thing.
I
that can
acknowledge
make it
that
better.
it sounds better,
I only need it for the action movies.
but it is not worth the investment for me in order
You got
to
so
make
much
we could
money,
crowdsource you one.
That's true. We bought Mark. We bought him a sound bar.
We
bought-
crowdsourced him a sound bar.
I would feel bad
I'll
if
take a
people
sound bar.
did that because it's not that I can't afford a sound bar. I just don't.
Oh yeah.
No,
we know you
here's-
could afford one.
Yeah, you could just not
I mean,
have a conscious like.
homeowner, as you know,
Just
many
get a
people
suit
know.
for your soundbar.
Yeah, you have 100 suits.
I only have 20 suits.
Good lord, 20 suits.
That's a lot of suits.
That is a lot
and
of
a
suits.
recently acquired boat.
What?
Boat.
Did I not tell you I got a boat?
No.
No, last time we talked, you were thinking about
Oh
getting
no,
a
we
boat.
got the boat.
How are things at the yacht club? Jeez.
It is a yacht. Oh, it's a sailing club. But yeah, it's a yacht club. Yeah.
You're actually.
How
This
are
is
the
insane.
whites handling
What kind
you?
of boat? What are we dealing with
It's a
here?
sailboat. My wife sails. She's
My
gonna,
wife?
She's gonna teach me how.
Are you going to be in the next season of White Lotus?
Mostly,
Oh.
I'm just. It's like a day sailor. You just kind of cruise around. She races, so she races a smaller boat. But I was like, I mostly just want something I can drink on. And
Like
she's
Tommy Boy. You just go out there and
Yeah.
you just
chill.
talk.
Just drink
Yeah,
while
just
she
chill.
races.
I mostly just want to wear yacht clothes and drink, and so that's kind of the boat.
You
we
strike me
got.
as a boat shoes guy.
Oh yeah, I've got boat shoes.
Mhm.
I've got the real boat shoes. I got some Sperry's.
Sperry's.
Yeah,
Yep,
Dude, I
that's-
used to have Sperry's.
I've got some.
but not for boat usage.
Hell no, I didn't.
Big Sperry
I
guy.
actually need to get different Sperry's because the ones I have are like walk around Sperry's. They're not actual like.
Sperry Sport.
Well, so some of
Sperry
them have
Sport.
better grip for the wetness that happens on the boat deck, and so these are more like walk around Sperry's.
Gotcha.
So
Interesting.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna
slippers.
I'm gonna have to invest in some more Sperry's, but yeah,
I understand. Wow, that's a huge moment. Where do you sail at?
Lake Manawa,
Nice.
Yeah. big lake out there. People don't realize.
It's a big lake. It's funny.
People got speedboats out there and stuff. Ours is a sailboat.
Does it hook up to the Jeep? You just haul it in the Jeep?
No, I don't have a trailer, a hitch on the Jeep, but I'm looking for a new car right now, so I might have to get something with a hitch.
I don't think he takes it home. I think he just leaves.
Yeah, no, I've got a parking
No,
spot.
but
down
I
at
don't
the
know
lake.
if you went other like Okoboji or
Well,
other
I just
places.
got it, so
And Nick, it's pretty cold out.
You've been sailing in the winter?
Baby, it's
No.
cold outside.
People still go to Okoboji. Boat people are weird, man.
I'm
Boat
not
people
well,
are weird.
Listen, let
Boat
me
people are
first
weird.
of all, I'm newly offended by that. But secondly, I'm not a cold outdoor activity person.
Yeah, no, you're not.
I mean, people are aware of this. I won't go to a football game once it turns November 1.
Yeah.
Not happening.
Someone commented on my crap. I gotta get a quarter on my Strava run today. Like, hey, I saw you towards the end. You should invest in a jacket because I didn't have a jacket on. But I was like, I run way too hot.
Yeah, you get pretty warm once you start going.
Yeah. I'm not
Really?
trying to go.
Even when you're running?
Oh yeah, dude, I was out there for quite a bit today.
Oh, really? How long?
Hour.
I mean, you've already
14.
contributed the
You've already
quarter.
said
hour
it.
50.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those armbands you put your phone in so you can listen to your podcast? Or
No, I
put it in your pocket?
No, I have so my compression pants. They have like a little
Oh,
spot
yeah.
for it.
They've got like
Okay.
a little a little slide in pocket. Oh,
I've always wondered what people do for that now. 'Cause
Yeah.
I want to start riding my bike more,
Like,
but
not-
there's nowhere good to
Not
put
to
my
again
phone.
come
you
off
gotta
like an
put it in a
audio
little
file,
pocket.
but the better, the more that you run, the more that you'll have. Like, I'm not trying to wear no armband.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. I used to.
Messes up his stride.
And it messes up my tan line.
Nick, I got this thing for my bike where it's just basically like a fanny pack for your bike, and you just put all your stuff in there in a little zipper.
Oh, I like the idea of a
It's-
bike fanny
it
pack.
sits on the handlebar. It's great.
That's very hipster of you. Oh, I like
I-
the idea of a bike fanny pack.
Thank you.
Shake it so we know.
Like a Polaroid picture.
There you go.
There we go.
Nice reference.
You're not
Thank
supposed
you.
to do that.
So what are we going to do with the payouts with the? Is there
don't-
going to be a party?
Yeah, well, I don't
Buy
know.
like a
I mean,
hamburger.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, if we did a
Buy a
if
single
we
tall
did
boy.
$1, I think that we could. I mean, we could
I
actually
mean, there's
go
already
out.
several quarters.
Yeah,
in
we
there.
probably got
There's
like
like
$2.
a two.
So if this
Yeah.
is $2, if we did $1, this would be $8.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
already have a hamburger.
You've put
by then.
$1 in because you've put in 2. I've put in 2. John's put in 2.
2 quarters, Nick, is 50 cents.
John
Right.
already
That's not
confused
$1.
Marcus and Scott.
No, you put in
Satterfield
4.
twice.
Oh, okay. What was that?
John already confused Marcus and Scott Satterfield twice.
I thought he only did it once.
I think we need to rework
Yeah,
this.
John's is really like I got to talk about.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
my
too
activity.
specific.
It's like
Yeah.
I'm fine with mine because it's about bettering ourselves.
is, it
I'm
is,
fine
yeah.
with mine.
Yeah.
I
John's
think it should be
is
any
easy.
time he messes up a name.
Yeah.
Any name.
Does he mess up names that often though?
No, but yeah,
He
you
is an
gotta
old-
find like the thing that he sucks at.
Well, I mean everything.
The thing
Boom
is,
roasted.
got him.
John, oh, put $1 and you exist again. See, we should have done
Like
a buck.
every time he loses
Yeah, it
his
should've been a
brain on a
$1.
Creighton broadcast.
Oh,
I mean,
again, we'd have lots of money. In
you'd
here.
have a party every game.
Yeah.
So
See, because if we
there
did
you go.
$1, we could go out for like an actual.
You could have
dinner.
like an actual party.
Like
yeah.
we could go to we could even go to like a steakhouse.
As someone who's now been on 2 broadcasts with John Bishop, people forget.
Nice.
Mr. Suit,
hashtag suits.
Mr. Houndstooth.
I do love a houndstooth. You would have so much money if you did it every time he lost his mind on a broadcast. Also, he's infected me a little bit. I start yelling "yes, sir" at things now,
sir.
and I think it's a direct
Wow,
correlation.
that definitely is.
of-
There's no way
of
that a normal person would just yell that.
No, it is, and it just started, and I'm like, oh, I've been Bishop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's weird. I was doing it at the Xavier game.
It feels good though.
You,
Which I-
sir, have been bishoped.
Yeah, which I was not on the call for.
By the way, he tweets at me, John. Thanks for listening, John. He says, "You jack it off when you run."
Heyo.
Yeah, he was here. I walked in and I'm like, "Who is Ravi talking
That's
to?"
it. No sex jokes for John.
Get out of it.
Oh,
that's an interesting.
You want to talk about a way to fill up the coin jar?
No, but I like the theme of it's about bettering ourselves. You shouldn't feel like you can't say the thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not a problem.
So you're saying I need to change what mine is too?
I think that it could be reworked.
Okay. Well, some people didn't want me to say my wife.
I mean, we'd have
or
it-
do the old man voice anymore. I'm like, screw you.
I feel like it has to be something you want to change about yourself, right? Like I like the defensive thing because I know I'm too defensive.
Yeah.
So I like that one.
Being a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, every time you mention anything about
It's a personality flaw.
it is.
Oh, it sucks.
Anytime the Cowboys are brought up, even casually in conversation, you owe money, even if you didn't bring them up.
What?
Have you heard
Not
about
my
the
fault.
Eagles being in the Super Bowl, by the way?
Yeah. I think you know what they have the steps or whatever of grief, and it's like you come to like what's the first one, like
Anger, I think.
anger, but
Yeah.
eventually you bargain. I have come to the acceptance stage already that they are going to win the Super Bowl. I have skipped all of the steps.
No, but there's going to be another 5-step process after they win the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
that's true. That's
'Cause
true.
I'm
You'll
tr-
go into a deep state of depression.
I'm already there.
Healing
man.
isn't linear, Josh.
Oh, you're already in depression.
So if
It's
you're
already
in depression,
here.
then you're not in acceptance.
Yeah. I just am like trying to make it better for myself when it happens that I won't like if I already accept that it's going to be a thing, then it'll make it
I
better.
don't think that's acceptance.
No,
Okay.
that's
Tricking
am I bargaining
Yeah.
still?
that feels like bargaining.
Yeah.
You're trying to convince yourself that you're not going to be
You're
sad.
tricking yourself
by
into thinking that you've
being
accepted it.
sad.
Yeah, that's
Damn it.
not.
That's
acceptance.
not acceptance. That's at best bargaining and probably depression.
You're bargaining so much you're at the thrift
You're
store. right now.
bargaining your own depression.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Wow.
deep.
Can't wait for 2 weeks from now.
You should get a boat.
You're gonna be really depressed.
I'm
I was saying, you want to come hang out on my boat?
Dude, yes.
Oh, can I hang out on the boat?
No, it's the winter.
Maybe.
Wow.
You gotta be in your 30s, Nick.
Wow.
I'll be honest. I don't know if you'd fit the country club vibe or the yacht club vibe.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean,
you know,
I'm on a station that plays yacht rock.
do you own anything that's not a hoodie or
Yeah.
flannel?
Yeah.
I'd like to see.
I have some nice button ups.
that aren't flannel.
And a few, yes.
Yeah, I saw him wear one. It was like black.
Yeah, that's the
Like
one.
his soul.
Black doesn't count.
Like
Yeah.
his soul.
I've got a few ties, nice ties.
Do you have a suit?
No.
Mm.
You don't
I've
have to
never
wear a
really
suit
need.
on a
I've
boat,
never
Robbie.
needed a suit.
No, but having one is a prerequisite.
I have
for-
cargo
for
shorts and
me.
a polo. What
buying
else
a
do I
boat,
need
maybe.
for a boat?
For me.
Nice.
Wait,
For your boat, you can
Yeah.
only go on your boat if you have a suit.
Yeah, you
Robbie.
have to own a suit.
I have cargo shorts and a polo. What else do I need? It's a boat.
That's a speedboat, loser. Come on.
Cargo shorts, Nick.
Yeah.
Cargo shorts are real speedboat vibes,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they're van shorts.
So what are we
I
doing
guess
this
they're not
summer?
Chicken
We're hanging
Bud
out on your
Diesel.
boat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's why I got the boat.
Let's
Boat
just not
show?
talk about it with a certain someone in the room, and then I think
Yeah.
we'll be okay.
Boat
Sorry, Nick.
show or boat pod?
Ooh, let's do a
Oh,
boat pod.
Pod from the boat.
Pod
That'd be
racing.
fun.
Oh, by the way, Happer, before you leave, I
Not
did
pod
need to
racing.
say something.
Now
So
this is pod racing.
when I got in my car, so I like on the way here, I like listening to the pod instead of live because I like listening to you at double
What?
speed.
2 times.
Well,
Okay.
it's still AM
double speed.
radio.
So I
always
downloaded.
AM
I
radio.
always download Al Bell on Tuesdays. I was like, I listen to Al Bell, and I was like, okay, what did they talk about in the first segment? And I saw the Patrick Mahomes injury, and I said, I'm intrigued. Is there any information? So I clicked on the description, and I saw we set up a Tuesday show, and Rick calls to inject a little chaos into the festivities, and he does with a question that might be the call of the year. So if I could have plunked down all of my net worth on it being that exact Rick with some asinine question, I would have won so much money.
It was my favorite thing
Did
that's
you
ever
hear this
happened.
question?
I did not know.
Go ahead, Josh.
Basically, it was if Patrick Mahomes was a horse, we would have been critical of the Chiefs for playing him on Sunday.
Wait, I'm
They
sorry.
would, if Patrick Mahomes was a horse,
They would have had to put him
and
down.
he had that injury, they wouldn't have let him run in the Kentucky Derby.
And he's like, I'm happy that it's not a controversy, but just think about it.
Wait,
What?
What?
Yeah. I swear,
That's what he said.
I was like,
he was too hurt.
I knew exactly who this Rick is, and I'm going to listen to this. And sure enough, that
It was really good.
that guy has had some crazy takes over the years.
It basically carried the first
So,
hour of the
Normally
show.
he calls and he laughs at his own like thoughts off that he had already had off air, and I'm like, what are you laughing at, Rick? Every time.
So
We need
it's-
to get Stibbs to chime in. He has some takes on Rick.
His argument
I'm
was
gonna just
that
tweet at him.
we need to treat Patrick Mahomes
No.
more like a horse.
No, he's just saying in an alternate world where Patrick Mahomes was a horse and he had that injury, and the next and the AFC Championship game was the Kentucky Derby, then they wouldn't have let him run because he was a horse, and they would have been too many vets to like take tests on him.
Yeah, he brought up PETA.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought up.
Well, there
PETA.
was another caller who like called in and
What?
was like very in the horse racing thing and like confirmed all of it later on too. He's like, oh yeah, no chance. No chance they let him run that race.
Al Bell was pretty funny. Yeah, he'd be school supplies right now or whatever.
Well, famously, people aren't horses.
That is true.
So
Well, except in that movie we watched that one time.
What movie?
Sorry to bother you for movie club.
Sorry to bother you. I don't remember this one.
You don't remember that one?
is
No.
that like
Months ago.
BoJack Horseman?
Oh, I loved that show.
No, it's you don't remember.
Because he is a
Oh
horse
yeah,
man.
Nick. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I remember. Sorry to bother you. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, I'm just there is that critical distinction there
It's true.
between horse and
No,
person.
and
that-
I chose to give the advantages that we have as humans, that we're able to communicate that even though we are injured, we can communicate that fact and say, look, I'd like to play even though I am hurt. You can run as many tests as you want on me.
yes,
I will play in this. That's a great advantage that we have as human beings.
The communication there is key. There is a
Famously, horses can't speak.
Mhm.
well, Mr.
Key
Ed,
takeaway from this.
Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed and BoJack.
And BoJack.
Well, he was a horseman though.
That's true.
So
It's still a horse though.
I think there's a variable there in the horseman equation that we didn't consider.
Mm.
But yeah, if there is a language barrier between man and horse that makes it challenging,
Yeah.
you kind of have to err on the side of caution there with the
Mhm.
horse. Whereas Patrick Mahomes can tell you, yeah, you know what? You don't have to turn me into glue. I can play.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Key
What a wild-
takeaway from this: horses, people, two different things.
Wow,
Allegedly.
Nick, good take.
I'm not a scientist.
So, yeah, that was a wild call.
Biologist.
Yeah,
So-
it definitely.
Scientists and biologists are.
I was kind of jealous,
an
honestly,
umbrella.
that take took happen on
Scientist.
your show.
Yeah,
You own a boat.
I would be too,
Yeah,
because it took over about an hour. It could have taken up more, but we just sort of let it.
It's a good thing I wasn't
dissolve.
filling in today because that would have been the whole show.
Yeah.
Like it would have. I would not have had the willpower.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we got away from it, but it was definitely the full like next Yeah, a few segments
Yeah.
for sure.
I would not have had the willpower to move away from it.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
It's a wild take.
That's what happened when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
You did the whole show.
I had to.
And that was like 2 days later, right?
No, it was next
You
day.
were the
I
next
was
day.
on the Monday.
The funny thing
that was
was
Odson's fault as much as anything, though.
the funny thing was about the horse call was that it wasn't even a take. It was just like a hypothetical. It was just like,
he almost
hear me out here. If Mahomes was a horse, then they wouldn't let him play. And I'm like, okay, I actually don't disagree with this. Like, right? If he was a horse,
I imagined him like at
they
home,
wouldn't let him play.
Well, if he was a
talking
horse,
to-
I wouldn't imagine he'd
talking
be
to
in the
his
NFL.
family, like, can you believe this? If this guy was a horse, And they're like,
Right.
They're like, Grandpa.
That's
okay.
the funniest part of.
Yeah.
That's the funniest
He
part.
obviously had this discussion.
Where did
with
that
his-
come from?
Yeah, with somebody, and they probably went down some weird rabbit hole. Like, this isn't fair. They kill horses. It's like, what?
So were they advocating that you should kill Patrick Mahomes?
That was the part that
Like,
I was a
where
little
does it-
lost.
He didn't take
it to
But
death.
again, he didn't want
No,
controversy.
but like, let's take the logical
Guys,
conclusion here.
I don't want there to be controversy.
Let's play this thing out to its natural end.
Yeah.
Well, we had
that doesn't end well for Patrick Mahomes.
I think it was Dave who called in later or
Hello,
a few minutes
Dave.
later and was like,
nice.
no,
Big Jimmy
they don't
soda.
kill horses anymore. Like they
That's not true. I saw Barbaro. They shot him on the.
That's Barbaro. That's
Remember that? Remember Barbaro?
So horses just don't die anymore?
Well, they die, but they die naturally. They don't
Well, they inject
or they
them
don't
with
they
something?
especially don't shoot them.
No, they-
Natural
They definitely
horse causes.
They definitely inject them.
Yeah,
because remember that horse. Like if a horse's leg explodes at the Kentucky Derby,
well, it's not
cover it with the
it would
blue
have to
tarp.
be catastrophic. It would
Yeah,
have to be
so I think
catastrophic.
the barrier to which you put down a horse is higher than it used to be.
That's it.
Because I think the medical attention they can receive in order to repair
Oh, really?
like broken limbs and stuff is better. Because it used to be like if a horse breaks his leg, you have to put it down
Immediately.
Useless.
It's an injection
Yeah, I figure. Yeah,
But
so they're not
so
shooting
it's less
in the neck.
It's more.
Thank you, Nick.
I needed that visual.
Come here, Patrick.
Um,
Wow, you were going to trigger the Chiefs fans.
he's like, I'm better. I can
Hey,
play.
Normally the horse is sedated first, guys. Don't worry.
With a different injection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a horse before it got the vaccine. Here it is.
That is now in the Google
Dead.
search history.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Nice.
good. It's positive.
Greg and Lincoln discuss if the Niners could have benefited from a horse quarterback. We'll talk about that in segment 2 today, Ravi.
He would have been hard to tackle.
That's true. A couple of tweets, by the way, about your boat. Dan says, so not only does Ravi have a house, but now he has a boat. Someone needs to ask him for some gray poupon. And then a text message.
I
From
actually prefer a honey
Yeah,
mustard.
this doesn't offend him. Like
I like stone ground.
He's a very classy man. He's very public about this.
from the 202. The Creighton fan owns a boat and is a member of a yacht club. How surprising. Pretentious.
It's a sailing club.
That sounds even worse.
I know. That's
That
why.
sounds more pretentious.
That's why I
Yacht
make-
club, I just think you're rich.
You haven't you have not steered away at all from the pretentious nature of all
No,
of this.
I tell
that
I
you're in it.
I say all the time, I'm incredibly bougie, like constantly.
But are you pretentious?
Look at you're wearing a sweater today. Look at this
That's
sweater.
a cardigan.
I know. Yes.
Right?
Thanks
is that a
for
cardigan?
noticing.
I mean, it's a cardigan is a
Yeah, it's a
type of
cardigan.
sweater.
Thanks for
All right.
noticing.
Well,
Thank
no,
you, Josh.
yeah,
sorry,
I-
I'm not a yacht club. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's
have-
true. Yeah.
listen, I
That's
wore
why you're not invited to the boat.
I wore
Damn.
sweaters long before
Where's your
I owned a
boat,
boat.
Josh?
You could have a pipe right now
Robbie's.
and nobody would even say anything.
See, I've never really smoked a pipe. I'm a cigar guy. I like cigars.
Yeah.
Never smoked a pipe. I'm not opposed to it necessarily,
Yeah,
but
clearly.
never done it.
I bet you'd look good with a pipe.
Maybe that's something you'll do in your 40s.
It's like an accessory, right? I feel like pipes are almost comical.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a monocle almost. It's just one step before a monocle. You're like, I got
Have you
a
ever seen the
pipe.
dudes that actually
Uh.
do it not comically though?
Like
like
I've
unironically.
seen
Yes.
people that actually smoke them. I
Yeah.
still don't know if it's not comical. To be fair,
Like if there's not a little
Like,
bit of a
they
bit.
don't-
It's about how you handle it, right? It's
Yeah.
like how you're operating with it. Are you flailing? Are you trying to show off your pipe? Are you trying to conceal your pipe?
are you very? And I know some people just smoke their pipe at home, and they don't. They don't flaunt it in public, so it's less of a hey, look at me, I've got a pipe thing. But no, I think it's about how you experience the tobacco. From my understanding, it's a different aroma and a different experience than smoking a cigarette or a cigar. So listen, to each their own. I don't really have an issue with it. It's just not for me
Hell yeah.
necessarily.
How much longer before you start speaking by putting in front of everything you say?
I mean, that might be a tough hang on the radio.
Like, hello,
So,
gentlemen.
I probably won't do that
It's his boat voice.
unless I start,
I
hosting
think Creighton has a chance at the Elite Eight.
unless I start hosting a boat podcast, maybe.
I
Or,
think you should.
or a boat radio program.
I know that we NRG they want more pods.
Boat pod.
Boat pod.
Big boat pod guy.
Oh yeah.
You have to wait till we get out on the water. I don't have a ton of experience on the boat yet, so we're learning.
Call it the boat boys.
Tales from the boat.
The good thing about that, like Rosillo, the good thing about that is that, so even though the listenership might be low, the amount of money that those listeners have would be high. So you could target your advertisement.
It's
true.
It's a niche, as they call it.
Uh-huh.
Omaha's next boat pod. You take out a
Robbie
billboard.
Lula.
Might be the only boat pod in Omaha, to be fair. I don't know.
There you go.
I
Speaking of cornering the market.
Haven't searched it out recently. Yeah, I've never shied away. I don't think I'm pretentious because I don't care if other people. I kind of play up the pretentiousness with like Nick because it's funny, but
it's a good bit.
I don't care that like
bourgeoisie.
I don't care if other people wear suits or anything like that, but it's what I enjoy. So I think that's the difference between bougie and pretentious.
Sure.
Because I don't judge others for not being like me.
That's a good distinction.
Because who's to say it's better? It's just what I prefer.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, who's to say that owning a boat and owning a home and looking good all the time is better? It's just what I prefer.
I mean, if you ask Nick, he would say the exact opposite.
He's like, I got cargo shorts and
I don't-
Mountain Dew
and an
I wanna-
apartment.
and I want a game in my apartment.
Yeah.
I
think that's better.
If I want to get a boat, I'll play one in my video game.
I mean, I don't
like Happer's Flight Simulator. It's
I don't
boat
want to live
simulator.
in an
Hell yeah.
apartment. I
That's
also
a
have
thing.
flight sim.
Adam says yachting with the boys.
Yachting with the boys.
Yachting with the
Ooh,
boys.
Yeah, there
Is
we-
that like
Boat-
bussing with the
boating
boys?
with the boys?
Boating with the boys.
Boating with the boys. I think
Yeah.
we just became famous, guys.
Just, hey, email Keith Man. He'll be like, oh, it's a sequel to the Bussing with the Boys. Yeah, we'll have Matt
Can I-
Rule on.
Oh, I should have Matt
Matt
Rule on the
Rule.
boat.
Boating with the Boys. See, that's the cool part about the pod is you bring them onto the boat for the interview.
Yeah, and then you just have like, you do wine probably instead of beer because it's a boat, but
3 wines later.
Everybody driving out to Lake Manawa to hang out on Ravi's boat and do a podcast.
I'd listen to that pod at double speed.
I'd listen to it at 1.5.
Wow, look at us.
Lake Manawa would be, I mean, they would love this.
It'd be hopping.
Yeah.
Hopping and popping.
If you do the pod, you should talk at a slower pace than you normally would. So when Josh listens at double speed, it just sounds normal.
Oh,
well,
that's rude.
I sometimes will talk a little bit more at a deliberate pace anyway. So
That's called hosting a solo show.
it is. That's 100% what it is. That's where I first started doing it. I used to talk so fast, and I was
Yep.
like, man, I have no content
Yep.
left.
And there's an hour.
We're going to slow things down a bit.
It's okay. Just have Rick call in and talk about if Patrick Mahomes was a horse.
Boom.
Makes
Full
a
circle.
difference.
Back 4 hours
Honestly,
ago.
doing the Lord's work for a solo show, callers like that.
Thank you, Rick.
Well done.
That's
Rick.
huge.
And thanks for the
Huge.
crossover. Happer. Good
Oh.
to see you.
Goodbye. Yes.
I'm just kicking you out, Happer.
I'm out.
Apparently.
I realized 2:30. I realized we should probably get to it.
Yeah, go find a boat.
I'm not going to go on
It's
about it. I'm not
cold,
interested.
Nick.
You're not
It's
going to come on my boat?
The water is frozen still.
No, I'm going to go to the Costco right behind your house, though. And I'm not exactly excited about it because it's going to be a madhouse.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. It's
I might
not-
go out west. Maybe I'll go out west. Do I have it in me to go out west Costco today?
Talking
Well,
about
it's
the
not
one off
really-
the
Or
interstate?
like southwest?
I would say it's not really
Yeah.
further west. It's almost
Over by
exactly
the- yeah.
South.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry, the
South
South Costco. Yes.
Yeah.
maybe it's a lot.
I hear that one's
less
way
busy,
emptier.
It's
Yeah.
a very calmer atmosphere.
but it is very
calmer.
far from your house.
Yeah.
All right, I got a decision to make then.
You
Well,
do
good
have a
luck,
decision
man.
to make.
Good luck.
Thank you.
One more comment. Odson
Godspeed.
says seagulls squawking in the background of the pod.
I
That
haven't-
actually sounds like nice ambiance.
I haven't seen a lot of seagulls out there.
Understandably so.
Because it's a lake, not a sea.
Yeah, they're not
obviously.
lake gulls.
Well, I think that's the end of the crossover.
Yeah, I
Nice.
just got a message I can't read on the air. All right, bye, Hap.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Robbie Lula in today for John Bishop. I'm Josh Peterson. The program starts next on 1620 The Zone.
It's the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone. Enter to win a $5,000 shopping spree right now at 1620thezone.com. It's the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Your Tuesday afternoon forecast will include crystal blue skies with high temperatures approaching the mid to upper 20s. In Omaha, I'm tracking a high of 28 degrees. For tonight, mostly clear skies, morning glow of 14. Warmer conditions return for your Wednesday, afternoon high of 38. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
It's your time for higher education, not higher debt. And it all starts with a scholarship application to Metropolitan Community College. Every year, MCC awards more than $3 million in scholarships to students. In less than 5 minutes with a single application, you can apply for all the scholarships available to you. It's your time to path forward. Let MCC show you the way. Register today. Classes start March 9th. Apply today at mccneb.edu/scholarships.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. Omaha Maverick Hockey improves to 14-10-2 after securing a weekend split with the number 9 Western Michigan Broncos last Saturday with a 2-0 shutout victory. Omaha Hockey is idle this coming weekend before welcoming the Colorado College Tigers to Baxter Arena next weekend for a 2-game series. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
It's the final days to save big store-wide at the Truckload event at Lowe's. Right now, get deals on select major appliances and take home what you buy same day. And save an additional 10% on all in-store clearance appliances. Plus, get savings on even more items across the store, like up to 40% off select bathroom products. Hurry and head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the Truckload event today. Exclusions apply. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Valid 1/26 through 2/8.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Berry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Berry Law today. 402-999-7777.
This edition of Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone is proudly presented by Union Bank and Trust. The program starts now.
KOZN. Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO. Don't miss a moment, they'll give you your fix. They're on every day from 2 until 6. Spend your afternoons with John, Josh, and Nick. John, Josh, and Nick. They'll show you what sports talk really is.
All right, coming up on the show today, we have Michael Bruntz and other stuff.
Other stuff.
Hey,
Is it fixed?
I think he fixed it.
Nice.
Nick, do you think he fixed it?
I think it's fixed.
Maintenance.
Wow, that was good stuff.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Husker Athletics, Creighton, and yes, UNO.
Why didn't you tell him to do that on the air? They would have fixed it.
We are on the air.
Nice.
I didn't have the idea until toward the end of the crossover.
Oh, okay. Just take it and blow on it.
Well, that's like that's a last.
That
minute
works
thing,
for a lot
right?
of things.
It does.
It does.
Thank you, Ravi. It does. That's Ravi Lula. You know his voice. He appears on our station, I don't know, all the time.
From time to time.
1620 The Lula.
Occasionally.
I'm Josh Peterson. Nick Grimm is our producer. Welcome in on this Tuesday. John, well, he was in his car during the crossover. He's probably just about to fly to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, he was probably
favorite place.
He was probably driving to the airport, I guess.
Oh, no, it's back again.
Oh, no.
Wow, that is bad.
It was gone.
Not anymore.
Briefly.
Maybe adjust it. Like, do this. See if that does anything. Nope. Cool.
Does that help?
Wow.
Oh, that's worse.
Yep. That's wild.
What is happening? Oh.
Nope.
Nope.
Take the muff off.
Nick, I don't think that's going to do a thing.
Did that help?
No.
Nope.
It definitely did not. It definitely did not. Well, welcome in.
You didn't think the other thing was going to work either, and it kind of did.
And by the way, Jack Mitchell is in our green room trying to figure out if his internet is fixed. So that's fun. And he does comment. He says, if you need better sound, I can come on with my great internet. So there you go. Everyone, we just have all sorts of technological issues.
To be fair, this isn't my fault.
This is not your fault. No.
No.
And technically, the internet's not Jack's fault. He has good internet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild. The funny thing too is there's like multiple cables over there. Do you see the green
Yeah,
that's
I
like
see this
wrapped
one.
or the gray?
Not connected to anything.
Yeah, because that.
You want me to try that one?
No,
that one's broken.
Yeah, that one had the exact same issue. Actually, I think that one might have been a little bit worse. So, this will be fun. This will be a wild ride over the course of the next 4 hours. Coming up on the program today, mention it. Michael Bruns will join us next hour. We can talk about all sorts of stuff with him, whether it's football or basketball. We'll talk about that with Michael Bruns. And then plenty of room for other topics. Wanted to kind of recap the Sunday games just a little bit more, put a bow on those lessons maybe that we could take away from the NFL season this year. Creighton basketball, as they do head to Washington, D.C. for that matchup with Georgetown.
We've got some 49ers quarterback rumors.
Got some 49er stuff.
Is he a horse?
You had a question for me earlier today about Kellen Moore that I thought was really good that we can discuss a little bit later.
Okay.
NFL hot take market. Do you got some hot takes?
Oh, I've always got hot takes.
The Haas F1 team released their livery for this season. First team to do that.
Give us a quarter, Nick.
Nope, it's only when I get defensive.
Definitely won't do that.
Good use of livery there.
Thank you.
And then other stuff, Nebraska football, NFL draft rules, eligibility, and a whole lot more. All of that coming up on the show today. 402-951-1620 is the phone number if you would like to call us, or you could shoot us a text to that same phone number, 402-951-1620. Always available for you.
You know me. I love the draft.
You are a
big draft boy.
Big draft guy. Oh, man.
I'm kind of excited to watch the draft. This is going to be the first time.
NFL draft?
Yeah, kind of.
I watched the first 2 days pretty closely.
Yeah.
After that, like, was it 4 through 7?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite as dialed in, but I pay attention to the tracker. But I'll straight up watch the first 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
like
it.
I paid attention to a little bit of the college football this season. I'll recognize some of the names. It'll be cool to see who ends up where. But I think I'm like, I don't really care past round 2.
I'm a lot more dialed in on the NBA draft because I've got
You have actual
opinions and takes.
Yeah.
I don't have nearly as many for the NFL draft, but I love a draft. It's so exciting. It's about just hope and newness.
Well, cool. So you guys will be excited for that, and don't worry, we're not talking about the NFL draft on today's show.
No.
So no. Yeah, we're not.
Just
we're not
the
doing,
rules.
not
We're
doing any of that.
draft
Which
dodgers.
is more
Just
a
the rules.
college football
Yeah, exactly.
conversation
Yeah, exactly.
than a draft conversation.
Yeah, so we'll do that a little bit later on in the show today. Also, you can reach us in the Equitable Bank inbox, Josh at 1620thezone.com. You can find us there, or you can reach us on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at USC 1620. So that is all the information on how to talk to us today. Hopefully Ravi's mic is fixed, but it probably won't be.
Doesn't seem like it's going to be.
Dude, it's getting worse. It sounds horrible right now.
See, it sounds about the same to
Your
me
voice
right
is
now.
sounding like more overmodulated.
Distorted.
Yeah. So
Am I talking too close? No, that's worse.
No, yeah, something not that.
It's better when I'm here.
Yeah.
A little.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can get that fixed as we roll on today. We do appreciate you for joining us on this Tuesday. Ravi Lula in today for John Bishop. I'm Josh Peterson. Nick Grimm producing. Unsportsmanlike Conduct continues next here on 1620 The Zone.
The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Guys, let's face it, there is a time when you just need to get out of the house, to have your own place, to be with the guys, or just a quiet, relaxing place for yourself. Well, Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge hears you loud and clear. Settle in. Escape to Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge for an incredible selection, plus premium cocktails, a knowledgeable, friendly staff, state-of-the-art humidor, and incredible lounge. Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off I-680 at 48th Street, next to Cubby's.
Do you like to shoot fireworks? Would you like to get paid to shoot fireworks? J&M Displays wants you. Help shoot an Omaha Storm Chasers game, Memorial Park display, or any of the major shows in Western Iowa and all of Nebraska. If you like to travel, J&M covers Nebraska, Kansas, and most of Missouri. They offer free training and great daily pay rates, which makes it a perfect part-time job. Visit jnmdisplays.com and click the Join Our Team tab to find out more. J&M Fireworks.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. Love your results or your money back. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Children in poverty, each one unique, each one full of dreams. They're our hope, our future. They're the reason Children International exists. When the whole world changed, we developed new ways to reach children and families in poverty during these vulnerable times.
I'm learning every day.
I'm healthy and strong. To learn more, go to children.org/help today.
I'm former Husker Terry Keneally.
And I'm former Husker Titus Adams.
Titus and I used to sack quarterbacks, but now we're fighting for the children of East Omaha.
Terry and I are on the board of the Q's Fund, which supports the Q's school system, made up of Holy Name, All Saints, and Sacred Heart School, which I am a proud graduate of.
Our students receive a values-based education with the family support they need.
And they go on to graduate high school at a 96% rate.
Learn more about our children at qschools.org.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. A new year means it's time for a new you. 5 years ago, I was in that exact spot and I was ready to ditch the glasses for good. I scheduled a consultation with Dr. Kugler and his team at Kugler Vision and figured out which of the procedures would work best for me. You can do the same today. Go to the website, kuglervision.com, and also check out their special New Year savings on modern LASIK. That's kuglervision.com.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Man, I love this station.
1620 The Zone.
All right. It's time to test.
Hello.
Oh, did we fix it?
I think we fixed it.
Hell yes.
We may have fixed it.
I think so. Nick or Ravi, you sound great.
Thank you.
Wow. All right. Well,
I
there you
moved
go.
the mic. Are we still okay?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Nope. Wait. Turn the music down.
Hello.
Nope.
Oh,
Wow,
no.
So it's not that.
It's not the microphone.
Wow. So
Interesting.
for those of you who are following along with MikeGate from today, as this continues to roll on, we replaced the actual microphone. So what does that mean? Does it mean it's the actual?
It could
it's
be the cord.
hardware.
Could be the cord.
I don't think it's the cord
We've
because
replaced the cord.
we
When,
used
though?
like 3 different cords on this thing.
When did we replace the
I mean, it's
cord?
been
a couple
while.
months ago.
Yeah, but
we put a new one on.
But this
is
issue,
a recurring issue
It's not new. It is not new.
across multiple mics and multiple
Across
cords.
multiple mics, multiple cords, bad times. Jack Mitchell, who was in the background, and it seems like we got everything figured out. He goes, "That's hilarious. You got Robbie since my stuff doesn't work, and now mine probably does, and his mic doesn't." So we're off to a great start. But here's the thing.
Yep.
A lot of people use that microphone. I use that microphone.
All
You're
the time.
using it today. Yeah, I use it literally every day.
We can
unless
blame
it's,
Hanley.
Nick
Hanley
Hand-
probably
see?
did something.
Did Hanley do something?
He
this
is
morning?
new here.
Did he sabotage us?
Probably.
Sabotage.
1 month in, did he sabotage us?
Seems like the most likely outcome here.
Yep. Phil says, "Yep, I hear the buzz. You can feel the buzz." Awesome. Simple Appreciation Club, who has recently changed his name, said, "Hey, I missed that F1 news Nick announced. Can you have him repeat it?" And then he adds fart noise.
Nice.
Yep. Nice indeed. This is awesome. This is absolutely great. All right. Well, it'll
No,
be
the side.
it'll be it'll be buzzy today, I guess. Wow,
That's worse.
It
They
got
didn't
worse.
solve anything.
Dramatically worse.
Here's I have a sports question for you.
I do
Ravi.
like sports and questions.
What a disaster. We need to get on the boat. We need to get on the boat pod. A couple days later, how you feeling about everything that unfolded on Sunday afternoon? You as a Niner lover.
Cheated.
Yeah.
I feel
Cheated?
Yeah.
NFL rigged?
No, not that.
Oh, okay.
I felt like the game watching experience, I felt cheated within that.
Okay.
Because, well, first of all, not rigged. Let's start with that part, okay?
By the way, well, we will. I guess you can expand on this, but we have a quote later on from a 49ers player. John and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I want to go on a rant, but continue.
Okay. Well, so I'll save it. I'll save that part of
You'll
it.
save the rig part.
I will just say, and I tweeted this yesterday or Sunday. I feel like the answer from the NFL of things being rigged, it's like, no, it's not rigged. Our referees are just so incompetent that it feels like it's rigged.
They are bad sometimes.
Is not a large upgrade.
Okay, can I defend the refs? And dare I say that one quick time?
Sure.
I mean, like Nathan Peterman started and he sucked. You know, like people are bad at their professions. Even the people at the top of their professions are still bad.
That's not defending the refs. That's just saying like, hey, it's okay that a lot of people are bad at their job.
Everyone is bad. You know, like no one's perfect.
Okay, there's a difference between not
Look at
being...
your microphone today. That's not perfect. That's like an NFL ref.
Yes, I guess. But again, that doesn't make it necessarily better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different kind of bad. And so I get that's like the most realistic explanation. I don't believe the NFL is rigged. I do believe a lot of the referees are incompetent, which is, again, not that much better when they're the ones that enforce how the game is played.
But that's not how, like 2 days later, is your first thought
No,
still the refs?
Okay. It started there with like the Devontae Smith catch and all of that, right? That sucked. Like, how is it that you can't just have, like, you know, when they pause the extra points to be like, hey, we got to make sure it's a touchdown?
Review, yeah.
Or even just be like, hey, you can't run your next play till we're sure. That's a thing you should be able to do.
And that's the thing, they can. That's why
Why don't they?
They have the expedited review, and they do it sometimes.
The explanation was on the broadcast was that they couldn't get the look good enough before Philadelphia snapped it.
Yeah.
So just don't allow them to snap it. You know, like when there's a substitution and you have to let the defense substitute too, and the guy just stands straddling the ball, you could do that.
Well, the thing that
that's a thing you could do.
I still can't believe 2 days later, and we talked about this yesterday, he looked at his bench and he gave them some signal of,
He's like, I didn't catch that. Snap the ball.
We need to, which is funny too, real quick. In the Chiefs game, there was the dropped touchdown. They called it, they called it incomplete. The Chiefs decide to review it. Who was the wide receiver? Do you remember who it was? Well, either way, he didn't get up and say, no, I caught it. He knew he dropped it.
Yeah.
And yet they still challenged it. And so I think in that moment, I mean, it's funny that either way you should know either to challenge it or not to challenge it. So,
although
I didn't see the replay right away, obviously, but when he did that, when Smith did that, I thought, Shanahan, they got to challenge it. They got to try it out.
Don't know how. I don't know why that falls on the coaches. That should be on the NFL to get it right back in New York. Right? Like, why should that fall on the coaches? Why should it be their decision to?
Well, because I mean, you can challenge.
I understand, but like on an every down basis, it's like college football, right? This is one thing I think college football gets right more than the NFL.
And it's so funny talking to you versus John, because John is like, he hates everything is challengeable, and he only wants coaches to challenge.
Well, you just don't get it right though. Like, you don't get it right, and in a situation like that, it's a fourth down. They literally don't score. If they get that call right.
Yeah.
And like, okay, then Brock Purdy gets hurt the next drive, and it probably doesn't end up mattering, right? But
and not to go like too, galaxy brain, but I always think of the butterfly effect.
Yeah, it's like, does Brock Purdy get hurt?
No,
then?
and the answer to that is no, he doesn't get hurt. And I always thought, like, if what if Dallas does something early on in the game, then Tony Pollard doesn't get hurt at that exact play, because that play in that exact moment doesn't happen the way it does.
Right. And
it's such a weird way to.
It is, and I understand that. But even if you keep everything else the same, it's just such a crappy way for your sport to exist, in which everyone knows you got it wrong. There's a system in place for you not to get it wrong, and you still get it wrong. Like, either have replay and get it all right, or don't have replay.
See, and that's why
Happer's argument is either get rid of replay totally.
I'm with him. Yeah. I'd rather them get rid of it.
It has to be one of two things, though. You have to either always get it right, which they don't, or get rid of it because it makes the game weird and clunky.
Well, I'll defend Alex and Lincoln. Nick, is Ravi on his cell phone? Nope, that's a microphone. I'll defend John. I like his idea of just have it challenge based, because I think that is maybe the happiest medium where you still have replay, but you have to, as a coach, if you want to do it, put your timeout on the line. And his thought has always been just have replay based off of the number of timeouts that you still have. So if you
got
win it,
3
you
timeouts,
keep it. You can, in theory, you could challenge every play if you think you would win it.
Sure.
But once you lose
You've got
your
an
timeouts,
infinite number of.
in theory,
You get 3 missed challenges per half, basically.
Yeah.
So you could challenge 100 times. As long as you're
winning them all,
100 right,
yeah,
you don't lose any time.
And I like that because it
that's fair.
Because I think the expedited review stuff is stupid.
Well, it obviously doesn't work.
Yeah,
it
doesn't.
Unless you're going to go like they do again with scoring plays where they go out there and they stop the extra point. Because we used to have that, right? Where they would rush on, try and kick the extra point before they could review a touchdown or a non-touchdown, whatever. It was the same thing that happened. Like, how is that any different than what we saw against the 49ers? So it was a weird, crappy way to start the game.
Yeah.
Right. But I felt cheated because, okay, the 49ers had to put out a 4th string quarterback who then gets hurt.
Dude,
he did suck, but they were still in it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They were still in the game.
Until the turnover at the end of the first half. That was when the game ended.
It did. But they were still in this crappy 4th string quarterback, wasn't in the league until they had to sign a backup for their 3rd string quarterback guy.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like I felt cheated as a 49ers fan that the season ended that way without a real shot. Because after Brock Purdy went down, let's be honest, they didn't have a real shot to win that game.
No, of course not. The game was over. Like when it was still
it was 7-7, even if it was 14-7, you knew on like a visceral level that the game was over already.
When they tied it, and you thought, okay, they're going to need a lot of help.
Yes, maybe a defensive score, a special team something.
And that's why the touchdown at the end of the first half, that was why
was a backbreaker, because you're not overcoming 14
ended.
Points.
Because you can talk yourself into when you're down by 1 score. Because look, the other part about this too, and we'll go to a break in a sec, but the defense knew in that, like the moment that Purdy went down, the defense knew, okay, we have to play at such a high level or we're going to lose this football game.
Yeah.
And I think it's not easy, but I think you can do that when you're down by a score. They did it against the
Because
Packers
you're within
last
arm's
year.
length.
But when
you're
you're
just
down
right there
by 2 scores, that's when, literally that turnover, and of all the ways to turn it over, it wasn't like he got smoked. He just dropped a snap and he had it in his hand.
Yeah.
A very basic play. It's not like it got chucked over his head like
also
Cam
a play
Merritt or
that
Cam Jurgens.
absolutely doesn't happen with even your first 3 quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah.
Like that is we signed this guy off the scrap heap. He wasn't playing football. Like that's what that turnover was.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with skill level or anything else in terms of the rest of the actual people that the 49ers ever had an interest in putting on the field. It had nothing to do with that. So that's why I felt cheated. I'm not saying that Philadelphia cheated. As a fan, I feel cheated because the 49ers were never given an opportunity to actually compete in that game.
Yeah, and there was a comment earlier that basically just said, oh, Phil, all football fans were cheated. Yeah, just, it sucks to look forward to a game and then to essentially have the game rendered, meaningless or at least over, the first drive of the game for the 49ers. It stunk. There is some follow-ups that we want to get to later on in the show today. In particular, just some of the reaction about the idea of things being rigged. And there was a quote from the 49ers inside their locker room on Sunday that was pretty baffling. John and I mentioned it yesterday, but Ravi and I can expand on that as the show goes on. But when we return, finish up the hour, get on into the second hour of the show. Lessons to be learned from the NFL this season. I had a couple in particular, and I wonder maybe what it could mean downstream into college football and even into high school. But I want to look at it from the NFL perspective and what it could mean for college football.
Okay.
As well. So we'll do that when we return. Josh Peterson and Ravi Lulitz on Sportsmanlike Conduct on this Tuesday on 1620 The Zone.
We still have a couple more weeks left of winter. John Bishop here for McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. That means you need to make sure that furnace has been inspected. Has it been over a year since you've had a furnace inspection? Please, gas furnace owners, do not hesitate. Contact McCarthy's1hour.com and get a furnace inspection. because the heat exchangers, when they wear out, can leak carbon monoxide into the air, and you can't detect it. It's not a gas you can smell, but it's very, very dangerous. And going on right now through February, every inspection comes with an offer for a discounted carbon monoxide detector from McCarthy's. You should have one of these in your home, everybody who has gas appliances. So get in touch with McCarthy's today and make sure your family is safe and warm the rest of this winter. McCarthy's1hour.com for McCarthy's 1 hour heating and air conditioning. Always on time, or you don't pay a dime. McCarthy's1hour.com.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Omaha Maverick baseball and softball season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a pitch or run scored. 2023 season tickets include in-state rivals Creighton and Nebraska. Get your tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS. That's 402-554-MAVS.
What you've heard about probiotics is probably wrong.
I eat yogurt, so I don't need to take a probiotic. Probiotics? They don't really work.
It's time to learn the truth about probiotics and join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up. Align has probiotics to naturally help relieve occasional bloating, gas, and abdominal discomfort. Try Align probiotics for a month and see how great a healthy gut can feel. Get $2 off your first month of Align at alignprobiotics.com.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
Tell us how you feel on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Reach Gary, Nick, Connor, Josh, and John anytime on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers, J-Tech Construction, at yourexteriorexperts.com.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com. Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
All right, time to find out one more time. Thanks to our friend Ian for giving us one more recommendation on maybe what the issue could be with the microphone.
Hello.
Again, it usually starts fine in the
It was like this last time.
Starts
too.
okay.
And there, yep, it's back.
And it's back.
So, Nick, if you have the music just really loud the whole time,
Hello.
it just kind of
See, you can't even hear it.
drowns it out.
We just have a background track
So
the
we'll
whole
just
time.
yeah, we'll just be like an FM show.
This will be fine.
Yeah,
Nice.
There are no issues. No issues.
It's gonna sound different on the pod,
Yeah.
the replay,
Yeah.
and the Twitch, and the YouTube.
All of the things.
All right. Well, that's Ravi. I'm Josh. Nick is our producer. Also joined by Buzz today. Buzz Aldrin.
I thought it was like the Charlotte Hornets Buzz City uniforms.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, Buzz Lightyear.
Lots of buzzes joining us. Before we get back into things, I just wanted to send my thoughts and prayers to our good friend Mike Schaefer. His dad passed away yesterday, and he is someone I thought Schaefer had a really a really good thread about his passing earlier, and what he has meant to him. And one of the things that he mentioned in particular was that like his dad Jim had been kind of like a character on Twitter. He said, often I treat my dad on Twitter like a sitcom guest star. I'd give snippets of our insane conversations following Nebraska games. And in his words, I threw him under the bus on the radio during appearances, like when he backed my car directly into a retaining wall on vacation. He added, but in a lot of ways, my dad represented the heartbeat of small communities across the country. He got involved in seemingly every organization for the betterment of Columbus. He got things done. Community mattered on every level to him. He mentioned some of the things that he did, some of the things he did for the community, his involvement with sports in the community. He said, my dad knew so many people in town because of his involvement. A trip to the grocery store with him could turn into a lost afternoon. There was always another conversation, another occasionally crude joke to make, or another complaint about the offensive line to file. He finished writing, the pain of this loss is raw, but our hearts are full with memories. There certainly won't be another Jim Schaefer, but we can all aspire to the best of him. Goodbye, Dad. I love you. That's why if you've noticed, and I'm sure many of you have, just given how much we pay attention to Nebraska football and recruiting, you've probably noticed over the last week and change, hey, wow, Shafe hasn't been on the Husker 24/7 podcast lately. He wasn't on our show last week. Obviously, we won't have him on again tomorrow. And this is why he's been really broken up, obviously, about this over the last couple of weeks. And so, as I've told him, basically every day I've reached out to him since he told me, hey, some stuff's going on with my family, and he let me in on what was happening. I reached out to him just to, offer my thoughts, and we talked, sometimes he wanted to talk about the NFL.
Yeah.
He sent me a note on Sunday, like, hey, sorry about the Eagles. Like, so he made jokes still, Schaefer did. And that's why I love the guy. And he also, there were a couple of really, hard and heavy conversations that we had. So I just wanted to give my love to him and his family. I'd never had a chance to meet his dad, but I, in a way I did feel like I knew him, better than some of my friends' parents, just based off of Twitter and based off of what Schaefer said. So we really care about you, Shafe, a great friend of the program and a real great friend and an important person, I think, in our community as well. But he has been such a great friend to me since I've known him in 2012. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to him and his family.
Yeah, absolutely. And you basically said it all there. But Shafe is great. We love him. Worked with him briefly down in Lincoln a little bit, and got to know him a little bit better there. He's weirdly connected in my brain because I was supposed to go to his wedding the weekend that I had all the stuff happen with my eyeball.
Yes.
And so
that's right, because we were at a brewery, and that's when Happer told me, like, hey, because I said, I was like, yeah, right, we'll see Ravi later. And he goes, what? Ravi's coming? I go,
he's like, are you sure?
I just talked to him like 2 days ago, and he goes, oh, so you don't know the story. And then I found out the story.
And so like him and I, Schaefer and I don't know each other as well as I would like necessarily, but it feels like every time we interact, it's very, I don't know, it's just always a positive interaction, no matter who you are talking with Schaefer. And I've always appreciated that about him. And it kind of shows you the kind of person he is, and I think speaks a lot to him, and probably a large influence of that is from his dad, that I'm a guy that he didn't know particularly well, and he invited me to his wedding just because he we enjoyed being around each other, and he wanted me to be part of his day, which I always really appreciated. But obviously, thoughts and condolences out to him and his family. And I haven't experienced that with a parent yet. Thankfully, it's something that most of us our age probably will go through at some point. And so that's obviously brings a reality to the situation that I think probably causes a little bit of existential dread in all of us. But obviously you don't wish anyone to have to go through that.
Yeah. One comment before we get back into the NFL, obviously we'll transition to that. Greg and Lincoln says, I used to follow the Mike Schaefer family account. It was a family Christmas account that Schaefer set up. He says, Mike would post that during family gatherings. It was always funny, and you knew it was done in love. Sounded like Mike's dad was a great guy. That was something he used to do that was very fun. And I think that was really, what he kind of mentioned early on in that thread, posting about his dad.
Mhm.
And yeah, like you said, all done in love. So yeah, Schaefer, thinking about you, man. And good luck to you and your family moving forward. So awkward transition,
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, again, a couple of days later, as the season is now one game away from being over, if you think there are lessons to be learned from this NFL season, because I had one in particular, and it kind of hits on a little of what we talked about last segment with the quarterback situation in San Francisco. And I feel like we say this every year, but the mobility factor of the quarterback position, to me, it seems more valuable and important than at any point in our lives. Like, I was looking down the list. Okay, so the quarterbacks that we saw in the conference championship weekend, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, a huge storyline, of course, was his ankle and how that would affect his mobility. The quarterback he went up against, Joe Burrow, not a classic dual threat by any means, but
not a runner, but a very effective scrambler.
Great, yes,
Yeah.
manipulates the pocket extremely well. I mean, look, Jalen Hurts, you can make an argument that we are 60 minutes away in the Super Bowl in 12 days from the true first dual threat quarterback in the ways that we have always described it.
Yeah.
We're 60 minutes away from that first dual threat guy winning a Super Bowl.
Because we had that conversation, you and I did, where I was like, the thing that I wonder about with Jalen Hurts is the guy who running is kind of his thing.
Yeah.
That's not to say that he can't throw. That's not to say he's not an effective passer. But the reason Jalen Hurts was a quarterback where he was in college and got to where he was in the NFL, what originated with his legs.
Correct.
And the passing has gotten dramatically improved, so I don't want people coming at me about that. But the guy whose primary skill set was running as a quarterback, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
That's not to say it can't happen. That's not to say it won't happen, but it's never happened before. And so there's always a hesitancy to predict something's going to happen for the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, I mean, so you look at those three guys in particular, you got an actual dual threat and then two quarterbacks. One, in my opinion, Mahomes better at being a runner than Burrow, but certainly they use their legs to their advantage.
I mean, Burrow picked up a huge third down with his legs. I think he's more mobile than he chooses to be.
Yes.
Most of the time. I think he actually could be a pretty effective runner. He just is very choosy about when he actually takes off.
Yeah, and look, it's not like Brock Purdy. I don't think he's a statue either.
No, he was probably more similar to Burrow in terms of manipulating the pocket. Doesn't quite have the pocket savvy that Burrow does.
And we saw that especially again in the Cowboys game.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have those four. So then I looked back, okay, previous round. Dak Prescott. Now, his mobility has changed since the injury a couple of years ago, but mobility was a big part of his game early on. Trevor Lawrence, who I would put in that Joe Burrow-like level, maybe even closer to Mahomes.
Trevor Lawrence is one of the better runners remember him at Clemson. Remember all
absolutely.
the really long runs he had at Clemson.
Yeah, again, it's not just the ability to manipulate the pocket. He can run the ball.
Yeah, he will
so
take
chooses.
off and run. Probably after Hurts is probably the best true runner in that group. Outside of Josh Allen, which you're getting to.
Daniel Jones, who we talked
Very
about.
mobile.
Yeah, and then Josh Allen. And so I just named 8 quarterbacks, and I would say, I mean, on the floor, you could mention 6 of them for sure. Mobility is like an actual part of their game. It's not just they can scramble if they so choose. Their mobility is useful. And so and look, I know Tom Brady was still in the playoffs, and so that's not to say that a traditional quarterback is now extinct. But man, it just does feel like the traditional quarterback is pretty close to being extinct.
Well, and think about this for a second. If Tom Brady was 30% more mobile, wouldn't they have been better?
The Bucs?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
With all their offensive line issues,
Yeah.
with everything. That's part of the reason the offensive line issues last year for the Bengals weren't crippling. And this year, having 3 starters out wasn't crippling. They were still 3 points away from the Super Bowl because of Burrow's ability in the pocket to be mobile. And again, mobile isn't just taking off and running, but that's a huge part of, I think the offensive line equation of this is really important. I think the way the NFL is now structured and the places that money goes in terms of quarterbacks get a ton of money in when they hit free agency. Wide receivers are now getting almost quarterback money. Okay. You have to pay rush ends.
Yep.
You have to pay guys on the back end to defend those wide receivers now. So what does that leave you? There's places where you're going to have to skimp. Linebackers always been one of those places where guys will skimp. Running back became one of those places where guys will skimp.
Unless you're the Cowboys.
Unless you're
paying Zeke.
Got to get Zeke his money.
Yep.
And offensive line, weirdly enough, outside of a left tackle, a lot of times becomes one of those places where you're putting together, kind of cobbling together veterans from different places. And this guy started for a long time, but he's kind of gotten a little too good. The first guy I remember really doing it was Bill Belichick, where he sends Logan Mankins out the door and says, you know what, you're going to cost too much. We can replace 80% of your production with 10% of your salary. Get out.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of people have started doing that. He kind of did the same thing with running backs, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, hey, we can recreate 80. It's the Moneyball thing, right? We can recreate 80% of your production with 3 different running backs.
Yeah.
With 30% of your salary.
Yeah, remember that like one year where they had Corey Dillon? I was like, damn, Corey Dillon, and that
right,
was like
but he was
on the edge of his career.
But again,
Corey
that
Dillon.
was a cheap
a
scrap heap, like a Randy Moss.
Yep.
It was the same thing. It was, hey, you're a discount player that I can try and get something out of. It wasn't, oh, we're signing a star at the top of his game.
Yeah.
We're going out and getting, we're going to go out and sign Le'Veon Bell when he wanted his money, or Zeke when he wanted his money, or whoever, right? They go and they find, hey, we're going to get 80% of your production for a fraction of your salary. And that's kind of what offensive line play has become in the NFL for the most part.
Yeah.
You don't see your 90s Cowboys offensive lines that just stay together forever and are these units that are unbreakable, right? That doesn't exist anymore. What you have now is, again, an aggregate of whatever you can find for, hey, we can get 70% of your production for 10% of your salary, or 90% of your production for 40% of your salary.
The CBA, basically after Sam Bradford, that changed everything.
It did.
Remember, Sam Bradford gets drafted number 1. He's taking up so much of the cap, and veterans and teams were like, we can't keep doing this.
It changes the equation on everything.
And that's why, you hear the phrase a ton, rookie contracts. It's why those rookie contracts are
so
valuable. And that's why, like, when you look around the league and you see some teams, like the Bills are, of course, kicking themselves because Josh Allen, he made, I believe, 16 mil this year, and it's going up above 40 next year. And it's like, damn, that's why they
missed your window.
You feel like your window closed just a little bit.
It really started talking about it first with Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson was the first quarterback I really remember that
when people were talking about it, because like they can pay everybody on defense,
and they had him at third round money.
They don't have to pay him yet.
Yeah, he was getting paid like league minimum.
Yeah, he was making like $400,000 a year.
Yeah, and they won the Super Bowl in year 2, and they went back in year 3.
So they were paying him basically, like you said, league minimum, so they could pay everybody else. And as soon as they had to start paying him, it all went away.
Yeah.
Right? They were still good for quite a while after that, but they weren't Super Bowl contenders really much longer after that. That's what you're seeing with offensive lines. And that's why the mobile quarterbacks are so valuable.
Yeah, and that's why, putting a bow on this, one of the things, look, and I'm obviously not rooting for them, but the Eagles winning with this style of offense, man, it really would say something. Again, if you view the NFL as talking to the lower leagues, aka college football, and maybe you even view college football and what they do.
Say, feels like it's gone the other way recently.
And this is almost, dare I say, this would be the culmination of 15, 20 years of college football if the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
This would be
running the zone read, dude. They run the zone read a ton.
Yeah, and you didn't see it a ton on Sunday because the 49ers are actually really good at scripted run plays.
I still think that hurts his shoulder. I still think he's not
is
trying
part
to
of
get,
it as well.
Yeah,
so they've got 2 weeks. We'll see how much we see it in the Super Bowl. But it is, in my opinion, it's kind of the same thing as when we saw the Warriors win their first championship with the 3-point shooting
and how that changed everything.
The pace and space and how it was, oh, this is not a style we've seen win the championship before.
On their run, they were like, you can't win like this.
Barkley kept saying it.
Yeah,
Barkley kept saying it the next year when they were winning 73 games.
Yeah.
And, like it was, this to me is that same watershed moment. If they're able to, I think it opens the door for like the Lamar Jacksons of the world, for, maybe some of the guys coming into the league.
See, that's
like, what does this look like for Caleb Williams next year?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a really interesting one because nobody questions his arm talent.
Nope.
Right? He's pro. Like if he was Peyton Manning mobile, he'd still get drafted in the first round.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like he's got that type of arm talent.
But it's the mobility.
But now he's got, okay, I've got the arm talent and I can run like crazy. That makes him so much more valuable because then you've got the mobile quarterback, the arm talent, and the rookie contract.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, whoever ends up with him, you're in a really good spot for like 4 years to try and compete. But I don't think the offensive line thing is going back.
No.
So you have to fix other things, right? You have to find ways around that. And the mobile quarterback is the most obvious solution to that.
All right, well, go Chiefs then, so we don't have to deal with that.
Absolutely.
All right, I'd love to have you on my side. When we return, Michael Bruns will stop by. We can talk about a variety of things with him. Speaking of the Eagles being in the Super Bowl, a question that I posed earlier today on Twitter. Who is your least favorite team that's ever played for a championship? And did you consider not watching? We will discuss that as we roll on today. He's Ravi Lula. I'm Josh Peterson. We're also joined by Buzz Lightyear today. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
It's the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone. Enter to win a $5,000 shopping spree right now at 1620thezone.com. It's the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Your Tuesday afternoon forecast will include crystal blue skies with high temperatures approaching the mid to upper 20s. In Omaha, I'm tracking a high of 28 degrees. For tonight, mostly clear skies, morning glow of 14. Warmer conditions return for your Wednesday, afternoon high of 38. I'm meteorologist Anthony Copeland for KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
Creighton coverage on The Zone is presented by Barry Law. At Barry Law, we fight alongside those who choose to fight back. Call Barry Law at 402-999-7777 or visit BarryLawFirm.com. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission to have more people sign up as organ, eye, and tissue donors. What drives her? Roxanne received a heart transplant made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day to devote myself to signing up the most people in the United States. That's my goal.
Now she's a powerful force for good. What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Omaha Maverick baseball and softball season tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a pitch or run scored. 2023 season tickets include in-state rivals Creighton and Nebraska. Get your tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS. That's 402-554-MAVS.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson.
It sucks, but it's true.
On 1620 The Zone.
Here's a story of a man named Brunsey who covers Husker sports, boys and girls, like football and basketball, even weightlifting, like front squats and curls. Then one day, good old Brunsey called a talk show, and acting on what they thought was a hunch, John and Josh wanted to start a family. And now we get to talk to Michael Bruns. It's Michael Bruns. Michael Bruns. Now we get to talk to Michael Bruns.
We do indeed discuss those things right now. Bruns, have you seen the news?
Is that the Sean Payton stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right. Well, I wanted to surprise you, but you are perpetually online like all of us are in this business. If you missed it, the Saints and the Broncos are finalizing compensation in return for Sean Payton. According, Bruns, to Adam Schefter, they have two potential packages: the 2023 first-round pick from Denver and next year's second-round pick. And in return, they would get Sean Payton and the Saints' 2024 third. The other one that they've discussed is the 2024 first and a 2023 fourth round. And apparently the Saints get to choose. How is this news landing to you?
I don't know. It's interesting that this is where it's gotten to, because it felt like for the last maybe week or so that Sean Payton and Denver have kind of been doing this really like awkward leaking dance about who's not meeting with who, and it's very it's been very odd. Like I would not have put Sean Payton near the top of my odds list to be the Broncos' next head coach just based on how things have played out prior to today. So I don't know. I mean, with the first round pick this year is pick 29. I mean, I can't imagine that that first round pick in 24 is going to be any worse than that. But yeah, I don't know. I was, in all honesty, I've been like mentally preparing myself for David Shaw. Like that's where I've been the last few days. But this is something, and I guess then the next question is what the heck do you do at quarterback? Because that's a whole different mess in itself.
Well, I was just going to ask you what about the quarterback, because isn't bringing Sean Payton in kind of an indication of, hey, we're trying to fix Russell Wilson? Like he's kind of the closest, I mean, at least height wise, to Drew Brees as you can get. Like, isn't that the indication of Sean Payton over somebody like a David Shaw or D'Amico Ryans is like, hey, we got to try and fix Russell Wilson?
Maybe that's the problem. Denver's just been making all of their decisions based on quarterback height the last few years. Like,
well, they did. They had the tall guys, right?
Osweiler. Yeah, they had a very specific type for a couple. They're like somebody who's just dating and can't ever get married. Like they just have a type, and then they try some other different kinds of type, and it all ends up sucking, and they lose to the Chiefs every time. So I don't know. I mean, I guess. I guess this will be interesting to see how this works with Russ, but hopefully the defense can continue to be as good as they have been at times. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still think you're probably going to have at best the third best quarterback in the AFC West, maybe the worst. So good luck, Sean Payton.
Yeah, one more on this, and I guess you mentioned the Chiefs there. Later on, Ravi and I, Brunts, are going to talk about our least favorite teams that have ever played for a championship, considering, not watching the championship. Are the Chiefs that for you, and what's it like now that they're back for the third time in 4 years? Like, is there a part of you that doesn't want to tune in next Sunday? Because I know that I feel that way as an ardent Eagles hater.
Yeah, I'm kind of to that point. I mean, it's the shock value of everything has kind of worn off a little bit. So I think it's, I can deal. There's been a few times where I've thought, like, especially in the playoff games, like, I don't know that I really want to watch this again.
Yeah.
Mahomes is going to make some kind of play where you feel pretty good about the fact that he's like a transcendent generational quarterback. And then, they win. And that's where basically what you're left with as a Denver fan now. And your fandom is in the hands of a Walmart heir. That's what it is.
Brunts, moving on to Nebraska now. We got to hear from Terrence Knighton yesterday. Anything of consequence that you picked up from him?
Well, I'm glad we finally got some clarity on the pot roast thing, because I, as a Bronco fan, have heard a number of different stories about where that nickname actually came from. So it was good to hear that from pot roast mouth about where that came about. But I don't know. I mean, with him, there's a few takeaways. I mean, the one that I had was, we heard it from other assistants too. I mean, I think this staff is, kind of very quietly competitive. And I kind of wonder if, when Matt Rule is putting together a staff, when you have young guys who are early in their careers, I think it just kind of breeds a little bit of a culture of competition. And he said, like, you don't want to be the weak link in this group. And I think that's I think if you're a Nebraska fan, that you should like to hear that because, you know, I think it's going to have to be a group that's going to have to develop. I think it's going to have to be a very competitive on-field practice, those kinds of things. So I thought that was a good thing. I'm also kind of, with each of these coaches, as we meet them, I'm eager to kind of hear their thoughts on what they have. And, you know, he sounded like he was pretty bullish on what they have along the defensive line. But by his own admission, I think on defense, there's still going to have to be a little bit of a getting to know you type time with Tony White, because you kind of have an idea that you're running the 3-3-5, but he's the guy outside the Matt Rule tree. And I think kind of how everything comes together on defense is going to be a little bit fascinating, because it feels like the assistants we've heard from already, Knighton and Cooper, I think are kind of eager to learn what that's actually going to look like in practice.
Bruns, you know, my other takeaway, and I'm wondering if you've seen this too, and I guess to take a step back, a lot of the coaching staffs that have been hired and brought in have been like really appreciative, and they've kind of said all the right things. But I really sense, and maybe it's because, you know, quite a few of them are pretty young and this is their first big break, that they're just like really happy to be here of all places. And I think some of that is going to be the age. I think some of it's going to be the age where guys like remember when Nebraska was good. And so, you know, young people now that will be coaches in 15, 20 years, they'll have the same, you know, reverence for Georgia and Alabama as a lot of these guys do for Nebraska. But, and look, I don't know if that's going to mean anything on the field this year and beyond, but I've really noticed that they seem really jacked to be a Nebraska football coach.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, you know, Terrence Knighton, he was in elementary school during the 95 national championship season. So you're kind of getting to that point where some of the coaches maybe don't have that same, you know, background about Nebraska that maybe you would have expected 10 years ago. I think Ed Foley said this too, I think, and maybe there's another coach who mentioned it that's kind of tied closely to Matt Rule, but they said, you know, when Rule's name was kind of being bandied about for jobs, they all were kind of hoping that he was going to end up at Nebraska. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And especially kind of given the past decade or so, the way things have gone at Nebraska. I mean, I wouldn't have put Nebraska as an easy job compared with some of the other openings that were out there this year. But I do think that there's something to the, you know, to these coaches wanting to really be here. And it was, you know, one that they were hoping he would accept, and not just like, okay, I just hope I get a job out of this, but I want a job out of this, and I hope it's at Nebraska.
Brunts, want to move over to the basketball side of things with the team out in Illinois this evening. As you kind of look at their schedule and the state of where the team's at right now, I mean, I think you know where I'm going with this. Is there a win left? That's the question.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got Minnesota coming in here on the 25th. That might be one that you could look at as a potential win, but it's hard to see. I mean, I think when you're dealing with the injuries that Nebraska has, you know, where they've happened, it's tough. You know, I think, you know, you can kind of try to find some answers. You know, maybe a guy gets hot or something like that. But it seems like this team is kind of really kind of taking it on the chin from the injuries more than anything else. And, you know, we've seen with Nebraska basketball, when you get into that kind of tailspin, it's kind of hard to come out of. And with the way the Big Ten is this year, I mean, there's so many teams that are kind of in that soft middle that there's really not those you know, 3 or 4 teams at the back of the schedule or back of the standings that you would point to and be like, okay, this is a game that we've really got a shot at here, and we've got to get. So, I mean, just looking at the schedule right now, you're at Illinois, you're home for Penn State, you go to Michigan, you've got Wisconsin at home. I mean, maybe you defend home court well enough and you come away with a win there, but it's not shaping up, I don't think, to be a really strong finish just based on how the schedule lays out.
Do you think that Hoiberg has already met whatever metrics him and Trev agreed upon?
I don't know. I mean, it's a different conversation now, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know that it can be just a hard and fast number of like, this is what you have to get to. The fact that they beat Creighton, I think that matters. I think that the fact that they were competitive early on when they had their full complement of players, I think that matters. And I think you do have to kind of take into account that, you lose two big pieces from what you're doing. And it's, a lot of teams struggle to come back from that. And especially a team like Nebraska where the margin was so thin anyways. So I don't know that it's just a simple black or white question that has to be considered now. I mean, I think it's a little bit more contextual than maybe what it would have been if you were still playing with all your players at this point in the season.
Michael Bruns, Husker 24/7 Sports, joins us on Tuesdays in the 3 o'clock hour. Brunsy, appreciate your time. By the way, Schefter has added that the compensation is indeed Denver's 2023 first-round pick, next year's second-round pick. They'll get Sean Payton, and they'll get the Saints 2024 third.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
All right, Bruns, good luck to you and yours in Bronco Nation.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Let's ride.
Let's ride indeed. By the way, this now allows for the other news to become official. D'Amico Ryans, he is going to be the Texans head coach. They have agreed to terms according to various reports, including the first tweet that I saw was from Rappaport. So he says it will be announced today. I was wondering what happened because like 2 weeks ago, it seemed like D'Amico Ryans was going to Denver.
Yeah.
And then it was all, never mind, he's going to Houston.
I'm guessing he got an indication that he was not the first choice in Denver.
Sure enough, we got that. So
I'm concerned about him in Houston.
D'Amico?
Yeah. I really
because of the organization?
Yeah. That's all. I'm glad he's getting the opportunities.
And he'll get a quarterback.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's
we
Houston.
like Davis Mills.
It's Houston. I have no idea what they're going to do.
I know.
That place is a dumpster fire.
How many teams in the NFL are currently run by people who came from the Frisco?
From the 49ers?
Yeah.
So
3.
Salah in New York.
Yeah,
coaches the Jets.
McDaniel in
Miami.
And now
and then D'Amico. I think that's all.
Yeah.
I feel like they're having a major influence.
Oh,
within
they are,
the next
Nick.
few years.
Well, plus they're all a part of that same, the Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan. They're all so at one point, those three guys who are now all head coaches in the NFL, they were on the same staff in Washington.
I would say it's really the Mike Shanahan tree more than the Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I guess
tree.
that's true. Yeah,
because they all worked for Mike Shanahan, right?
But it's I guess I have viewed it more lately as the Sean McVay tree.
Right, but Sean McVay came from
yeah.
So it's hard,
But man, like that dude that's like he had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay. Let's hire him.
No, it's true.
Like there was like that. Remember, when they
that
hired
was the Zach Taylor
Kingsbury
thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was there for what, a year?
Yeah, I think he was with and Taylor had worked in Miami and he worked in the league. It wasn't just, but because he was there with McVay, it really propelled him to the Cincinnati job, which obviously ended up being a great hire. But I don't think he was a great hire because he coached for a year with Sean McVay.
And didn't Arizona, when they hired Kingsbury, like their statement had something like he literally has hung out with Sean McVay before. It was very
it was
specific.
like he gives Sean McVay vibes. Was
Right?
essentially
Yeah,
the statement.
a handsome guy.
Yeah, I
Because
think that was part of it.
they had
is-
never coached together. I don't think. I'm looking at their
No, because Kingsbury was Texas Tech, and then that's it basically.
And before that, he was at A&M. He was at Houston in college.
Yeah, he was like the Sumlin. He was under
Yeah,
Sumlin,
yeah.
and then he went to Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But he no, I think it was literally like he gives off McVay vibes, like offensive minded,
McVibes.
like good looking
Yep.
young guy.
Yep.
And they were like, yeah, we don't care that he never won in college. NBD.
Yep. And hey, they made one playoff, so
And
that's
guess
all
what?
that matters.
It was a BD.
And now he's still overseas.
Still hanging out in Thailand.
Man, what a-
Frisco influence.
What a life. Have you noticed that, by the way? He is taken after John, and he only calls them Frisco.
I
It's
don't
fun to say.
care. I don't.
Yeah.
Francisco.
Frisco or Frisky? I like Frisky.
I don't care. I almost always call
San
them the
Fran people
49
hate it.
Yeah, I'm not from there.
Yeah.
I'm from here famously.
Oh.
I was born and raised.
Oh.
But no, I usually just call
Now
them
you own a home.
the Niners and a boat.
And a boat.
And
Wow.
the Niners, the 49ers.
Mm.
I don't know if the Niners is a thing they don't like, but I go Niners a lot.
Yeah. Well, his wife famously
Niner lover.
had a Niner lover.
Yeah.
And I just always want to put a 6 in front of it.
Yeah, always.
That's the
Anytime like the car got dirty, you'd like put it, that's what I would have done.
By the way, Ravi,
Very mature.
I got some news for you.
What's that?
This week's zone deal is for Lay Voltaire.
I've been there.
Locally owned French restaurant serving the Omaha community for 22 years. You can get this week's zone deal. You ready for this? $50 voucher. Two $25 vouchers. So it's $50. That's math.
Total.
You add those together.
Yeah.
Only $25.
Oh, so it's half the cost.
Bingo. You nailed it. You ready for this? It's the first Friday in February.
Ooh.
Which is coming up on Friday. It's the 3rd.
This Friday.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Some would say 9.
It's good. I've been there.
Yeah?
Good stuff. Been there a few times, I think.
Look at you, French boy.
Yeah. Well, listen, like wine and French food.
Look at you. Jeez.
I think I had duck the last time I was there.
Dude, I have had duck one time. Big fan.
Oh, it's delicious.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Dad, this is duck. So that's available Friday morning at 9 o'clock on 1620thezone.com. When we return, I don't know if you had any lessons to be learned from the NFL season.
Kind of, not in the sense that you mean. But...
Okay. All right. Well, this will be fun. Later on, I do want to talk about the idea of the NFL being rigged, which I hate. Creighton basketball, they seem to be good.
They seem to have course corrected.
Course corrected.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll talk about all that and more with our good friend Ravi Lula. I'm Josh Peterson. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on this Tuesday, 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Here's this week's Maverick Minute. Omaha Maverick Hockey improves to 14-10-2 after securing a weekend split with the number 9 Western Michigan Broncos last Saturday with a 2-0 shutout victory. Omaha Hockey is idle this coming weekend before welcoming the Colorado College Tigers to Baxter Arena next weekend for a 2-game series. And that's your Maverick Minute on your home for the Mavs. News Talk 1290, 1180 The Zone, and 1620 The Zone.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Josh Peterson, Ravi Lula, Nick Grimm. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone. Probably no more guests for the rest of the show, so if you have anything you'd like to chime in on, you can do so.
You can do some chiming.
The Chime Boys.
Formula One.
Definitely not. So, Nick, remember the tweets earlier.
Not you.
A couple of people cared. A couple of people cared about the things.
Nick,
I
I'd
was
rather
saying.
you talk about the NFL draft.
A
than
couple
Formula
people fake cared because it's a bit.
Yes.
For
Exactly.
them.
For them, not
one
for
of
you.
one of them used a term that is a meme in the Formula One community.
Oh,
so I
man.
think they're genuine.
Or
You think
they're
he's
so
do you think
deep
he's-
on the bit.
Do you think he's being defensive right now?
Oh, it seems pretty defensive about the Formula One.
Defensive!
He's a big defensive boy about the Formula One, much like D'Amico Ryan's big defensive boy.
Nice. That was very well done. On the offensive end, Alex and Lincoln asked, Josh, thoughts on the Cowboys not going after Peyton? Look, I've said it for weeks now. I think that Sean Payton is Mike McCarthy with better PR. Like, I just firing
Oh,
McCarthy.
like how Dak Prescott is Kirk Cousins with better PR.
Bingo. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're all the same. And so I would rather them run it back one more year. And I know we're going to talk about Kellen Moore later. Heck, we could do it right now.
Sure,
let's talk
let's
about it
do
right
it
now. I would rather them run it back and give it like one more go with this infrastructure, which is McCarthy top on down. Jerry obviously doing
Jarrah?
time traveling Jarrah.
I love
Getting
him.
Tony Romo not to say the N-word on the air. So I'd rather start there. Mike McCarthy, obviously Dan Quinn. I think that is. I'd rather have.
Retaining Dan Quinn was a big deal.
It's huge. So I'd rather have that, and Micah for another year on his rookie deal. Dak as his contract goes up. I'd rather do that than bring in Sean Payton and an entire new coaching staff. When I just don't look. I'll take my shot at results being better in year 4 under Mike McCarthy than year 1 under Sean Payton, mainly because I think in year 4 under Sean Payton, we're probably having a similar conversation. I don't know, man. Like, look at his playoff success, and more importantly, look at his playoff failures. When I say he is McCarthy with better PR, I truly mean it. And I believe, Ravi, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I believe outside of the Super Bowl year, the year that they won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the second time, by the way, that he had made the NFC Championship game. He had taken him to the NFC Championship in his first year, which was 2006. They lost to the Bears. Then they won the Super Bowl in year 4. And I'm looking right now. He only coached in one other conference championship game.
2018.
2018, and they lost to the Rams. Now, there was a bad call in that football game. I would agree with you there. But he only took them to one other conference championship game. So that means at most in those playoffs, he won one game. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like McCarthy is God's gift to the earth. But he did take the Packers to multiple conference championship games. He did it with a Hall of Famer. I would say that Hall of Fame quarterback better than Drew Brees. But yeah, so I'm okay. I'm okay with them trying to do it again. But you had I guess what's your first thought on that before we get to your question?
Yeah, so I get where you're coming from for sure. When you examine them closely, they're not as different as they seem. They're actually remarkably
it's nuts how
similar.
Yeah. Their winning percentage is very similar.
I think McCarthy's
a little better, right?
A little worse, I think.
Okay.
McCarthy's 155 and 97 for his career, 11 and 10 in the playoffs.
Wow, they are nuts close.
Yes.
Because Sean Payton's 152 and 89.
Yes.
And he is 9 and 8 in the playoffs.
They're almost identical.
Yeah.
They both have one Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And neither of them have ever been back.
Neither of them have ever been back, and I think they've each been to 3 championship games besides that.
Sean Payton's been to 2.
So McCarthy's got him there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. That's the resume for
nuts?
both, right?
So that's why I say he is Mike McCarthy with better PR.
So I understand where you're coming from, certainly with the rather give McCarthy another go. Where I wonder, and this leads into my next question, the real question, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But my next question is, how do you feel about, it's less about McCarthy returning as head coach. How do you feel about what is presumed that he will take over play calling? Because that's where I'm like, I don't know. Because it's been a minute since he called plays, right?
It's been since the season he got fired, 2018.
So he hasn't had at all in Dallas.
No, it was all Kellen Moore.
And
And apparently, I haven't read the story yet because it came out like right before we went on the air. But apparently, though their relationship, Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy's relationship towards the end of this season
Had deteriorated.
Okay,
which makes sense. And again, so that answers part of my other question. But how comfortable are you with Mike McCarthy, the play caller, not just the head coach?
Yeah, but
because
doing both.
I understand that standpoint of, hey, he's not, like Sean Payton's not really an upgrade.
They're the
Part
same
of it,
to me.
honestly, and this might just be a me thing,
but it's probably gonna be mean.
I guess. Part of it isn't part of it that Mike McCarthy just looks schlubby?
That why like people make fun of him?
Well, why he's considered not as good of a coach. Like Sean Payton is just like a better looking person.
Though I would say he doesn't look very good in suits.
No, and he doesn't look as good as he used
That's
to.
interesting. I've never thought about that with McCarthy.
But listen, I mean, we were talking about Sean McVay earlier. Part of the reason people like Sean McVay is because he's a good looking guy.
That's
part of the reason Cliff Kingsbury keeps getting jobs or kept getting jobs is because he's a good face for your franchise.
You know what I think it is too, and I think we basically just hit on it a little tiny bit. Aaron Rodgers, we consider him better than
that's part of it.
Drew Brees, right? So, and that's where the whole he wasted Aaron Rodgers' career. Because, like, look,
but
Mahomes,
now we look at Aaron Rodgers and aren't we kind of like that guy's a weirdo?
We do for sure.
Like he's maybe a tough hang in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's a miracle that anyone got a Super Bowl out of him.
I think the best thing that happened to McCarthy in his time now since being in Green Bay, and look, he's a coach again, and he has his warts. But is that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers still haven't made the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
and their flameouts in the playoffs have been pretty extraordinary.
Dramatic.
Yeah, like. I mean, the one last year in the snow to the 49ers, a game they had no business losing. Aaron Rodgers played like crap,
and they can't beat the 49ers at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
and then the 2 years, they had the other NFC title game lost to the Niners where they just got boat raced, but the loss to the Bucs, I think that's the one, honestly, that was the moment where I realized, like, wow, have we just been totally wrong about this guy? And then maybe I kind of cemented that feeling last year, but I think, and then they lose to the Lions this year in week 18. I think you're onto something there with how he looks and how that can cause people to judge him, I guess in this case, unfairly.
Well, it's the same way whether it's looks or whether it's guys that are more polished in terms of the way they speak and things like that tend to be more well regarded.
Yeah.
And the appearance is part of that.
And if you're not going to do those things, aka Belichick, is if you
better
win,
be awesome.
And if you do that, then we don't care about
the
other stuff.
If you're gonna be a jerk and non-question answerer in the media, and you're gonna look schlubby like Belichick does, which I've seen him in a suit. He looks like a normal person.
Yeah.
Like he has the ability of looking like a normal person.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're gonna do all those things, you better be awesome beyond question.
Yeah, and Adam had texted in right before you said that. He says, "I'm not buying Ravi's comments on looks. Andy Reid and Belichick aren't lookers. They win though. McCarthy doesn't." But I think that may be.
But here's the thing: McCarthy kind of does. Like McCarthy wins more than most NFL coaches.
Well, I think I said this to you at some point in December. In maybe it was about this exact discussion of him versus Sean Payton. The thing that I have liked about the Mike McCarthy era is that I feel like when the Cowboys step on the field, they are better prepared than they were for a decade prior under Jason Garrett. And look, is that a low bar? Of course it is. But they are a tougher team. I mean, we talked about it after the loss of the 49ers.
I couldn't believe how well they played against
and
the 49ers.
And that's why I thought that they were going to win, because I thought the defense kicks ass. And like when they're ready to go, they perform at an extremely high level.
They didn't I don't think they missed a single tackle against the 49ers.
They are, and so that, it sucks. But
how much of that's Dan Quinn?
Yeah, exactly. And so I full circle to go back to your original question. I am like, if he's going to go down with the ship, he can do it however he wants. Like,
yeah.
I feel like this will be year 4. It's make or break. I think if he is going to be the coach that lasts into year 5, 6, and 7, they are going to have to finally have a nice run. And if they don't, he's going to get, I honestly think that this is put up or shut up. And so if he gets fired because he decided to call plays, cool. Like I'd
go
rather
out on your own terms.
Now if he wants to bring in somebody, that's fine too. Like I guess I've gotten to the point, and it's not so much where I'm not going to question things, because whatever he decides to do, when we know what's official, I will have an opinion on it. But if he wants to call plays, I mean, look, the numbers in Green Bay, they were good. Some years they were great.
Yes.
Most of the time they were solid. The thing I guess that I'm going to try to talk myself into with this move is that Dak Prescott has played in one offense his entire career. When it was Scott Linehan, when it was Jason Garrett, and when it was Kellen Moore, because it was always the same ultimate tree. And I like that McCarthy hopefully will push some
Change
different
things up a little
buttons
bit.
and hopefully, like they always say that Dak is one of the best guys before the snap. I can't speak to that. I don't know what he does or doesn't do. But that's the part where I'm like, okay, put him in a different offense. And like I was reading some stuff this week about how a lot of their routes, the trees, they don't allow for running after the catch. It's always running and turning around, and like they have CeeDee Lamb. I'd like him to get the ball in space.
Yeah, that's kind of you bring up CeeDee Lamb. That's the thing I liked the most about him at Oklahoma was with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I didn't look at him at Oklahoma. Not that he couldn't, but I didn't look at him in Oklahoma as like, oh, that's a guy that's going to go and high point it all the time. I looked at it as like, oh, you get that guy the ball and he's scoring. Right. But so I want to get kind of back to my question that brought all of this up is, you mentioned the relationship between Kellen Moore and McCarthy had deteriorated. And that was part of the reason he was let go. But before that report came out, it kind of felt like they were scapegoating Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Right. And so I guess it brought up the question to me is A, did you blame Kellen Moore? And B, either way, do you feel the need to place blame in a situation like this? Because
like at the end of this season,
yeah, like at the end of a season, whether it's the Cowboys, whether it's Nebraska, which the Nebraska blame has been pretty easy to place the last few years, so we don't have to go into that. But
Scott Frost,
bad football coach, but it just shouldn't say that. There was something else.
Oh, okay. I was like, you can say bad coach.
No, I was gonna say margaritas, but
dumbass, stupid.
I love margaritas.
They're delicious.
I do them every Saturday, man.
Oh,
it's
man.
my Saturday treat after a long run.
You ever? Yeah, you got to make it with the good tequila though.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Quarter jalapeno margarita. Oh,
but I'm wondering because I feel like at the end of the season, a lot of fans feel the need to place blame somewhere.
sure.
Right.
So are you ultimately asking, like, can it just be that they ran into a better team and they lost?
Well,
and it doesn't have to be like an existential crisis every time.
Yes, basically, because only one team gets to win.
Yeah.
And most of the time,
Well,
it's not going to be you.
And isn't that the thing? Like, it kind of goes back to our discussion we had a couple segments ago of the lessons to be learned from this season. And sometimes the lesson is the Chiefs are better than the Bengals, no matter if Patrick Mahomes is 100% or if he's 75%. And sometimes
the Chiefs have a better roster.
Yeah,
the Chiefs have a better
and
roster.
if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, maybe what we said, and oh man, this is the future of football. No, maybe it's just that they have an incredible roster.
And they could have won with just about, Minshew could have won this Super Bowl. We don't know.
Oh,
Probably.
don't say that. The Eagles are going to get very triggered about that statement. But look,
But you know what I mean, though.
No, yeah,
it could have.
totally.
You could have.
Minshew mania.
Like let's trade Dak for Jalen Hurts, right?
Oh, it's Dalton's Super Bowl, right? Probably not.
Probably not. But
Probably not.
Philadelphia still might.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's fun to think about.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm not
there's
impressed.
probably if you're a above average or better quarterback in the league, and this is not to take away from Jalen Hurts.
Eagles fans, direct all your hate to @RALula on Twitter.
Well, I already said on Twitter that they shouldn't feel good because they didn't earn their victory yesterday at all. So, yeah, whatever. There's not a lot of like Omaha Eagles fans. Like I'm sure
I know
there's-
one of them.
You know one. She's wisely laid out of my mentions
Nice.
for the last couple days, which I appreciate.
That's nice. of her.
But you probably with that roster, because that roster is incredible.
Yeah.
Right. You probably could have won a Super Bowl or could win a Super Bowl with a lot of different quarterbacks with that roster.
Mhm.
Right. Like this doesn't mean Jalen Hurts is better than Joe Burrow.
No.
It certainly doesn't.
No, of
I would
course
take
not.
Joe Burrow over almost every quarterback in the league not named Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly.
This doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts is better than Josh Allen. Maybe he is, but probably not.
Yeah, we need a little more time.
Right? Is he better than Justin Herbert? I don't know. I have more reservations about Justin Herbert
Me
than a
too.
lot of people do.
Yeah, me too.
But the point is, sometimes you just either win or lose, and there's not necessarily a satisfying reason. Like the 49ers season, there's nobody to blame. They lost all their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
There was no one left.
Yeah. In
They
the
were-
end, like
They were literally playing a guy that needs Tommy John surgery at quarterback.
and then they played his backup who's been in the league for 15 years.
And then they had to go back to the guy with the exploded shoulder.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's not a satisfying end of the season.
I guess to ultimately answer your question before we go to break.
Do you feel the need to blame anyone for Dallas?
Well, if anything is to blame, it's just franchise issues overall. And it's not Kellen Moore's fault that they decided to move on from him. I am okay with it because of what I just said of like, I'm excited for a new voice.
Yeah.
That I think that can help. Will it? I don't know. It can.
So you're not at the place as a Cowboys fan.
I didn't
that
leave
says-
Sunday like, damn it, fire Kellen Moore.
Okay. What was there anybody? Were you like, hey, Dak can't get it done?
Well, and he is always the hit like a quarterback of his level, and I think Kirk Cousins is in the same discussion. Those guys, like, in a way, I door number 2 in the unknown is really scary because Dallas did that after Troy Aikman, and they had Chad Hutchinson and Vinny Testaverde and Drew Bledsoe. Quincy Carter, who took them to the playoffs, by the way.
Drew Henson.
It was
briefly.
Dude, it sucked. And so door number 2 is freaking scary.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Door number 1 is also scary because it's like, hey, they just threw another pick 6.
Yeah.
You know, like this year, there were some games where I was like, man, that is not on him. Like the Jacksonville pick 6 that won them the game. That was not on Dak. That was a drop pass. On the other hand, he made plays in that game that put them in that spot where a pick 6 could result in them losing in walk-off fashion.
So you haven't decided that he leaves you in purgatory forever.
I mean, he does, but they can't do anything about it now because his contract is what it is.
Right.
And so that's the part. I mean, look, that's where the depression
contract
ultimately lies.
is the tough part.
We're screwed no matter what, you know.
Because if you move on to door number 2 and it's not the guy, then you can
you're
always...
Yeah, I guess you can draft number 1
That's the
quarterback
thing
over.
is you get bad and you're
just-
like, then you get a QB.
Look, and you know what? You hope that you get Joe Burrow, but you also might end up with Achilles Smith. And that's what happened with Cincinnati back in the 90s.
You also might end up with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how about the fact, one more thing, Nick. I'm
Might
sorry.
end up with Kyler Murray.
How about the fact that of all of the quarterbacks that Lincoln Riley has had, Jalen Hurts might be the one to win the Super Bowl first. Not Baker Mayfield, not Kyler Murray, not Caleb Williams. It might be Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. We have our NFL hot take market coming up, so we'll do that pretty soon. Did want to talk about the Blue Jays, though, as they have found themselves and started picking up some dubs. And a month ago, we were saying, is this team going to make the tournament? It certainly seems like they're going to make the tournament.
Yeah, they still have to stack up some wins.
Yeah. But it seems like they put
if
themselves
they
in a good spot.
Continue to play this way, they're in good shape.
Do that as well, and then I'll probably go on a rant about things or, being rigged or not.
Yay, rants.
Yeah. So we'll do that, all that and more. He's Ravi. I'm Josh. More to come. 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the time-saving traffic center, heads up, a wreck still has the 2 right lanes blocked on westbound I-80 at 60th, causing stop-and-go traffic back from at least 42nd. If you're east on I-80, slow going between 108th and 60th, with people apparently checking out the wreck. The stall has the right lane blocked on westbound Dodge at 72nd. Also, a stall has the right lane blocked on Blondo at Papillion Parkway. And if you're headed south on 72nd, delays between I-80 and L Street. I'm Mike Neville. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Looking for a career, not a job? IBEW has immediate openings for residential electricians. You'll receive top pay, fully funded family health care, and retirement benefits. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call Michael at 402-810-0789. The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
From basketball to volleyball, baseball to softball, soccer, tennis, and so much more, the Creighton sports season is packed with action. The 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law, covers it all. Each week, we visit with Blue Jay athletes and coaches to hear their stories and document their climb through the Big East Conference. The 1620 The Jays podcast drops each Friday morning and is found at 1620thezone.com and all major podcast platforms. Just search 1620 The Jays. Covering all things Creighton Blue Jays, it's the 1620 The Jays podcast, presented by Barry Law from 1620 The Zone.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Wednesday, the Blue Jays are back on the road as they head to Washington, D.C. to battle the Georgetown Hoyas. Pre-game coverage begins Wednesday night at 5 p.m., tip-off at 5:30. The Blue Jays are on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The Keg.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, Ravi Lula. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on this Tuesday, 1620 The Zone.
Should we bring in the NBA topic we were just having that I know people would really, really love?
Well, yeah, because
Josh is out on the NBA this season.
That's right.
No, but this is the 90s NBA.
This
so
is
your
my
sweet
wheelhouse.
spot.
Yeah, in the early 2000s. You asked a question, but it was an offshoot of what we were discussing of how many Super Bowls.
Well, sometimes sometimes nothing wrong happened. It's just the other team was better.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the other team just has Patrick Mahomes. And the most famous example of that is sometimes the other team just has Tom Brady.
And it's funny you say it because we got a tweet from Kyle, who he is a Packers fan. I always refer to him as noted Wisconsin fan. Kyle, he says, it is ridiculous to think that the Chiefs are wasting Mahomes, Packers wasted Rodgers, Colts wasted Manning, Saints wasted Breeze. It's the most competitive league in all of sports. There's only one, Brady and Belichick. Now, he has really taken umbrage with the whole idea that the Packers wasted Rodgers. And he finds a lot of frustration in why don't we have that discussion with other quarterbacks? And he keeps wanting us to have it with Mahomes. And I keep trying to tell him, like, look, if they would have lost on Sunday to Cincinnati and we're watching that game,
probably having that conversation
would have been had. Now,
we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we said, like, he has to start racking up Super Bowls for his legacy to be what we think it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And for the record, I think he is that guy. I
do too.
Yeah. And I just am basically arguing with, the idiots. I think he is that guy. I think Patrick Mahomes is unequivocally now. I mean, I think he's been the best quarterback in the league essentially since his first year. I think unequivocally he is the dude.
Yeah.
And he is, as long as he still has all of his limbs, he is going to be the guy.
Or even three of them, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. He is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, his prime is going to last quite a few years. So, like, they will always have a floor. Dude, their floor is the AFC Championship game
right now.
They're playing an incredibly high level.
Now their roster is going to experience some
Yeah.
turnover and things like that. So they may have like a dip and then they kind of build back up.
And look, I don't know why I don't know why he gets bothered by it so much, though, because it's not a diss. I mean, now I guess it's kind of a diss on Rodgers, but for a while that was a diss on McCarthy.
Yeah, it was a McCarthy
Because
diss,
it's
not a Rodgers
Dude, you have, at the time, he had the Patrick Mahomes equivalent as his quarterback in Green Bay, like, for years.
Well, pretty close. I mean, part of the
Mahomes stuff is everything. I mean, he's
part
an
of
alien.
part of the problem with Rodgers is that he still overlapped with a ton of Brady.
Yeah.
Like, I get they never faced off, but even if you make
Isn't
it,
that nuts? They
even
never-
if you make it to it, it's like
LeBron and Kobe.
That's what I was
How
just
they
going to say.
They never played in the finals,
right?
Which
But
always sucks. Like, oh, that would have been fun.
even if they had, like, you still have to get past this other guy, right?
Yeah.
And so I asked the question, kind of in this same vein, how many Super Bowls does Peyton Manning have if Tom Brady, like, if they go with Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah, if he's just never born.
Well, not even if he's never born. Like, we have a pretty realistic scenario where they could have chosen Drew Bledsoe once he got healthy. Like, that would not have been crazy for that to happen.
Yeah.
And if that happens, Tom Brady's career probably doesn't play out this way anywhere else.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think so.
So, especially
he needed the early years.
Especially, the early years where he was not until 2007.
Yeah.
His numbers are not that good.
No, they're pretty pedestrian.
And then he gets Randy Moss and everything takes off and he becomes
and
Tom Brady.
And then he becomes, what he is now.
But he was just like the best version. He was, honestly, there was like a lot of like Alex Smith vibes with a good, like, with a way better roster.
And the thing he had was the defense.
He had a great roster and a great
defense.
coach.
Yeah.
Right. And then 2007, he takes off and he becomes Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right.
And he wins 4 more after that.
But
cool. Crazy.
Fun and normal.
Yeah.
But let's say they go back with Drew Bledsoe. They probably still win some of those Super Bowls.
Wow,
Because
you think so?
I think they get at least one.
See, I don't think. I'll definitely disagree.
I think they get one because that roster was so good.
Yeah, but Bledsoe was old and he kind of stunk by that time. Like, they would.
I mean,
and maybe this is revisionist
he wasn't
history.
that old. It is revisionist history because he got drafted in 92 or 93.
But
so by
back then,
2000, that's only 32 or 33. That's not crazy.
I know. I mean, like,
even then, that's not crazy.
Troy Aikman got drafted in what, like 88, 89, and he was out of the league in.
That's because he had a million concussions.
But look at Drew Bledsoe. He was out of the league by like 05, and he sucked.
I think he was in the league to like 08.
Dude,
I'm looking it up.
I watched him for the Cowboys, and I know that they were not coached
Okay,
by
but
Bill
it's also
Belichick.
the Cowboys.
But look at it. That guy was a statue back there.
He
stunk.
was a statue.
He stunk.
You're not giving Drew Bledsoe a ton of
The
credit here.
revisionist history that I wanted to bring up, though, was from all reports, the Patriots were about to move on from him regardless. You know, the injury was what kickstarted
Belichick
it.
didn't love him.
Yeah, he was not a fan of Drew Bledsoe.
But there's a world. Holy cow! Do you know his middle name is McQueen?
I did not.
That's
Like
incredible.
Steve, like Steve?
Yeah, Drew McQueen Bledsoe.
Nice. Thank
That's
you,
a real
Steve.
thing.
It's a cool middle name.
Yeah, so he played until 2006. His last 2 years were with the Cowboys, but with Buffalo,
he was so bad.
He was reasonably good.
He was okay.
He was
never made the playoffs.
Well, no, but Buffalo was also a dumpster fire.
That's true.
He placed his first year in Buffalo. He was third place for Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay,
so like that's a good
All right,
year.
we've gone down this rabbit hole, Bledsoe. You going back to the original discussion?
The original discussion was if Tom Brady just doesn't exist, like how many Super Bowls does Peyton Manning have?
Mm-hmm.
Like in an alternate universe where Tom Brady gets drafted by the 49ers instead of Giovanni Carmazzi, and so he never has a career.
Nice.
And Hofstra reference there.
Nice.
You know, Peyton Manning probably has 4 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
So can you really be like, oh, well, they wasted Peyton Manning? Like, is that Jim Caldwell's fault? Is it? No, it's Tom Brady's fault.
Yeah.
It's Bill Belichick's fault.
And that's kind of like what Kyle is saying, where we are judging all of these guys, maybe. And here's where I want to disagree with them a little bit. We are judging these guys against the success of Tom Brady, and that is true. But let's not pretend that Brady is the first quarterback to win multiple Super Bowls. For a while, the gold standard was Montana. That's what we.
But 4 is a very reasonable number. It's a high number, but it's not 7.
Yeah. Now the number has gotten to a point where
It's
I mean,
comical.
no one's ever going to do it.
No.
No one is ever going to win as a starting quarterback. No one will ever win 7 Super Bowls.
Patrick Mahomes would have to win every Super Bowl, including this year, until he was 34 to pass him.
Yeah, well, that's it by 34. Now, if he wants to play till he's 45,
Right.
he's basically got to win it every other year.
But again, which is stupid.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
And you know the craziest part, too, is that the best Patriots team didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's the 2007 one. He had the stretch, so they won in 01, 03, and 04.
And then they didn't win until
14.
Yeah.
Dude, they had a decade. And they made, what? They made 2 Super Bowls in that time. They lost to the
7
Giants.
and 11?
Yeah. They lost to the Giants both times. And it's just like, wow, so the guy has 7. And there's a real world where he has more.
There's a world where he has 9.
Yeah, he's made 9 of them. No, he's made 10 of them now.
Right, because he lost one. But like, he probably should have won 9.
Definitely should have beaten
the first Giants.
The first Giants. And I think they were better than the second Giants. So I picked the Giants to win that one going in. The Eagles, that was they played perfect against them. That was a great performance.
It was, but like there's a real world where he's got 9 Super Bowls.
And then there's also a real world where like they lose to the Rams and we're all wondering like, okay, so do you keep him? Is he still the guy?
That's what I mean. And if that happens, Peyton Manning probably has like 4. And we're talking about Peyton Manning the way we talk about Joe Montana.
So which then led to the discussion of, what happens if Michael Jordan doesn't exist? You asked what happens if Magic or Larry doesn't exist in the 80s and how many titles do one of those teams win?
What if it's not even they don't exist? What if they're like 20% worse? Like what if Magic Johnson exists, but he's
good.
Like 20% worse? Let's say let's say they're Clyde Drexler instead of like that level of star instead of Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
So like a top 100 player of all time instead of a top 10 player of all
trying
time.
to think of like the equivalent. It's like Tracy McGrady instead of
like a Tracy McGrady, a Vince Carter, like a really good basketball player.
Yeah, like one of the
perennial all-star.
We'll remember you.
Like a guy that has had a memorable, important NBA career, but you're not an all-timer. You're not a top of the pyramid pantheon guy.
So you're like, so if
Larry Bird's got 8 or Magic Johnson has like 7 or 8, right?
So if Tom Brady was Jake Delhomme.
Not even. If Tom Brady was Kirk Cousins.
Tom Brady was Kirk Cousins. How many Super Bowls does Peyton Manning have?
Probably like 4.
It's pretty crazy too because
and that's not a huge drop off. Like I know that Cousins gets panned all the time, but like look at the numbers. The numbers are pretty good.
They're Dak Prescott like.
They're you're talking, and I get offenses are different, but you're talking about 4,000 yards, 25-30 touchdowns, a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio for the first part.
Look at the box score every game.
65 plus completion percentage. Like these are guys that are good quarterbacks that put up good numbers for teams that make the playoffs.
And yet we watch them and we're like,
trash.
Yeah, no thank you. I don't want that guy.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Cut him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what people are right. And so if you just downgrade Tom Brady to Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins, let's downgrade Tom Brady to Russell Wilson.
Oh,
has a Super Bowl. was considered one of those dudes for a hot second.
Yep.
Right?
And now Sean Payton's the coach.
Now they're hiring a coach and giving up draft picks specifically to fix the guy that they gave $250 million to. But the point is, sometimes no one's to blame. Like
this is nice. I tie back to like 3 discussions ago.
Yeah, we judge these people in a vacuum when they're not competing in a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
We judge these people of, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers is a talent level that should be able to win multiple Super Bowls. And that's probably true.
But he has to go against X, Y, and
But
Z.
he has to go against, he has a thing with the 49ers for some reason.
He can't beat the
really
49ers.
struggles with the 49ers across coaches, across quarterbacks, across whatever, right? Peyton Manning had the same thing with having to go up against Tom Brady his whole career. Like Karl Malone and John Stockton probably have a world championship without Michael Jordan standing in their way, right? Hakeem Olajuwon probably doesn't if Michael Jordan never retires. Like there's a context to these things, and sometimes the context is to blame more than Kellen Moore or more than Dak Prescott or more. Like, is Joe Burrow going to be thought of differently if he doesn't win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? Probably. Does that mean he's a different person? No. Look at what he's done in Cincinnati, of all places.
He's won more games in 2 years than any Cincinnati Bengals quarterback has won in the franchise's history.
Cincinnati was...
Dude, he has more playoff... He has the same number of playoff wins in his 2 seasons than the Cowboys have since 96.
Cincinnati was... I don't even know what the comparison is in another sport. But they're like the pre-Bill Snyder Kansas State almost of the NFL.
Yeah, they have the 2 Super Bowls, but man, especially when you and I were growing up,
they were awful.
They were, how we viewed the Browns for a lot of years, that's what Cincinnati was.
They
were a laughing stock.
Yes, they were
so
constantly,
bad, and they were always cheap, and they still are, oddly enough.
Super cheap. They were always in the top 5 of the draft. They were never good, and they usually made the wrong pick. I'm looking at you like Kajana Carter. Bet Kajana Carter didn't think he was catching a stray today.
Peter Warwick.
Hey, how dare you?
Sorry, my bad.
Before his time.
I always forget about your Florida State fandom.
Before his time. He was before his time.
Yeah, put him in the NFL now. He'd be fun.
I actually think he would.
Oh, he would be. Yeah, he's a great athlete.
But there's just him doing this in Cincinnati is almost more impressive than winning a Super Bowl somewhere else, right? Like going to the 49ers who have this huge Super Bowl history, even though it's been 27, 28 years at this point, whatever.
Yeah, here Johnny's bringing up has been 10,000 days.
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a good example because they've won more recently, right?
Yeah.
And they've got the history.
Yep.
So you got the Steelers here. Going to the Steelers and winning a Super Bowl is not nearly as impressive, in my opinion, as going to the Bengals and making them competent.
Wow. Amazing, Daniel. Just still catching strays from you.
Always.
God, he takes about Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, if you switch him and Tom Brady, the Steelers never lose again.
Greg and Lincoln says the place the Bengals were in with Lewis coaching was a disaster, utter disaster. For them to be where they are now is incredible. And it's funny too, because I remember when
Carson Palmer quit to get out of there.
I remember when he took him, it was like, wow, this guy's good because he kept going to the playoffs. But then it was like, oh, never mind. They just always lose in the playoffs.
They were like 8-8 every year. But literally Carson Palmer in his prime was like, I would rather no longer play football than to be a part of this franchise.
And then he went to Arizona and was good. He took him to the
That's
NFC
what I mean. Like, they had broken his spirit so badly that he's like, football's not for me anymore.
Yeah. And then he went and
then he got his batteries recharged and he went to a different dumpster of a franchise and was like, oh, this is a huge upgrade. Let's go there.
And now Cincinnati thinks that the NFL is rigged against them because they made it to the AFC Championship game 2 years in a row.
If anything, it's rigged for them because they got Joe Burrow.
By the way, we've mentioned a couple of things. We've talked about Sean Payton a good amount today because if you missed it, he became the Broncos head coach. How about this from Ian Rappaport within the last half hour? The Broncos spent today trying to hire DeMeco Ryans again before he recommitted to the Texans, sources say. When he agreed to terms with the Texans, they moved and finalized Sean Payton.
Oh, so it went the other way.
Yeah, so earlier on, you and I theorized, okay, that was why a lot of the Broncos...
what are you doing, man?
I mean, maybe just... Look, I guess, who would you rather coach? Russell Wilson or, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? Look, man, both franchises, you can make the argument, are disasters right now. I mean, Brun said
they're in a really bad...
Walmart ownership.
They're in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
They both are. My initial thought is I'd rather be in Denver, but they're stuck with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do.
You asked a question to me earlier about Dak Prescott. It's that times I'm not even talking about
Times
just
like 4 more years.
It sucks.
Let's ride.
They're in a horrible spot. There's nothing they can do
unless
you can't do anything.
Russell Wilson magically doesn't suck anymore.
Yeah.
That's the only
See, and that's why, you know what? Honestly, this might be the best for both parties, because if I were to guess who Russell Wilson would become a better quarterback with, I would say it would be Sean
probably
Payton.
Sean Payton.
Yeah,
right?
I would rather, because defensive coaches especially too, I always just get concerned about
unless he just hires an offensive coordinator who's awesome and he fixes whatever. Even then,
Kellen Moore
going to the Chargers.
I know that's going to be come up in hot takes when we do that.
But then you've got then that offensive coordinator leaves and goes get a head coaching job or whatever, and you're back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably the best thing for Russell Wilson, which is why I assumed Peyton was their first choice.
Yeah. But interesting. He was not their first choice.
I also wonder how much of the D'Amico talk may have been bluffing Sean Payton or bluffing the Saints for compensation. Like, hey, we're willing to go with D'Amico.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to tell.
And how much of this, because apparently I haven't seen it. Let me see if I can find it real fast. Schefter is reporting something else. So a lot of this is going to come down to what.
Because what makes sense is that Peyton was the first choice.
Yeah.
And they are hiring him specifically to fix Russell Wilson, and that they were using D'Amico to bluff the Saints into accepting one of the compensation packages.
So here you go. Adam Schefter, 19 minutes ago. Timing of today's two hires was completely coincidental. Broncos were zeroed in on Sean Payton and didn't make any contact this week with D'Amico Ryans or his agent. Denver was focused on Payton and Houston on Ryans. So look, someone is lying, obviously. And so it's going to be, it's these franchises trying to shape
the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. On
And
who wanted who and when did they want who.
And we see this with a lot of these insiders where they're being leaked specific information to make things look a certain way, right?
Exactly.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
if you're the Broncos, you do not want it to come out. If it's true that they were going after D'Amico Ryans again, you don't want that. It's a bad look for your franchise.
Which makes me believe that they probably had discussions with D'Amico Ryans, but again, it was not to actually try and hire him. It was to try and
bluff,
put leverage on Peyton's representatives and on the Saints to either have Peyton finally make a decision, because it didn't seem like he was necessarily sold on coming back, and on the Saints to actually make a deal.
Greg and Lincoln, is Peyton in Denver another retread? A retread coaching up a retread?
Yeah.
Technically, Russell Wilson, there wasn't a retread. Sean Payton, I don't know. Dumb debates. I think neither of them are. Sean Payton, I mean, he left on his own volition. He didn't get fired.
No, he was 9-8, so he went off on a down year for what they'd been.
Yeah, they'd made the playoffs the previous 3 years.
But they weren't going to fire him ever, basically.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that. I think to be a retread, you have to be at least forced out.
Yeah.
If not outright fired. Although, who knows? Maybe Seattle was forcing out Russell Wilson to make way for Geno the Great.
Yeah. Amazing Daniel, by the way, he is tuning in. We appreciate him listening. He says, I totally agree. The Steelers are an all-time great organization. The Bengals are garbage. Hard to argue.
No, I mean, it's true.
Hard to argue. Jordan says Russell Wilson is a Walmart quality quarterback. Again, hard to argue.
Yeah.
Always low prices, always, except for
great value quarterback.
His contract. Dave says, could you imagine Favre playing today? Cousins' pedestrian season numbers are comparable to Favre's MVP years. I am always blown away by like what we view as like average quarterback rating now, and how like in the 90s it was the best.
I know. It's almost like you have to do with baseball, though, where you have to kind of take it by era and like above what the average quarterback was doing then.
Blake Bortles would have been like a Hall of Famer in the 60s, but
still is.
Yeah. Hey, hard to argue.
Jason Mendoza.
I keep saying that we're going to talk Creighton basketball. I promise we will talk Creighton basketball
at some point.
Also, we have our NFL hot take market. We've talked a lot of NFL today. I'm always reminded just how much I love talking about the NFL.
It's great.
It is the absolute best, except when it's not, and I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm ready to skip ahead to next season.
Yeah, just ready to fast forward. I would love to skip ahead to have even a single healthy quarterback on my roster. That'd be terrific.
You too? Dare to dream. Look
hey,
at both
you had Skyler.
Yeah, he was good.
Until he hurt himself.
At least he existed at the end of the season.
Yeah, he loved delay of games though.
He
sure did.
Not as much as Josh Johnson did.
I don't know. How many delay of games did you guys have in the Bills game?
I think it was like 6.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was more than you.
Josh Johnson had like 3 and 4 drives.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, that was rough.
His ratio was off the charts.
Yeah, and you know what? I know you're a Niners fan and you were sad, but I just want you to have to think about the rest of us who had to watch that garbage.
No,
We're
also
sadder than Niners fans.
I don't think that's true.
I was very sad.
I was sad watching it as a football fan, and then extra sad as a Niners fan, where I was just like, "Hey, is Christian McCaffrey our quarterback now?" See, Peter Warwick would have been great there. He was a high school quarterback.
Oh, people forget.
Yeah.
Why didn't they put him out there to do the
That's what I
Wildcat
never
early?
understood.
Yeah, they didn't do it until the very end of
He
the fourth
only
quarter.
did one play.
Yeah,
he
did the one pass,
play,
and then they brought in
whereas
handoff boy.
There was a
Hey, you want to hand it off again?
You threw 2 screen passes. Congratulations.
Yeah,
that was probably
How
the
about
most.
the fact that he went 4 for 4 that day, right? Was that the number?
I think so.
4 for 4.
Yeah.
If I would have told you that he was going to complete all of his passes, you'd have been like, "Oh my gosh, the 49ers won by 100,
a million."
Yeah, what in the world happened?
I assume, and
No,
even if you
they
told me
sucked.
he completed only 4, I'd have been like, "Oh, the Jimmy Garoppolo."
Exactly. Oh, it was like the Packers game.
Oh, so Debo had 300
Yeah.
yards rushing.
Not and that you would have said, and he's going to start and finish, like So
and he plays.
Yeah,
because
in the first quarter and the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because he played the
You'd be like,
majority
wait, why
of
are
the
you
drive.
describing it this way to
You're
me?
like, this is very
This
strange.
is really weird.
I
What-
don't
what,
trust
what about
you.
the middle part of the game? Nope.
What?
You
Can't
have
tell you about that.
Yep. By the way, we have NFL Network on, and the whole third down thing just happened in Cincinnati or in Kansas City on Sunday.
Yeah, that was nonsense.
Zach Taylor was pretty mad.
Yeah, that was incredibly stupid.
Yeah, he was pissed.
But then they sacked the guy right after this, so it
Yeah,
didn't really matter.
it ended up not mattering. All right, I promise, Creighton basketball. Ravi, we're doing it. No more weird questions off the air.
I'm sorry.
No
I
more
just-
weird questions off the air.
Sometimes I just think of things.
Yeah, we'll talk some Creighton hoops when we return. NFL Hot Take Market this hour as well. It's on Sportsmanlike Conduct, 1620 The Zone.
Buy with confidence and experience the Woodhouse difference with Woodhouse Chevy in Missouri Valley, I-29 exit 75. The Chevy CPO program gets you a better kind of used vehicle. All vehicles are thoroughly inspected and reconditioned before you buy. They're all 2017 or newer models with no more than 75,000 miles. All vehicles have a clean title and pass a vehicle history report. Come with 2 factory-backed limited warranties. And the CPO scheduled maintenance program gets you 2 maintenance visits included. And right now, receive 3.9% APR for 60 months on select CPO vehicles when you finance through GM Financial. Check out Woodhouse Chevy's entire inventory online at woodhousegm.com. You can chat with their friendly sales staff, schedule a test drive, even fill out a credit app. All at woodhousegm.com. Woodhouse Chevy, Missouri Valley, Iowa, exit 75 off I-29 or woodhousegm.com. Chevy, find new roads.
The Connor Happer Show. If Mahomes was a horse in the Kentucky Derby, do you think he would have got to run in the Derby the way he was limping?
One-way ticket to the glue factory for Patrick Mahomes.
Take him out back.
Well, here's the advantage that we humans have over horses. We can communicate our wants and intentions. Horses can't be like, look, I want to run through this pain.
I can go, coach.
I want to run. I have to do this. This is important to me.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny and cold into early evening with the temperatures in the mid-20s. Clear skies tonight, still cold. We'll drop back in the lower teens for a low. And then mostly sunny on Wednesday, and after a chilly start, highs in the mid to upper 30s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Time Saving Traffic Center, we've got a couple accidents to report right now. The first being on I-80 East at the 84th Street exit number 448, as well as another on I-80 West at the 60th Street exit number 450. We also have a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane on Blondo Street at Papillion Parkway, as well as a disabled vehicle on Fort and 150th Street. Along with that, we also have one more disabled vehicle on Giles Road at South 114th Street. Remember to keep those seatbelts buckled. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
It's a celebration of love at Saul's Jewelry and Loan. Now through Valentine's Day, get 50% off a huge selection of jewelry. Diamond rings, 50% off. Gold chains, 50% off. Bracelets, 50% off. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. It's the celebration of love sale at Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Creighton Sports Update.
Creighton women's basketball is back at DJ Sokol Arena on Wednesday as they host DePaul on National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. Limited tickets are available online at gocreighton.com/tickets. That's Creighton versus DePaul on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Email Unsportsmanlike Conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
NRG Media, the parent company of this radio station, is looking to hire a client marketing coordinator. This person will work directly with our sales account executives to create and execute multimedia marketing campaigns for local businesses. Critical and creative thinking are must-haves. If you're organized, goal-oriented, and have a marketing mind and are proficient in Microsoft, go to the careers page at nrgmedia.com for more information and to apply. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. It's unsportsmanlike conduct. Thick with 2 C's. On 1620 The Zone.
Josh Peterson, Ravi Lula. It's Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
So this
1620 The Zone.
Sorry.
1620 The Zone app. What are you gonna say?
YouTube. You can find us on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
Still
Twitch.
AM radio.
We're on Twitch.
We are on Twitch.
We are on Twitch.
Yep, we are on Twitch.
What else are we on? The Twitters?
Facebook?
We're on Facebook. We're
Facebook,
not on Twitter,
not
but
on
we
Twitter.
are on Facebook.
So this time, Nick asked the question.
Great. Yes, Nick. Yes, you.
He ruined the next segment, but it was a good question.
Thank you.
Do we dare ask it?
I think we should.
All right, fine. I just want the Creighton fans out there to know we have Ravi Lula in here, the host of Blue Jay Shoot Around, the guy who gives many opinions on the Creighton Blue Jays, and he hears from you, the people, sometimes other people as well, about Creighton basketball. So he wants us to move on from them, and that's what we do. So Nick asked the question, how many teams would win the Super Bowl if Joe Burrow was their quarterback? I love that this is total July radio today.
The answer is a lot.
We went through.
Just off the top of our head. So I'm going to look at the standings now, so I have a better reference.
Yeah.
So we decided for sure the teams that are playing in the Super Bowl, either team could win the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah. Chiefs and Eagles by far. Let's go with the AFC first.
Okay, so...
Or do you have the standings in like the whole league?
I've got the AFC up first.
Perfect.
Okay. So the Bills...
So we actually... I guess I said no because of their defense by the end of the season.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah, they just had problems. And I know that Josh Allen was a turnover machine this year, but I mean, look, he's still good enough that they could have won.
Oh, this one's interesting. So what about the Patriots? That roster's pretty good.
Well, is Matt Patricia and Joe Judge still
Fair enough.
his offensive coordinator?
Okay,
All right.
that's a hard no.
We agreed no on the Jags. Just too young of a roster.
No on the Dolphins, but they'd be really fun.
We said that I think the Dolphins would be like an AFC championship game participant. We said no on the Chargers because of Brandon Staley.
Yes.
The Ravens, we disagreed. I said definitely. You said no.
I said maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because I think great defense.
I'm not sold.
Great coach.
Yeah, the coaching is where I forget about some of these. Because, if you give me a good
his skill players, though, that's the issue. His skill players are definitely worse. That team is built to run the football, and Joe Burrow is he's the guy you want to throw. And so maybe, look, man, I don't know. You're kind of convincing me.
But you do. I mean,
he's just so good, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's so good.
Most of the bottom teams in the AFC, no. So there's two that I wanted to ask you about, though. One was the one that you brought up first.
So the New York Jets, I think, are the most interesting one
because they have a great defense.
They're great defense.
And they had a horrible quarterback, and yet they were in the playoff race. Like, Robbie, they didn't just have...
they've got some weapons.
Average quarterback. Yeah. Great young wide receivers.
They've got some weapons there.
They had a horrible quarterback.
I think...
They started Mike White, and he had messed up ribs.
And he was the best option.
Remember that tackle when he, got scrunched?
Yeah, he got cut in half.
It was like a movie.
Yeah, it didn't even look real. It looked like a cartoon.
It looked like Friday Night Lights. What do you think about the Titans?
So I'm going to say yes on the Jets. I think the Jets could win a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow.
Definitely.
The Titans are interesting because that's a weapons discussion again.
Yeah. He doesn't have A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's with the Eagles.
I don't know who he's throwing the ball to there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're a good fit. I think good coach, good roster. But you're asking him to do a lot of early 2000s Brady work there where he's making chicken salad a lot,
out of the poop.
Yeah. So I think the Jets is the most interesting one in the AFC.
Yeah.
Because I think
they're the floor of the worst team that we think could win. NFC.
We both agreed the Cowboys.
Yeah. So obviously Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers.
We said no on the Vikings.
No on the Vikings. No on the Bucks. The issue was not quarterback play.
No.
No on the Giants. Defense not good enough.
I don't know if there's anybody else in the NFC.
Yeah, the Lions were the one that was most interesting to me, just the thought experiment.
I don't think they're quite there.
No, they definitely would have been a playoff team.
Oh, 100%.
And they might even be in the NFC title game.
There's a lot of these teams that would have been playoff teams with Joe Burrow.
No on the Bears, no on the Cards, no on the Rams, no on the Falcons, no on the Saints, no on the Panthers. on the Packers.
I think it's just Niners,
Cowboys
outside of and Eagles.
Well, that's a bummer.
But that's
Joe Burrow with that defense. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Robbie, that sounds fun.
It does sound fun.
Nick, great question.
Thank you.
But
Terrific
again, that's why we're not talking Creighton basketball yet.
And it could be, we could be having maybe not a Joe Burrow discussion, but a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers discussion with the 49ers at some point.
Oh, for
like in real life.
Yeah, I have an article. I didn't get a chance to read it, saved from The Athletic, about this is opening the door now for sure for Tom Brady.
So that's the rumor today, is that early discussions within the 49ers organization are that they would trade Trey Lance, which I don't really buy unless they're getting an enormous return for him.
And how do you get enormous return on a guy who
has never played? Basically hasn't played.
So since
it's like
2020,
a game and a half.
Because of COVID. He played one
game
that year.
College game his junior year at FC.
He played a little last year, and then he played in a game and a half this year.
Yeah, so he
basically hasn't played since 19.
Almost no data on him whatsoever.
And didn't he only play like 1 year in college?
Yes, sophomore year is his only year in college.
So you are looking at like no experience for this guy.
He's basically James Weissman at this point, where he season-long injury with his rookie year, had basically another season-long injury, and has barely played. So you have no idea what he is. You have no idea what his ceiling is, if his body is in any kind of shape to be a professional athlete anymore.
Yeah.
In terms of durability, things like that. Just a total wild card.
Wow.
So you're not going to get the huge return you need for it to be worth trading Trey Lance, I don't think.
Yeah, and Katie says it costs more cap space to trade Lance than keep him. It makes no sense.
Right.
And again, I just don't know who says yes.
So a guy like
for what they would want for him.
Trading Trey Lance doesn't make a ton of sense to me. What could make, which is why I think Aaron Rodgers is probably off the table, because you're not bringing in Rodgers' contract and keeping Trey Lance.
Yeah. Whereas Brady's a free agent.
Brady's a free agent from the area, famously.
Yeah. What? Wow.
Did you know he wanted to play for the 49ers?
Did he go to the game where Dwight Clark caught the ball?
Did you know there's a picture of him as a kid in a 49ers, a little get up?
Huh. You know Joe Burrow wanted to play for Nebraska?
No.
What?
Yeah.
That's not true.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Oh, did you see Michael's video, by the way?
So, to me, I think there's a realistic scenario where they bring in Tom Brady as a free agent on the cheap and keep both Lance and Purdy
and try to do a 1 year rental and
basically
win a Super
try
Bowl.
and win a Super Bowl in 1 year, and and then basically have a true quarterback competition between Lance and Purdy the following year.
There was a text from
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if Brady wins a Super Bowl in San Francisco, he's retiring, right?
Yeah, you assume
he's
so.
got to.
He'll be 46 next year.
Like, dear God,
there's
Tom,
part of me
please
that
quit.
thinks he wants to play until he's 50 now. That's the next goal.
Yes.
You just keep moving the goalposts.
Well, yeah, he's got to keep
football term.
playing to keep the sadness away.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so he doesn't have to think about the fact that he doesn't have a family anymore.
Well, I mean, he technically still has children.
They have not.
Hey,
biologically,
he hasn't divorced his kids.
Who needs a family when you have football?
That's true. Football, Nick, is family. That's what the commercials used to say. One of my best friends, in fact, you've met him before at the Super Bowl party. He is a fellow Niners fan.
Yes.
He texted earlier today. He said, would be a great day for Tom Brady haters. He'd put the uniform on and experience a career-ending injury shortly after. That's true. If you hate
that's why
the
you
49ers,
keep Trey Lance and Brock Purdy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So if you hate Tom Brady, friends, he's going to the 49ers. He's obviously going to get hurt because that's what happens to the 49ers.
First off, how dare you?
Second off, I'm correct.
You're not wrong, but I am sad.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little too soon.
I saw a topic the other day that was like, it was from a Cowboys person. Like, yeah, Cowboys fans, you've experienced hell for the last 26 years or 27 years. But the 49ers are like always on the damn doorstep. Like they have a different level of hell.
It's a different type of pain.
Yeah. I never make the conference championship. You do. And sometimes you make Super Bowls. And yet we still have the same.
Doesn't matter. Your drought is 1 year less than the 49ers.
Yep. We'll hit 10,000 days. When did John say? In May or April?
Oh, soon.
Yeah. It's coming soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a different type of unpleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's why we're great friends.
Yeah, because we
go through a lot of the same life experiences. So it's just like a little bit before each other. You won the Super Bowl just a little bit, got divorced just a little bit in front of me. By the way, Ravi, it is the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone. I was going to say
not like running a 5K, right?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Well, no, your guy brought up, so you can answer it.
Is that the ruling? No, it's not that. $5,000, Robbie. You can enter to win $5,000. All I had to do was read the next sentence.
Yeah.
To kickstart your 2023. Now, you can't do it because you're basically an employee.
I mean, not technically.
But we pay you. Other people can. You can get all the details and enter online right now at 1620thezone.com. Let's just keep the NFL stuff going. When we return, we will do our NFL hot take market.
And then at some point, we might talk about Creighton.
Probably tomorrow. I mean,
I'm back.
maybe just have to wait. Yeah, you'll be here tomorrow.
Well, and I don't have pregame, so maybe we can just roll it in.
Well, yeah, no, we're going to be off early tomorrow. We have at 5 o'clock tomorrow.
We can do our own little pregame.
Okay.
We'll own Ravi and Josh shoot around.
Wow. I hosted shoot around back in the day. You host shoot around now?
Yeah, all the way back in the day.
You want to get Corey to come in too?
I'm good.
Okay. More to come. It's on Sportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
J-Tech Construction reminds you that this time of year, your home's energy efficiency is under tension. Don't let your windows cost you by raising your energy bills this winter. J-Tech Construction will come out and provide you with a free estimate on upgrading your windows and keeping your energy costs down. They have custom-made, energy-efficient windows that keep the outside out with the professional installation you would expect. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers. J-Tech Construction, your exteriorexperts.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
There's nothing like football season here in Nebraska. Hi, this is Sunny.
And I'm Darwin with DJ's Dugout.
During football season, a portion of our sales at DJ's will be donated to the new Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial Project being built in Papillion.
As a Vietnam veteran, I'm proud for DJ's to support the new Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
To learn more about this meaningful project, visit nvvmf.org. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran owned.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the pro football playoffs or a rivalry on the hardwood, you'll find all the action on Oscar's upgraded audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd in Maple.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your new home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil.
Hey, it's Nick Hanley for Woodhouse Mazda. Now is the time to check out one of the latest additions of the Mazda SUV lineup, the Mazda CX-50. This vehicle was made for outdoor adventures. Equipped with Mazda Intelligent Drive Select technology, traction and responsiveness are optimized with the different modes across a variety of driving scenarios and road conditions. You will love the overall comfort as well. Visit Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or at Woodhouse Place Mazda in Millard, Omaha Metro's exclusive Mazda dealers, and schedule a test drive today. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
It is time for the NFL hot take market. Before we get to that, Jordan says you mean color commentator, Ravi Lula. That's true. You're not just the host.
Two-time.
And then Dave says
Mr.
on
Houndstooth.
the text machine, are we not talking about Creighton and still and are on about the NFL instead? Drats, oh no. When you guys run out of NFL topics, don't forget pitchers and catchers report in 2 weeks. Can always talk about that too. Definitely not.
Baseball.
Hard pass.
Man.
And I'm more of a baseball guy than you.
Yeah, you're a big baseball
You're wearing a baseball hat.
I am. Storm Chasers.
Nice. All right. Hot takes as the season comes to a close. Ravi, you are our guest.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Sure.
All right.
So this is a hot take I believe.
All right.
When an offensive lineman false starts on every single play, the referee should call it.
What take?
I know this is controversial, but when there is a false start by the same player on every damn play,
it's pretty bad.
It should be called.
Yeah.
Most of the time, at least.
Yeah.
We should not just ignore it. So that is my hot take that I believe.
All right. I like it. Hot take, I believe. I mean, look, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't understand why we're allowing this to happen.
Why is it a thing?
The offense already has a lot of advantages. We don't need to allow the players to move early. And look, this wasn't even just about the Eagles doing it. Every team has done it this year.
But Lane Johnson was doing it literally every play.
I went over
and then he was getting on Twitter. They were like, oh, he held Nick Bosa no sacks. It's like, yeah, you got a step and a half head start.
I watch games with my dad every single week. Every single week. And we talk about it. I bet on 75% of Sundays, that's a low number. We talked about it at least one time, like, why? That guy's moving. That guy's moving. Every game, not just the Cowboys.
And it's usually a handful of times.
Yeah.
Every
But Sunday was pretty
like
egregious.
Almost every
and then
pass
announcers didn't
play.
talk about it.
And no one,
because apparently it's allowed. I mean, seriously, I'm seeing from people like, actually, it's allowed. Like, that's stupid.
No, that's dumb.
Early.
That's a false start.
Hot take I could believe. You ready for this one?
Yes.
Goes back to Kellen Moore. Justin Herbert will win the MVP next season.
Ooh.
All right, so as we have discussed on this show many times, I've been slow to join the Justin Herbert bandwagon. I think you have too.
Yes.
But in his time as OC, his new OC, Kellen Moore, Dallas Cowboys offense is ranked second in yards, second in points, and in a bunch of other metrics, they are in the upper third of the league since Kellen Moore has been the OC. That's 19, 20, 21, and 22. You will notice the years that I just mentioned, Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, Josh, did Dak play in all those games? The answer is no. He missed a total of 17 games.
People forget about the Cooper Rush experience.
Thank you very much. So he has not always played. They've had to go to backups essentially for a full season's worth of games, and yet they still rank second in all these metrics. Basically, if you look overall, they are behind the Chiefs in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So now we look at the Chargers. I don't really care about the playoffs because that's not what this discussion's about. This is about the regular season. He is going to put Herbert in situations with great talent around him.
This is the one you believe, right?
This is the hot take I believe. I think that look.
Can I talk you out of it?
Well, just a sec. Let me finish. Part of the MVP is a narrative award.
Mm-hmm.
It is not just like, look, Jalen Hurts again. Jalen Hurts, before he got hurt, he was the favorite.
Yeah.
He was going to win. And Jalen Hurts was awesome this year.
Mm-hmm.
But is he the most valuable player? No. The answer is always Patrick Mahomes. But sometimes Michael Jordan didn't always win MVP, and that was stupid because
it's a Joe Burrow argument,
a narrative award.
Yeah.
And so I think we always like the shiny new toy. Media, the NFL media loves Herbert, and so that's part of it too. You want to talk me out of it though, and I know it's a hot take. It's spicy.
It is a hot take. My argument is that Justin Herbert at this point in his career, not that different from Dak Prescott. A lot of turnovers. A lot of turnovers.
But he is more talented.
He is more talented, but it doesn't matter if you still And
I guess Dak was never in the MVP running.
He wasn't.
Nope.
Dak was never in the MVP running. He's more talented, but so is Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's a turnover machine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That was kind of some of the concerns I had about him coming out of Oregon. I'm just saying, double-digit interceptions every year so far.
But what if he throws like 50 touchdowns?
Okay, maybe.
Dak had, I think, 37 last year, 2021, and he missed, a full game? I think he missed one full game.
I mean, okay, yeah, but you're basically asking him to do something that, only 3 quarterbacks have done and throw 50 touchdowns?
It could happen.
It could.
It could happen.
It could
When the
happen.
odds come out, I'm betting on this. I'm gonna bet on this one.
This is a hot take in its truest sense.
Yeah.
I do not think Kellen Moore is that much of a difference maker.
Okay.
Nothing is bad, but
no, and look, for the record, I don't think that he's like a perfect offensive coordinator. I just think the numbers are going to be there.
All right.
All right, what's your next hot take?
The hot take that I can be talked into, and we talked about this earlier. I changed this one on the fly.
NFL rigged?
Because of the news of the day. Hot take I could be talked into.
Sean Payton?
Is that Sean Payton can fix Russell Wilson.
Oh, I think I'm with you.
I can be talked into it because, listen, Russell, it would be weird because even though I think Russell Wilson had been declining in Seattle, I don't think he ever had an offensive mind with him of Sean Payton's caliber.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't this. Like, it was never in Seattle. It was never this.
No.
This was a catastrophe. And I have to imagine first-time head coach that was also a catastrophe had a large part to do with that.
Yeah.
So even if the Broncos aren't a Super Bowl contender with Sean Payton, even if he is more Mike McCarthy than he is Bill Belichick, I think he could still fix Russell Wilson and have that part of his legacy cemented as like a quarterback guru, offensive genius, even if he's not taking them to the promised land.
Two things off of that. First of all, if he can't fix Russell Wilson, then that truly means
No one
Russell
can.
Wilson is done.
No one can.
The other thing, and this is maybe another hot take, was Drew Brees good without Sean Payton? So this is backing up your point. Maybe the reason Brees had the career he did, and I know he got hurt, in San Diego, RIP the San Diego Chargers. He was solid.
He was
not.
good.
He was not.
He wasn't what he was.
He was not a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
But we never really got the answer of how much success should we give to Peyton versus Brees, like we did with Brady and Belichick, because at the end of his career, he never played elsewhere.
Yes.
I'm with you on this hot take. You could talk me into that hot take.
I think it's reasonable. I think it is reasonable that Sean Payton. I don't think it's reasonable to expect Denver to all of a sudden be a Super Bowl contender. I do think it's reasonable to say Sean Payton can return Russell Wilson to what he was in the handful of years before leaving Seattle. That's what I mean by fix. I don't mean make him a Super Bowl winner again. I mean returning him to a functional quarterback status and not a meme where you make videos every week to see if he can throw more touchdown passes.
Let's ride.
Thank you.
Than the number of toilets in his house.
God, that was a funny meme.
Hilarious.
I don't think you're going to like this, Ravi, or this hot take, Ravi.
Don't do
I
it.
think you're going to like this, Ravi.
Don't do it.
Now, this is the hot take I can be talked into.
Don't do it.
Do it. What do you think I'm going to say, first of all?
I am guessing you're going to say like the 49ers are going to have a huge regression or something. Stupid.
Man, you kind of nailed it. 49ers missed their window. Now, as I wrote on my sheet, I understand this one might be, and I have a pepper emoji, extra spicy. But
stupid.
Hear me out. They made the Super Bowl in 2019.
Yep.
They're up by 10 on the Chiefs, and they lost. Sorry.
I recall.
You remember that, Ravi?
Made it to the NFC Championship game last season. They were up on the road in L.A., up by 10 in the fourth quarter. They lost. They made it back this year after all the injuries, and they got blown out. They'll continue to lose great coaches. Now they're going to have another new defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like they're hiring outside the family, based on a report. The quarterback situation, this is odd how so quickly now I'm actually more concerned for you at the quarterback spot than I was even a week ago. And I don't know why I'm letting 3 plays from Purdy and then the injury affect my view on this thing. But I'm just a little concerned. It seems tenuous. And so the reason I could be talked into it is I don't totally believe it, because Kyle Shanahan, I think, is a really good coach. But I guess when I say the window is closed, they'll still be a good team and a contender, but maybe they just take a teensy-weensy step back and they're not a regular participant in the NFC title game anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're closer to being what they still are for at least another year. A lot of it does depend on the quarterback situation. If Brock Purdy is who he was for most of his time starting, or if they bring in Tom Brady, or is Trey Lance who they thought they drafted, or an NFL quarterback at all. So the quarterback situation is a bit tenuous, but you do have options there, which I think matters. A full year of Christian McCaffrey probably helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
that'll be nice.
That'll be really nice. You still have all the weapons in Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and Juszczyk and all those guys. I think they're closer to fixing the offensive line and becoming even maybe a little bit better than they are to fully regressing.
Okay.
That's my take.
So those are hot takes. That was a fun trip to the market.
That was a trip.
Your first comment, your first one was pretty funny.
Thank
Munsky says, I'm 100% out on Brady. If he's not washed already, it will be this year. Spoiler, he's already washed. The Niners won't be able to step away from him because he's Tom Brady. I'd rather start the Lance versus Purdy competition.
Here's the thing, man.
Next year.
Look at the numbers this year. They're not as bad as you think they were. He was over 4,000 yards. He had 25 touchdowns. He only had 9 interceptions. He had no offensive line at any point this year.
Who is this?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady? Yeah.
Had no offensive line at any point this year. Most of his weapons were out for most of the year. Mike Evans was gone for a ton of the year. Godwin was out for a ton of the year.
Yeah. They had issues.
Didn't have a tight end the whole year.
To go off of his point, I will say this, and it really showed in the Cowboys game. When that guy gets pressured, he doesn't want to get hit anymore.
No.
The interception he threw was I mean, you could make an argument that is one of the saddest, pathetic plays of his career. He threw it and turned around.
Yes, he did.
And like the guy was afraid of the Cowboys pass rush all night long.
Sure. And so if the 49ers don't fix their offensive line, probably not a great fit for him. That's why I lean towards a Lance Purdy showdown or competition, whatever, to figure out.
That said, I mean, if Purdy's out for 6 months, I mean, he's missing the
It's
starting
probably going to
training
be
camp.
Lance.
I think it's going to be Trey Lance.
I think it is.
We asked
too.
the question yesterday in content, who's going to be the starting quarterback, and I said Trey Lance.
I think because of what they invested in him.
That's the thing. They've got to give him another try.
Obviously, they saw enough in him because they could have probably sat him for another year and justified it because of his lack of college experience, because of the COVID year, all of that. You probably could have sat him behind Jimmy G for another year and said, and no one would have thought too much about it, right? Yeah. Unusual in this day and age in the NFL, but not crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that Kyle Shanahan's like, nope, he's ready to go, made me think, okay, they like what they have here. They like what they've seen at the very least. And again, if you remember, one of the thing that kind of put Kyle Shanahan on the map was RG3 in Washington. Now, obviously, RG3 got hurt, but this is the first guy with even close to an RG3 running ability that he's had since then.
We always say about him, like, wow, he can win without a good quarterback. But I don't think Kyle Shanahan wants to do that. The margin of error is too slim.
Yes.
Like, as good as Purdy was for those weeks.
There's a reason they went up and traded for Trey Lance when they had a guy that had just taken them to a Super Bowl.
Maybe Trey Lance sucks and he's never going to be that good, but it's obvious he wants a specific type of quarterback, and that quarterback he wants is not a Jimmy G type. It is a Trey Lance type.
It's not a Jimmy G type. It's not a Tom Brady type.
Look, here's the other thing, too. He obviously believes in his ability as a coach to coach and develop you. He just took Brock Purdy to the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
If he gets a guy, if he were to find an equivalent, like a mobile guy that could make some plays, like, I mean, the sky's the limit. Unless
this is why I wanted.
They've already missed their window, as a fine, astute individual just pointed out in Hot Take Market.
As some idiot was talking about on the radio.
That guy would be talked into.
That's why I wanted Justin Fields when they traded up to the 3 spot.
That would have been fascinating.
I wanted Justin Fields. I was okay with Lance. There was Mac Jones talk that I was
talk about a smoke screen,
horrified about.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to give himself a shot with the type of guy he wants. Because even though Purdy's pretty mobile, he's not what Kyle Shanahan wants. Now, what would be hilarious is if the 49ers were just like, screw all of these guys. We're going to go sign Lamar Jackson.
That would be nuts.
That would be incredible.
I triggered the Chiefs fans with my Justin Herbert take. Look, I don't think that Herbert is better than Mahomes.
Stop disrespecting the Chiefs.
How dare you?
I think sometimes people really miss out on the fact that MVP discussion is narrative based. You think Aaron Rodgers was better than Patrick Mahomes in the last 2 seasons? The answer is hell no.
Nobody's been better
than
Patrick Mahomes.
But he won the MVP.
No one has been better than Patrick Mahomes.
It's not just about being the best quarterback. If it was, Mahomes would win it every year. Sports writers.
It's also about ayahuasca.
It's about ayahuasca. Sad Husker fan, do you believe the Chiefs finish 3rd in the West next season too? LOL. No.
No one said that.
Just saying Herbert's going to have huge numbers and they're going to give him the MVP.
Herbert.
You know what, Nick? Putting it on the damn list.
Oh, get the eggs.
Get the eggs.
Get the eggs, Ravi.
Here we go. The list 2023.
Sorry, too rich for eggs, I see.
Wow, are you out on eggs?
You don't have any eggs on your boat.
He has enough money.
No, I was just making the face that I know that that's a wise decision on your part.
Justin Herbert will win MVP.
It was to do with him, not with the eggs.
NFL.
No, we bought some eggs the other day
in 2023. Nice. Look at you
ostrich eggs.
Look at you being able to afford eggs.
No, they're just regular eggs.
We get the fancy eggs.
We're
bougie eggs.
What kind of eggs you get? Like the cage free.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
We want those chickens to live good lives.
I think Natasha.
The yolk is so bright and colorful.
Oh, it's like orange,
dude. It's
yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah.
You gotta find eggs. You want the like orangest eggs. You gotta find like a farmer. Like
my parents. That's where they
directly.
get their eggs. They get them from my grandpa.
I grew up on
from
those
farmer.
Eggs.
Look at farm boy
Iowa
over here.
boy over here.
Yep.
You're welcome.
No, it's my grimace was to
the Herbert
putting that much faith in the Herbert.
I'm betting on it too.
That's it. Listen, if the odds are good, then I understand making a bet on it, but I would not Yeah, that's not. I'm not buying.
I just got DM from someone. Is it me or is the inferiority complex of Chiefs fans the most annoying thing? It's nuts, guys. You have Patrick Mahomes. You're okay.
You're playing in the Super Bowl this year.
God, who cares what a random guy on the radio in Omaha thinks about?
Also, Justin Herbert winning an MVP doesn't mean you're not going back to the Super
Karl
Bowl.
Malone won an MVP over Michael Jordan.
So did Charles Barkley.
Voters are stupid sometimes.
Basketball.
Idiots. Here's the guys. That's what I'm saying. Voters will be dumb enough to vote Herbert as MVP over Mahomes.
Now you framed it in a way that I might believe.
There we go. There we go. All right, happy hour's coming up next. I got a Nebraska football-related question for Ravi, but we probably won't get to it because Nick will ask a question off air, and it'll take over the final hour of the program.
Huzzah!
So Sportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the time-saving traffic center, just one accident to report right now out on 180th and Giles Road, so please use caution in that area. Along with that, we have a couple slowdowns around the metro area right now, the first being on Industrial Road in between 149th and 120th Street, as well as on Dodge between 90th and 50th Street. And finally, if you are making your way out to Gretna right now on 204th Street, we do have some minor slowdowns at Q and Pacific. Remember to keep those seatbelts buckled. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Fernando's Omaha.
Thank you, Omaha. It's triple first-place wins for Fernando's. Fernando's is honored and grateful to you for voting them the best Mexican restaurant in the Best of Omaha and Omaha Choice Awards and Best Margarita in the Omaha Choice Awards. Fernando's, family-owned and community-served.
Your neighborhood is more than blocks of buildings. It's the people who live there that make it special. At Union Bank and Trust, we're not just creating home loans, we're making neighbors. We're not just small business lenders, we're small business shoppers. We don't just live in your community, we help you build it. Because our people are your people. Visit ubt.com/neighbor to learn more. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Omaha Maverick Hockey is now in second place in the NCHC and ranked number 19 in the nation in Division I. And because of you, they're top 5 nationally in attendance and have won 6 conference home games in a row. Omaha Hockey has 2 home series left. Colorado College, February 10th and 11th, and the home season finale and senior weekend with St. Cloud. Get your tickets today as the Omaha Mavericks fight to secure home ice in the playoffs. Get your tickets by calling 402-554-MAVS or by going to omavs.com/tickets.
Welcome to Digital Express. On the Fort Omaha campus of Metropolitan Community College, Digital Express is an inviting space for people to learn and interact with technology. It's a place where multiple generations can feel comfortable. A place where K-12 students can come for support and workshops. A place where families can connect, learn, and create. And a place to ask basic questions about technology and receive low-cost technology repairs. For more information, visit mccneb.edu/Digital Express.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since '72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
Listen to Woodhouse Auto Family Blue Jay Overtime, the Creighton men's basketball postgame show on 1620 The Zone. Live from DJ's Dugout downtown. It's right after every home game, presented by Barry Law. Exclusively on your home for the Creighton Blue Jays. 1620 The Zone.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
It would be nice to have a blow.
Throw.
From your
The happy hour is on the air. Welcome in. Josh Peterson, Ravi Lula, Nick Grimm. on this Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
Thank you. We used to open the show with that song, Nick.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays. John and Stibbs hated it. I loved it. It was a great way to start Tuesday.
Was it your intro? Did you
Club
make that?
going up on a Tuesday.
It's a little dated now.
Yeah, it's pretty dated.
It is indeed. Travis says, if people need more than MVP votes to realize voters are dumb, let me tell you a little story about what happened in 2016. Nice. Well done,
Heyo.
Travis. Well done, Travis. Coming up in the final hour of the show, we have some unsportsmanlike content. I still have to send the questions to you guys.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That I wrote.
Some other stuff, too. Yeah. I have to send the questions because Nick sent them to me so I could proofread them. But if there are any errors in it, it's because I didn't fix them. So Nick is the
I
editor.
didn't go to journalism school like Josh did, so he has to proofread it.
That's true. That's true. I'm the editor of
The Grum.
The editor-in-chief of the Grum.
Of content today is what I am.
Chief editor in content.
If you've missed any of the show today, you've missed a ton of NFL.
We went NFL heavy, too.
A lot of hypotheticals.
A lot of hypotheticals, a lot of weird stuff, but it's been a lot of NFL. No Creighton because of Ravi.
Listen, I've been waiting for you to bring it up. You promised me.
I keep saying it, and
You
then you're like,
swore to
hey,
me.
what if aliens came down?
What
Who
if we
would they
played-
want to play our
What if we
quarterback?
played football without gravity?
Wow, that's the question.
Which team is more likely to bring in an alien as their quarterback?
Ooh, here's a good one.
Browns.
Which
They brought in
team-
Deshaun Watson.
Which play- He has kind of an alien head. He's got a weird shaped head.
Yeah, that's true too.
He's also a bad person.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
unrelated
People
to aliens.
don't forget.
We don't know if aliens are good or bad. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah,
you're
hopefully
making
someday
some
we learn.
assumptions there.
I mean, I would assume
Young
it's
Nick.
like any other living being in the world where there's good ones and bad ones.
Yeah, don't
Problematic aliens.
don't.
Oh man, that alien's a racist.
I keep saying, "Hey, Josh, can we talk about Creighton this segment?" And you're like, "No,
I want to talk about
never.
the racist aliens.
I want to talk about random NFL what if scenarios
Oh,
that I never approved or
Yeah.
thought of any kind. I'm just sitting here waiting for my time to shine.
Whoa, you know what I just noticed?
What?
Your mic is fine.
Yeah, it's been that way for a few.
Yeah, I noticed it a
for
couple segments.
for
I
a
didn't want
while.
to say anything to jinx it.
Yeah, you don't want to
Wow.
jinx it.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh, that's the
the
other
last
part.
2 times we've brought it up, it broke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it broke immediately.
That's the other part of the show. If you missed the early portion of the show, you're gonna hear a whole lot of buzzing. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It's like 3 beers buzzing.
So
is what
not
was going on early on.
Bussing with the boys, but buzzing
Oh, Ravi,
with the boys.
you want to talk about a segue? That is how it's done.
My guy.
There's been a lot of reaction the last week to Matt Rule's interview on Bussin' with the Boys. In particular, I'm guessing that many of our listeners have either heard a quote that I'm about to read or they have read the quote that I'm about to read. Matt Rule said, I don't want this to be a slow burn because I feel like that year for them was last year. What I respected about Nebraska was that the players had just lost their coach and they'd had some tough losses and they just kept battling. If you go to Iowa, the last game of the year when Iowa has to win it to win the Big Ten West and you beat them, there's something in that locker room. Terrence Knighton, he talked yesterday in front of the media. Ed Foley did as well.
Pot roast.
And Knighton, when he took the job, here's what he said. He said he had, quote, no idea what we were going into roster-wise, end quote. Reading from, I believe this is, just want to confirm, I believe this is, it's Amy Just's story. She writes, but after meeting the team and watching hours of film, Knighton has walked away with a positive feeling. Here he is again. We're not that far off. You kind of wonder because you just look at the record and you make a judgment based on the record. But losing a lot of close games, for me, I feel like that's culture. It's culture in the locker room amongst the player, and that's a direct image of leadership. And then finally, Ravi, one more thing before we kind of get into our piece about this. In his Rewind column today, Sam McEwen added that Matt Rule is the first coach since Bob Devaney to be able to write his own story without the shadow of success looming. He's overhauled, right? He's overhauled the roster in short order, a reset move. Well, by the way, Sipple joins us tomorrow. Talk more about that stuff. He retained just one coach from the former staff and hired tons of assistants under 40, in 2 cases under 30, to grow along with the program.
In 1 case, under 24.
And that's true. Someone younger than Nick.
Tiny baby boy.
Tiny baby boy.
He added one more thing. He added this. If NU season is a slow burn, don't overreact. A long haul may await. Now, I just threw a lot at you. I threw what Matt Rule said. I threw what Terrence Knighton said, and they are certainly in one side. They're on one side of the argument of, look at this is actually better than a I think overall, if I can boil down what they said, it's we thought we were walking into a program that had not made a bowl game in 6 years and went 4-8 last year and 3-9 the year before. We thought they'd suck. They're actually better than what we expected to inherit. That's kind of what it sounds like.
You would expect a team that, let's put it this way. You would expect a team that has the longest Power 5 bowl drought in the country to have a certain level of talent, and not in a good way.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
And they appear to have walked in and been pleasantly surprised by the level of talent.
So what's, the list of programs that have not made a bowl game since 2018, it's now one team long. It's Nebraska.
Power 5.
Yeah, Power 5. Thank you. If you looked at the other teams in their conversation, and I guess
2016, right? You said 2018.
My bad. Yeah. The 2017 season on, if you look at those programs, I did 2018 because since 2018, now it's just Nebraska. But if you include 2017, there was like an extra school or something. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Either way,
they have the longest Power 5 bowl drought.
Thank you. So if you look at the other schools that are in the same neighborhood, Power 5 schools, in terms of winning percentage, it's like the usual suspects: Rutgers, Vanderbilt, Kansas.
Teams that you expect to have an incredibly low base level of talent.
You watch a coach get hired to any of those schools as a Nebraska fan, and you say, "Oh,
good luck.
Gonna be a rough go there." I mean, you want to go to Kansas? Ugh, good luck, Lance Leipold.
I was gonna say we talked about this with Lance Leipold.
Yeah. You want to go to Vanderbilt? That's a rough go. And we would never expect a coach to show up at that school and say, "Oh man, look at what I inherited."
Better than I thought.
Yeah, because they would never say that because you're at Kansas and Vanderbilt. But here, I know people want to believe this is true because it'd be nice to watch a winning team. I think that there is, certainly the fact that they never really laid over and died at any point over the last 2 seasons. They won 7 games and lost
impressive.
15 times. They won 7, they lost 17 games. It is really impressive. And the fight that they continue to show, especially like last year, I thought after the Oklahoma game, like, wow, this is it. This is going to go in the crapper. And they lost by double. They got killed by Michigan. They lost by double digits to Illinois, and I think Purdue. But for the most part, like they played hard. They played well. So what do you think when you hear, "I don't want this to be a slow burn because I think that was last year," or from Terrence Knighton, "We're not that far off"? You kind of wonder because you look at the record and you make a judgment based on record, but losing a lot of close games, for me, I feel like that's culture. What do you think when you hear those quotes?
Yeah, there's two kind of separate things happening here, right? Because in a certain sense, they're right that this team never quit, which is admirable. This team fought really hard. They fought against an Iowa team that actually needed to win that game, because Iowa wins the West, right?
They win the West if they win that game.
So Iowa was actually playing for something. Nebraska theoretically wasn't. That's usually the spot where you see things get weird and ugly.
They were not 5-6 playing for a bowl game. They were playing for pride. They were
just
truly playing for pride.
Yes. So that matters to a certain extent, right? At the same time, they're turning over half the roster almost.
Yeah, the number of new players is closing in on 40.
Yes.
Scholarship players, new scholarship players.
As of tomorrow, it'll be 38, I believe, with the 3 new signees.
Yeah. And they're still the second.
So 27 in terms of high school players. You have 11 in transfers, and you still have the May transfer portal post-spring game. So I'm assuming it will be 40, maybe 42, which basically is half the roster. Right now, we're at about
half
40.
the scholarship roster.
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously there was something happening on the roster that they didn't like the look of, because otherwise you wouldn't bring in 50% of a new roster.
I asked that to Mitch Sherman yesterday. Like, what have you learned in regards to how they view the roster, given what they have brought in?
Yes.
And I think the biggest tell for me, of course, we know how they feel about the Lions, because everyone feels that way about Lions. The wide receiver room is the one where I'm like, wow, they really do not like the wide receiver.
No, they don't.
They
like
brought
what's
back Xavier Betts in play last year. They brought back Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, who left the team in October or September.
So I don't think he played after North Dakota, and then he officially left
after Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He left in mid-September, and they brought that guy back. That shows that they are not fans of that.
Yeah, I believe there were 7 guys brought in, or 6 guys brought in, and 2 returners that were on the team last year that left.
Yeah.
I mean, they hated that room, obviously. So that's why it seems like they're saying one thing and doing another. Now, that being said, I bet it seems like there are portions of the team, like the secondary, that they're like, hey, this is a nice group here.
Definitely.
They haven't done a ton at linebacker.
They brought in a quarterback, but I have to imagine
a lot of that, I think, is the injury.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is depth.
Yeah.
And Jeff Sims has an additional year.
I think they like the quarterback room overall because they didn't bring in like an extra. They didn't bring in anyone out of high school.
Right.
But they only brought in one guy. I think you're right. Casey Thompson's not going to get a spring. This gives them a good amount of leeway.
It's an insurance policy,
a lot of insurance.
plus an extra year of eligibility, so that they don't have to start a true freshman next year unless he's ready.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is happening there. I do think there probably will be some attrition in the quarterback room. I don't think everybody's coming back, but maybe they really like Richard Torres, or maybe they really like
Harburg.
I guess maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe they really like Logan Smothers. I don't know, but I imagine that won't be a full room that won't be the full room that we currently have now when they open up fall camp. But so I think they're probably being honest in the sense that, like, there's some position groups that are way closer than we thought they'd be.
Yeah.
But you have to look at the numbers of what they're doing to understand, okay, they might be closer than they thought they were, but they're turning over half the roster. They still are doing, I compared it last week on Happer Show, they're gutting the house.
Yeah.
Right? The house might have good bones, right? Like, it's got a good structure and they like that part of it, but they are gutting a good chunk of this house.
The other part that I wonder about is, you look at last year, so they went 4-8. They lost 1-score games. I mean, first of all, you start with the Northwestern game and the Georgia Southern. And look, I know that sports don't happen in a vacuum, and so we can't just flip those two. But you flip those two, And like, I have to imagine that this coaching staff and Matt Rule is going to look at that and say,
we would never lose to Georgia Southern under any circumstances.
We could have gotten to 6
They
wins with
never
that.
would have been Northwestern's only win on the season under any circumstances.
And so that's why, like, I say this a lot, and so I'll just repeat myself. So often for me, getting to a bowl game is a math problem. You lose one game, that means, okay, you start 0-1.
You have to pick up a game somewhere else.
Got to go 6-5. So they started 0-1 in a game that they should have had. They were up to 2 scores. They started 0-1, and so right there you're like, crap. So now you got to go 6-5. That's the prerogative. You lose the Georgia Southern game.
Now you're 1-2.
And now you're like, crap, we got to go 5-4. And so the season,
one of those is against Oklahoma, which looked really good at the time.
And so then you're like, why? Now you got to go 5-3. And so
one of those against Minnesota is against Michigan. So you basically have to go 5-2 against everybody that's not Oklahoma and Michigan.
And so very, very quickly the season turned into a math problem. And like you look at the start of the schedule, and I wonder, if you were to get the coaches to be completely honest, they're probably like, if we can leave the first 2 games, which are road games, at 1-1. We are in a really good position. Because first of all, it means you're 1-1 against Power 5 competition. I know Colorado sucks. You're 1-1 against Power 5 competition.
I mean, we have no idea what Colorado is now.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
You come home and you got 2 home games against Group of 5 teams. And so I imagine this coaching staff is looking at it from that perspective. Like, if we can just...
If I'm them, you probably are looking like, hey, if we can get through the first 4 games at 3-1, we're in really good shape.
Really good shape.
Right?
And yeah, you are, that's
because and here's
the
the
best
thing.
4-game record that the program would have since 2019, Robbie. They would be saying, I think 2019 for sure. At the very least, it might even be further back.
It might be 2017.
I think it's 2019. I think they started 3-1 in 2019. I digress. But it's
yeah,
like, wow, we're in a really good spot.
You look at it, you say, hey, we start 3-1, and then okay, you've got Michigan. That's a loss. We'll just call it a loss. But then you've got Illinois, Northwestern, Purdue, Michigan State, Maryland. Those are all winnable games. Those are 5 winnable games right in a row.
You're just hoping that you are a better program than you have been.
Yes, because, and listen, this isn't taking away from any of those programs. I know Nebraska has lost to a lot of these programs, but if you look at those teams, Nebraska has been competitive with those teams without having competent leadership.
Yeah.
Right? So if you are assuming that you now have competent leadership, then you can still consider those, I'm not saying guaranteed wins, but I'm sure Matt Rule and company are looking at that stretch of 5 games and say, hey, if we can go 3-1 pre-Michigan, and then we've just got to go 3-2 in a chunk of 5 very winnable games. There's not a killer in that group.
No,
those are
not a Michigan.
There's not. Yeah, you skip Michigan, you're like whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an Ohio State.
There's no. Yeah, you're not even talking about a Penn State there. You're talking These are Big Ten West, or I know Michigan State and Maryland, but that's equivalent, right?
Mhm.
Big Ten West, like quality middle of the
Honestly,
pack
the
teams.
toughest team there might be Maryland.
Probably. But if you go 3-2 in that stretch, all of a sudden you're bowl eligible going into Wisconsin and Iowa.
Yeah.
And then it's bonus.
At the very least, you're like, if we can get through those games at 5, you know, then you got
Then you're
you
like,
gotta
hey, go 1 for 2.
Yeah.
But listen, if it were me, I'd look at that schedule and be like, we're bowl eligible by Maryland, and then it's bonus whatever we get Wisconsin, Iowa.
Man, if that, can you imagine that?
You're bowl eligible before the last 2 games of the season, people would lose their minds. They'd build a statue.
Going back to what Sam McCune wrote, and there's a question that Amazing Daniel had off of it that I'll get to. Rule's first coach since Bob Devaney to be able to write his own story without the shadow of success losing. That got a reaction from you. I want to read this question real fast from Daniel before you give your take. He says, Frost didn't have the chance to write his own story without the shadow of success. Was Riley good, or am I misunderstanding? I read that, Daniel, as Frost, it wasn't the shadow of Riley's success. It was the
shadow of his own success.
And program success and what he represented. He was
intimately tied to Tom Osborne.
Frost
and
was
the
always
mid-90s.
being judged more than maybe any coach since Osborne. He was always being judged against the past success.
Against the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Because he was part of that. He was the chosen one. Yeah. Right? That's how we talked about him.
So going back to what Sam wrote.
I mean, he had a comic book written about him, okay?
Forget.
Let's
It's in here somewhere. I think Sam's right. And look, maybe I am reading the tea leaves wrong, and things are going to change by the time that August arrives and September arrives and November arrives. But man, I have really, really sensed that for the first time in my life after a coaching change, that Husker fans are just kind of like, do it your way. Whatever that means, black shirts, cool. Do what you want to do with that. You want to change stuff, cool. Do what you want to do. You want to run whatever offense? Now he's bringing back the fullback. I do not sense the usual, you're an outsider. Now, a big part of that is that they have really ingratiated themselves. They're driving around the state. They're going all these things.
Which is exactly what he did at Baylor and Texas. If you can ingratiate, that's what I said when he got hired. If you can ingratiate yourself in Texas high school football, you can ingratiate yourself anywhere.
And it seems like they're doing that extremely well. And so I'm with Sam that he is not going to have, like, people will want him to make a bowl game. Yes. And again, maybe I'm reading this thing wrong. And he goes 5-7, that people won't be pissed. But it seems like he is going to have a longer runway than maybe any coach outside of Frost in the post Frank Solich era.
Yeah, I mean, nobody in the world was going to have as long of a runway as Frost.
And so I don't
did.
want to. I don't even want to.
And especially considering how poorly he did, and was still given that much of a runway.
Yeah,
but I don't know. You don't think Frost was allowed to do things his way? It seemed like, I mean, especially with Bill Moose being pretty hands off, it kind of seemed like he was.
He definitely was, but I think that. I mean,
like, what were the expectations from fans in your mind of what he was going to run or what? I thought it was just, hey, he's the chosen one. Let's let him do his thing.
Yeah, and again, maybe we almost have to remove him from the equation because he was given carte blanche in a way that nobody else was.
Yeah, and in a way that's not really healthy.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Mike Riley was not able to do what he wanted to do.
No.
Bill Callahan, there was immediate pushback. I mean, even Bo had obviously he had his issues with fans, but even he had issues with fans in terms of.
That's because he didn't run an offense at all.
And in terms of some of his decision making with what he wanted to do with traditions or what have you. Like, it just, I don't want to say that Nebraska is in a post-tradition world because they're not.
They'll never be.
But it does seem like people more than ever are just wanting to win, and they kind of don't care anymore.
I think coming off of, I mean, the Scott Frost was the tradition hire, right? I mean, even though he was, I thought at the time the correct hire.
Yeah, me too.
I think everybody did, right?
Oops.
Even if you jumped off the bandwagon really quickly, like we kind of did, or quicker than most at least, I think it's disingenuous for most people to say, almost everyone to say, that they didn't think it was a good hire at the time. That being said, there's having that guy fail as the tradition hire, as the tie to the past, having him fail kind of makes you question the value of the tradition.
It does.
Right? It's like, if the choices that you made led you to this point and you don't like where you landed, then what was the value of your decision-making process up to this point?
Yeah.
Right? And I think Nebraska fans have very slowly come around to the realization of, hey, our tradition can't save us. Would we love it if the guy that wins here eventually honors?
That's a great way to put it, man. Your tradition cannot save you.
It can't,
Yeah.
right?
The
Because
Nebraska football story. That's a book title. That's the Scott Frost book title. Tradition can't save you.
Copyright.
Yeah.
Trademark.
Margaritas.
3 margaritas later. I think people would love it if, and I think he will, right? Let's say Matt Rule is successful. I think people would love it if he honored some of the traditions.
Definitely.
But that can't be the decision-making process anymore.
No.
Because it has failed you.
Yeah.
Your traditions have failed you.
That's why, and I know it's going to happen. But the week of the Colorado game, you know what I don't need? I don't need questions about what he remembers about the Colorado rivalry. We love when coaches come in here and tell us about watching Nebraska football in the old days, but who cares?
It's because there's an inherent, people are going to get mad about this. I think there's an inherent inferiority complex as Nebraska fans.
Oh, for sure.
Because we are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We're the strangest football power of the modern
John
era.
always says it, that Nebraska football, there is no equivalent to what they've been able to do in men's basketball or in football in college. There's no equivalent. They are such an outlier. To win 1 title is crazy. To win 5 it's unexplainable on its surface. And I think the last 20 years have really shown wow, how the hell did they do that?
I think
it doesn't make sense.
The most comparable is Kansas men's basketball.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because there's no, Kansas produces pretty solid high school basketball talent, but not to the extent that they could sustain a national power.
Mm-hmm.
The common thread between Kansas and Nebraska, obviously besides location and some recruiting challenges, are the fact that there is an unwavering commitment and an unwavering level of resources to those 2 programs that will always make them matter to a certain extent. Now, you have to get it right on the coaching side of it eventually. But going back to my point, I think there's an inferiority complex with Nebraska fans because of the fact that we are such an outlier, right? We want to feel validated and that was real, right? That happened. You remember it too.
Yeah.
Because it almost does feel like a dream at this point, like
Yeah.
a fever dream.
You can't watch highlights of it in high definition.
Where
It's all old, you know. It's like, wait, is that
and
really?
it's going on 30 years ago now, 25 to 30 years ago now, and you're like, that really happened, right? That happened to us. We were that team. We were Alabama, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that. It's that situation where you just want to be told that you're still special. You just want to be told that you still matter to people. And the best way to do that is to do something that's still memorable and to do something just to win again. That's all you have to do is just win again. And then all of the adulation and the superlatives come back if you win again, right? But I think there's an inherent fear that I don't know that everybody believes you can.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe you can, you care more about what people say about what you used to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think that's why people care so much about hey, you really loved Nebraska in the 90s, right? Weren't we great in the 90s? And yes, Nebraska was awesome in the 90s.
Hey, Matt, what do you remember about the Colorado rivalry? Don't ask him. It's okay. We don't need to know.
Wasn't that cool?
Just leave it to your imagination.
And it doesn't matter what he thought. It matters where he's taking the program now.
Yeah.
That's what's important. Because listen, Nebraska was Alabama in the 90s. Nebraska was special. Nebraska was that place. It doesn't matter how unlikely it was. Nebraska was that place. So you can just be confident in that. You don't have to have somebody tell you it every 5 minutes just to make you feel like it was real. Because it happened.
Mm-hmm.
No one, this isn't Texas A&M claiming disputed national titles.
Yeah, in the 30s.
In the 30s.
This is not something that only your great grandfather saw.
This is undisputed. You saw it with your own eyes.
For 97, those jerks.
Even that, nobody disputes it was half.
Yeah.
Right? It's
That's true.
Yeah, it was a split national title. Nebraska got half, Michigan got half.
Yeah.
No one disputes that.
Yeah.
And so it just be a little bit more secure in who you are.
Yeah.
And that, I think, goes a long way in being secure in where you can go again.
Hammers meme guy texting, Kansas basketball's first coach was quite literally the man who invented the game of basketball. A whole lot of history. Yeah, I hope that we didn't come off as like, we don't understand how Kansas is good. I do. You know, they really care. But it is pretty crazy just when you consider like the population, base. The
population base. Well, that's what I mean. Like, okay, so like Army was good. Like Harvard used to be that too. So like, I don't want to go back 120 years.
Yeah.
What I mean is it would have made a lot of sense if sometime after Wilt Chamberlain in the 50s that Kansas basketball fell off, right?
Yeah.
Like
But they've still been
when
good.
everybody integrated and it wasn't really an advantage to be further north anymore and things like that. And like Adolph Rupp was gone from Kentucky and they finally started recruiting black basketball players and
people forget his name was Adolph.
And it's right on the court still. That it would have
refereeing Nick.
It would have been really easy for Kansas to just fade away, right?
Yeah.
And the reason they didn't is because they are fully committed to being awesome at basketball forever.
They are.
That's the common thread between Kansas and Nebraska. The difference is Kansas is better at hiring basketball coaches than Nebraska is at hiring football coaches. That's it. That's the only difference.
Yep. All right, we'll come back, get to some other stuff, including some unsportsmanlike content as we get ready to wrap up the show.
Not Creighton, because Josh is a tyrant.
This is I want it known that this is not true. I tried many times, and then he'd be like, hey, what if we traded Joe Burrow to every team in the NFL?
That was Nick.
That was Nick's question. All right, well, more to come as we roll on next on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Today is the last day of January, and with February, it is Love Your LASIK month there at Kugler Vision. They are celebrating with special LASIK savings just for you. More details can be found at their website, kuglervision.com. Would you like to wake up and see everything you love, whether it's that spouse, your family, or perhaps a favorite hobby, watching your kids play sports, going to watch your favorite college basketball team, whatever it is, the team at Kugler Vision wants to make this a reality for you. The month of February is very special for me in terms of my relationship with Kugler Vision because that was the month 5 years ago that I was able to ditch those glasses for good. Scheduled the consultation, figured, oh, sweet, I'm going to get LASIK. Nope, found out that I qualified for a different procedure. They offer all 7 FDA-approved forms of modern vision correction, scheduled the procedure for February, and I have loved everything ever since. They can help you as well, whether it's a tough prescription and astigmatism, anything else, bad reading. Maybe you have the readers in your life now, whatever it is, they will help you out. Give them a call, 402-558-2211, or visit them online at kuglervision.com.
The Connor Happer Show.
By the way, guys, corn dogs, not a thing. I love corn dogs. You dip them in mustard, you eat one at the fair. Corn dogs are a delicious food, but I'm talking about corn, DAWGS, the intersection of Nebraska and Georgia football players. We're not calling those guys corn dogs. We're not doing it. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Sunny and cold into early evening with the temperatures in the mid-20s. Clear skies tonight, still cold. We'll drop back in the lower teens for a low. And then mostly sunny on Wednesday, and after a chilly start, highs in the mid to upper 30s. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Time Saving Traffic Center, we just have some slowdowns to report right now. The first being on West Center Road in between 192nd and 156th Streets, as well as a major slowdown on Dodge going west between 90th and 50th Streets. Along with that, we are also experiencing a minor slowdown on Center from 90th to 62nd Street. Remember to keep those seatbelts buckled. I'm Dan Campanen.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Lawrence & Gardens.
The latest exhibit at Lawrence & Gardens is making a big splash. Don't miss the fantastic sculptures of Washed Ashore, Art to Save the Seas, on display through May 14th. To plan your family's art adventure, visit lawrencegardens.org.
Wednesday, the Blue Jays are back on the road as they head to Washington, D.C. to battle the Georgetown Hoyas. Pre-game coverage begins Wednesday night at 5 p.m., tip-off at 5:30. The Blue Jays are on 1620 The Zone and 1019 The K.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Every pro is an MVP to us. As a Lowe's MVP's Rewards member, you can earn bonus points when you shop select products and brands. Then redeem them for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, e-gift cards, and more. Join today to become a member and start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any, subject to program terms while supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowe's.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Milk, eggs, $42. Ma'am, you okay?
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait weeks for the IRS to send your tax refund. Come in now for up to $3,500 with a no interest, no fee refund advance loan when you file your taxes. That's up to $3,500 today. Don't let high prices get you down. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes. So get to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Basically, I can't dumb down my brain enough to figure it out.
On 1620
The Zone.
Steve on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed tweets in.
The Twitter feed?
Oh, that's good. Great. Just got notified that YouTube TV is no longer carrying MLB Network. Effing super. Steve, join me. Get cable.
So I was looking at your prices. It's not cheaper for me.
What do you have?
I have Hulu TV.
Oh, yeah, we didn't want Hulu.
All right, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not cheaper for me though.
All right. Yeah. It was cheaper compared to what we had, which was Fubo.
That's fair.
And it was also cheaper than YouTube.
Yeah, I used to have YouTube TV, which was
Man, it used to be like $40.
It was very nice and very cool.
Those were we call those the old days.
The reason I went to
those days are over.
The reason I went to Hulu is because they
did the bundle.
Well, no, it was that helped. That was nice, but they went to unlimited DVR on Hulu.
Oh, okay, yeah, and YouTube has the unlimited DVR too.
Which is why I had YouTube in the first place.
You probably have a bunch of like games and stuff.
Yeah, I
on there.
record. I mean, so I record basically every Big East basketball game.
Holy God!
And every Big Ten football game.
Wow, I don't do that.
I should
do that.
I try and watch every Big East team like once every 2 weeks at the very least. I try and do every week, but at the bad teams, I don't watch as often.
So you don't watch a whole lot of Georgetown?
Nope, I have a pretty good idea of what Georgetown is.
And you know what? You'll see them tomorrow.
We will see them tomorrow.
Creighton basketball.
And then I
there
try.
we go. We talked about them.
Yeah. Creighton basketball segment. They're playing better now. And then I try and watch, at least at the beginning of the year, I will watch every Big Ten team every week.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I kind of figure out who's good and who's bad, I'll cut that down and maybe only watch every other week. But
do you record like the BTN and 60?
Yes. Yeah. It's way easier because then I don't have to fast forward through as much junk.
Yeah.
But so it requires a lot of DVR space because I'm not going to go back and delete things that like auto deletes after like a year unless you mark it.
Yep.
So that's why.
So it's nice not having to deal with that.
The unlimited DVR is important for me there.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably try and be prepared here.
No, man, we all appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Try and stay on top of things.
Yeah, I don't DVR the games. Obviously I watch a ton of Big Ten games.
Yeah. It's easier for me because I would prefer to watch the other like fun games in the moment. I don't want to have to worry about like Illinois and Rutgers. So I'll like watch the fun like Tennessee, Alabama while it's happening live.
Yeah.
So I can be part of that conversation. And then I'll go back and like on like Wednesday.
That's going to be the hard part for me is that come football season, I will not have the quad box capability anymore. So we're going to go old school and we're going to roll the second TV into the living room. But even then I'll only have 2 games on.
The quad box was the only real appeal of Fubo for me.
Dude, it's nice.
Now I have a buddy that taught me how to quad box my TV.
Oh.
And it's not that expensive. So I might teach you how to do that.
Yeah. All
so
right, cool.
There's like a device you can use.
Okay, sweet. Well, that sounds good.
You would need 4.
I need 4 boxes.
Is the device
No, you need 1 box, but you would need like 4 inputs.
Oh, okay.
So if
4
you were
HDMIs.
if you were streaming still, like you would need 4 like Fire Sticks or 4 Rokus or whatever.
I see. Okay.
But you could display them all on one television.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying just get 3 TVs and put them.
No, because that was what I was going to do, was just get like 3 or 4 TVs and like mount them in my TV room. But my buddy was like, if you just get like a giant, like an 85-inch TV, you can quad box it,
and then it's still pretty big.
Yeah, and it's still pretty big,
Nice.
and it's a better use of space, and it's less clunky looking. You don't have to figure out like, oh, I got 4 of the exact same TVs, the exact same size, and whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, you can still watch something on a huge screen if you want. That's the big advantage.
Yeah, our TV's 65, so doing the quad box, it didn't feel like the games were tiny.
Right.
You know, like old TVs. Amazing Daniel says on YouTube TV, I record all football, NFL, FBS, FCS, whatever. That's my treadmill watch.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. Knock it out while you're doing that.
Yeah, I did that. I think I did that with YouTube TV. I recorded all college football games just in case I missed something. But I found I was not watching most of them, in the sense like I was mostly just watching Big Ten. So I have changed it to just watch basically Big Ten and Big East in terms of football and basketball.
Nice. So this segment, talking cable and a little Creighton basketball.
We did talk Creighton basketball. They play Georgetown tomorrow.
Little Creighton basketball.
We're off the air.
The cable guys.
We're off the air early.
Yeah, we will preview the game tomorrow. Talk a little Creighton basketball. We are off the air early tomorrow at 5 o'clock for pregame. John Bishop live from the arena in DC, and then the game will start at 5:30. And I will also. It'll be good that we're off the air early because I have Creighton and DePaul women's hoops tomorrow on BEDN. So
nice.
That game will be at 6. So quite the busy day. But Ravi will be back tomorrow, and we'll have a good time.
Grand old time.
All right, when we return, it's time for some unsportsmanlike content, including a new addition to the Pro Bowl, a new stadium coming to Omaha, question mark, and a question about Lula Stars.
Oh,
People forget about Lula Stars.
Wait till July. They're coming back.
Oh, baby.
Folks,
get to some content when we return on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. Creighton tennis coach Tom Lilly recently picked up his 500th career win, becoming just the 4th CU coach to reach the milestone. His wife Jean assists him on the women's side, making the accomplishment a family affair.
I think the main thing is she knows how stressed out I can get. She's a little more relaxed in that way. I mean, she wants to win. She's very competitive, but she's constantly telling me to settle down at different. she brings me down to earth at times when I need that, and probably when the team needs that too.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Nerds, here at NerdWallet, we often see people wrestle with financial decisions.
Mike is in the ring, up against his nemesis, Indecision. Mike can't decide the best way to save his money, and Indecision has him boxed in. But wait, Mike tagged in NerdWallet.
Let's go. With NerdWallet's side-by-side comparisons, you can find a high-yield savings account with interest rates that earn more bank for your buck. So the next time you wrestle with a financial decision, you'll come out on top. NerdWallet, the smartest decision for all your financial decisions.
After a 4-game road trip, the Mavericks basketball team is back home at Baxter Arena. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sharp. Join me coming up on Thursday night as the Mavericks take on St. Thomas. It's the Mavs and the Tommies from Baxter Arena on News Talk 1290. Quail pregame 6:30. Tip-off 7 o'clock.
Omaha Maverick basketball is in the middle of conference play and scheduled to make a run this season. Come see all the action at Baxter Arena as your Omaha Mavericks try to rise to the top of the Summit League. Let's pack the Baxter. Get your Omaha Maverick men's and women's basketball single game tickets for all upcoming Summit League action at the Baxter Arena box office by calling 402-554-MAVS or at omavs.com/tigs.
Give your business a whole host of options with Host Coffee. The most impressive selection of office coffee, water options, healthy food options, and vending technologies. Host Coffee, serving you since 72. Be a part of the Host Coffee team today. If you'd like to work for a trusted and loyal family-owned company that understands the needs of working families, Host Coffee has your opportunity. Apply at hostcoffee.net.
1620 The Zone's unsportsmanlike conduct is brought to you by Union Bank and Trust. Now back to the program.
Look, I made you some
Unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike content.
Unsportsmanlike content. Content that's unsportsmanlike. I just was reminded during the break that we missed out on some topics that we were unable to get to today.
Formula One.
Like Formula One.
Never.
Nice.
Not going to put that on the show tomorrow.
Never, ever.
Least favorite team that's ever played for a championship, and my rant about everything being rigged. So we will save those
And
topics
Creighton
for tomorrow.
finally.
And
Come on,
Creighton.
man.
Well, we did just preview
we
that
did Creighton
game
last segment.
Yeah, last segment. It says it in the
Georgetown
podcast
is bad.
There you go. Creighton's playing them. So we'll get to that stuff and more tomorrow. Again, we'll be off a little early at 5 o'clock. And we'll have dumb debates. And we'll have Mitch Holtis. And we'll have Steve Sipple.
Oh, my gosh. That's so much.
What's going to
Hey,
happen
don't
with
make
Sipple?
Mitch angry this time. Or not me.
Sipple?
Don't make Sipple
We're not
angry this
going
time.
to get. We're.
Oh, I'm asking about it. I just want to find out what's going on. I just want to ask him to name names. That's what I'm going to do.
What was the deal, bro?
That's what we'll ask him tomorrow. But before then, we got to get to some unsportsmanlike content. Nick Griff.
Tyler Huntley has been named to the Pro Bowl, replacing Josh Allen. Has the Pro Bowl officially reached rock bottom?
I saw a tweet earlier today from one of my favorites in sports media, Bomani Jones, when this news came down. And it says, Ravens quarterback Tyler Snoop Huntley has been named to the Pro Bowl games, replacing Bills quarterback Josh Allen. And Bomani said, to do what? And that's a good question. Tyler Huntley, bro, this is the Pro Bowl. I'm happy I don't watch. I'm happy I don't care. This is hilarious. Also, I didn't know his nickname was Snoop.
Yep.
Snoop Loop.
He only started 4 games. He had more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah.
He only started 4 games.
He was one of the reasons they
didn't make the playoffs.
Well, no, they did, remember? And then they
Oh,
lost to
that's-
the
yeah,
Cincinnati.
yeah,
Remember
yeah.
when he reached the ball and
That's right.
poked away and then ran the other way?
Yeah, that's right. It feels like forever ago. It's very strange.
Dallas was still playing back then.
Was the game they almost lost to the Broncos? That was his first game in, right?
That was, yes.
Uh-huh.
That was the game Lamar Jackson got hurt. Good memory, Nick.
Thank
Look
you.
at you.
I was
Yeah,
at
what
the
the
bar
hell?
watching that
I
one.
don't understand this. I don't understand.
I don't either. I just don't have a Pro Bowl.
Good take.
It's
flag
just
football.
stop.
Just give them their bonuses for making the Pro Bowl and move on.
The All-Pro team matters.
There you go.
The
Give them
Pro
bigger
Bowl
bonuses
team
for that.
does not. This
There you
is
go.
really stupid.
Nailed it.
Union Omaha hopes to build a $100 million soccer stadium in the north downtown that would be accompanied by new housing, perhaps a hotel, and other related entertainment amenities. Do you see something like this coming to fruition?
This is an interesting one because you've already got the
Morrison
Stadium,
and they play there every now and then. They played there last year in the Cup.
That's getting a little older in terms of facility. I think it's pushing 20 years now.
Yep.
Kind of about the same age as the CHI. But it's still an incredibly nice facility.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
it's
They've remodeled it
gorgeous.
here and there.
So you wonder, is there a need for 2 soccer stadiums
Is the
in
need
the same area?
So my question would be, I guess, twofold. Is the need because they can't come to an agreement with Creighton?
Like schedule-wise
Yeah.
or whatever, or money-wise?
How much is the fact that that's a turf stadium versus professional soccer? They want it to be on grass.
Sure.
How much is that playing a part in it?
Maybe Union Omaha would be like, hey, we'll put the grass in, or maybe Creighton doesn't want the grass. I don't know. Maybe playing that much on grass wouldn't work. You'd be talking about Creighton men, Creighton women, and Union Omaha playing on grass.
Yeah.
That maybe would be too much for the field to handle. I guess I don't. The need is kind of the question for me, and I don't know. I'm all for developing the North Downtown and making that area great and everything. Like that's
Make it
cool.
great again.
Well, just making it nice in general. But I don't know about the need for it.
So Marty Cordero in the story by the Nebraska Examiner, I'll just read one of the paragraphs. While the Owls team, just about 3 years old, has used Warner Park as its home, Cordero, as in Marty Cordero, said Omaha soccer in a baseball park wouldn't be viable in the long term. And I think
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Like I go to matches. I go to a handful of matches every year. I'll be, back again this season. And it's cool to watch them. But yeah, when you're there, you're like, yep, I'm definitely at a baseball stadium.
Yeah, it's an awkward fit
Whereas
little bit.
last year, I saw them at Morrison and I saw them at Caniglia. And it was like, I liked that, just the view and the look of especially the one at Morrison was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's better, of course, because it's at an actual
It's at
soccer stadium.
designated soccer stadium.
Yeah.
And I don't know if capacity is maybe an issue at Morrison. I don't know how large they would be wanting this stadium to be. It just seems like it would be hard.
They said 10,000.
Okay, so significantly larger than Morrison. So that would be an issue here as well.
Yeah.
Because they do draw pretty well out at Werner.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just sustaining both facilities with consistent occupancy is just the only thing that would make me hesitate.
Yeah.
Nebraska ball is back, folks, on the hardwood tonight at Illinois. They're 2 touchdown underdogs to the Fighting Illini. Ravi, remember when they beat Creighton?
Nope, sure don't.
Can you believe Nick wrote that question?
What question? I don't even remember.
Oh, by the way, Nebraska's not a 14.5-point dog anymore. They're now 13.5-point dogs.
Still technically 2 touchdowns.
That is 2 touchdowns. 1 missed extra point if you're Brett Maher.
Yes.
I guess 4 if you're Brett Maher.
Basketball?
This is basketball, Nick.
There's touchdowns and field goals.
There are field goals.
There are field goals. Tough. Be a tough one for Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win tonight.
You think we'll break that one down tomorrow as much as we broke down the Creighton-Georgetown game today?
I'm just going to be honest with you. Oh, as much as that one, yes.
Okay, perfect. There you go.
Lamar Jackson was ranked as the top free agent in the NFL by Matt Bowen of ESPN.com. Where will he play football in 2023?
You already heard my take. 49ers. Let's go.
Okay, let's settle down. Your team has enough good players.
This
is your punishment.
You
have all the good players, but you need a bad quarterback.
No, give me Lamar.
Or no quarterback.
No, literally no quarterback.
No,
they were
Nick,
out of quarterbacks.
Get on the 49ers. You're their quarterback now.
On it.
No, give me Lamar. That's all I want.
Wow.
Not a big ask. He's a free agent. Just give me Lamar.
I go back and forth on if he's going to be a Raven or not.
I kind of think no at this point.
I kind of think Jets.
Jets make sense.
I think the Jets are going to have a really well-known player, whether it's him or Aaron Rodgers. They're not going to have Mike White in the bundle of fun anymore.
No, I don't.
Mike White and the White Lotus. They're not doing the White Lotus anymore in New York.
I agree. I don't think he ends up on the Ravens. I feel like too much has happened between them.
What if you went to the Lions?
That would be amazing.
Jared Goff was good though.
I know, but
he's
not that
I get
guy
he's not
long-term.
Lamar, but
he's like Werner Park and Union Omaha. Long term,
Are you sure though?
They just need someone.
Like he
What
was
if he goes to the Dolphins?
good. No.
Nick, you have Tua.
Do we?
Tuanon.
Listen, I really don't have I think it's all a crapshoot in terms of where he actually ends up. So listen, if I was a running quarterback, I would go to the 49ers. That's the best fit.
I think you're a Niners fan.
I am a Niners fan.
That's what I'm getting from this. I just think you want everything to be good for the 49ers.
Yeah, that would be
You're
super
a
cool.
homer, Robbie.
That would be really super cool. I would
Hot
love
take.
that.
I think the 49ers should have won on Sunday.
I think that they should have had a quarterback alive on Sunday. Would have been nice.
That would have been solid.
Real cool.
Meanwhile, Jimmy G's over on the sidelines yucking it up.
Laughing.
Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Yeah, get him out of there.
You had that dude who's been on 14 different teams in 15 years.
Yeah, you have Josh Johnson.
Hard pass.
God, he sucked.
So bad. He couldn't even catch a snap. Jerk.
That was rough. Robbie.
Still here.
Last year, we spent many shows discussing Lula stars in the NBA, in particular, if Jason Tatum was one.
Sure.
He's currently 4th in the NBA in points per game, and the Celtics sit atop the list.
That was the Eastern Conference. I was tired when I wrote this
Just
question.
the list.
Just keep going, Nick.
Could he add his name to the most important threshold in NBA history, apparently? Being a Lula star?
First of all, don't editorialize the apparently. That's not in there.
Yeah, thank you, Robbie.
How
I wrote
dare
it. I
you.
can editorialize it.
Okay. It wasn't approved by your editor. The apparently was not. He could, yeah. I mean, he's by far the best player on that team. There's no question between like him and Jaylen Brown or anybody else. If he would be the reason they win an NBA title. He's borderline now, but this I think would clinch his status as a Lula star. They've been competitive in terms of making Eastern Conference Finals, obviously making the finals last year with him as their best player. I do think that an NBA title would clinch him as a Lula star. Now there's a caveat there. If he goes like 2011 LeBron on me and somehow the Celtics still were to win the title because Jaylen Brown balls out or something, then I would revisit. But barring something bizarre happening, a title would add him to the Lula Star list.
Dang, congrats, Jason Tatum.
Potentially
being a Lula Star.
He's in the running, which is just an honor. It's like the Oscars. It's an honor to be nominated.
It's like going to the conference championship game. Just sounds amazing.
It's not as fun as it seems.
Do you keep a list of your Lula Stars?
I do.
Yeah, remember we did this last summer, Nick. Thanks for listening.
It's on my phone.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Showtime is being renamed.
Really?
To what, you ask?
Probably something cool.
Paramount Plus with Showtime.
Not that cool.
What the hell?
This is dumb.
I think they should have named it Paratime.
Paratime.
Oh, that's cool.
Or Showmount.
I don't.
Showmount.
Showmount sounds like a horse.
Or Mount Time.
I don't understand. Now that sounds like what people might be doing tonight. I don't understand any of this, Ravi.
It's a dumb name.
I don't understand society anymore. You know what? That's my take. Society, you're weird.
You're being weird, guys.
Rich society, you're the weirdest.
Weird vibes.
People in control of streaming companies, you suck.
Name anything that doesn't sound stupid.
It's because they wanted to keep both brands.
Dumb.
Probably.
Dumb.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It's dumb.
That's pretty dumb.
That said, I am excited. There is a Showtime show. You wouldn't like it, Ravi, because you don't like the scary stuff.
I don't.
But I'm excited. It's called Yellow Jackets.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna watch it, but I heard
people
it's good.
might be getting eaten on it. We don't know for sure. Are the high school girls cannibals? Maybe. They crashed in a plane, Nick. What do you expect them to do? The end
Did
of
they
season
eat
one?
each other and lost?
No, but there was Lost. That island was child's play compared to where they're at in Canada. on
Yeah,
the
I mean
show.
they had all these polar bears they could kill and eat on the Lost Island.
Exactly. And
So
then there
Canada
was like,
is more dangerous than the island.
where
of
they
Lost?
are, Nick. They're in the forest, and it's snowing.
Yeah. The climate was more hospitable in Lost, I feel
Ew,
like.
oh my gosh, dude!
Ew,
I'll
I mean, they were
crash there.
literally
I'll
on
live
a
that
tropical
beach.
island.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. There was a smoke monster.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. Were you a Lost guy?
No.
Oh, Nick, were you a Lost guy?
I haven't actually watched.
I
it.
saw.
Jeez, I'm the only one.
I saw one episode. Oh, I saw two episodes. One had a smoke monster in it, and I was like, "Well, this is pretty dumb." And then one had a polar bear in a tropical climate, and I was like, "This
they
is
sent
pretty
it
dumb."
there via. Look, there was a lot of stuff going on that island.
I understand.
We have to go back.
We don't. We
Oh.
don't have to go back.
All right.
This is when we should have known that J.J. Abrams couldn't wrap something up.
Wow, he wasn't even involved at the end of the show. It was Carlton Cuse
because he bailed.
And Damon Lindelof. I love Damon Lindelof. He did The Watchmen. You watch Watchmen?
Yeah,
The new
isn't
show?
he a Game of Thrones guy?
Mm-mm.
Lindelof?
No, you're thinking of Benioff
Benioff.
and Weiss.
Benny
Yeah.
Hoff.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
It was a Hoff.
There you go. All right. Now
Not the Hoff.
Yeah, that was some unsportsmanlike content. When we return, Bet of the Daytime.
Bet of the Daytime.
And we'll wrap up the Grum here on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Need a side hustle or career change? Now you can get certified to repair mobile devices in just 1 week. At the Metropolitan Community College Mobile Device Repair Academy, you can earn a national certification at our 1-week boot camp. Learn the skills you need to become certified and apply them during a 2-month internship. You may be eligible for special tuition funding. Classes start soon and space is limited. For more information or to enroll, visit mccneb.edu/mobile repair.
My, how time flies. Nick Handley here for my friends at DJ's Dugout. Did you know DJ's is celebrating its 30-year anniversary? Yep, everyone at DJ's Dugout says thank you, Omaha Metro, for your amazing support since 1993. DJ's truly loves the communities they serve, and it's an honor to serve you, friends and guests, for so many years. Here's to another 30 years. DJ's Dugout is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Babbel. Évidemment. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Stories Coffee Company is now open in Midtown Crossing and Gretna. Stories Coffee Company serves premium roasted coffee along with a full menu of teas, smoothies, breakfast, lunch, wine, local beer, and heavy appetizers. Stories Coffee Company. People love coffee.
1620 The Zone's Unsportsmanlike Conduct, brought to you by a great friend of the program, Union Bank and Trust.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your new home for Omaha Maverick hockey all season long. Don't miss a single puck drop, power play, barn burner, or any of the action this season. Your home for Maverick hockey, home and away, is News Talk 1290 Coil.
Salty meat is good.
I do love salty meat.
This is Unsportsmanlike Conduct on 1620 The Zone.
And you know why I'm laughing, don't you? Now, it's time for the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Bet of the Day.
Just a little bit under where some folks would like to see this one wind up.
Brought to you by nobody.
You gotta be kidding.
Really, we don't have a sponsor. Sorry.
All right, yesterday in Bet of the Day, John had Iowa State on the money line. They lost. Nick had the Blues on the money line. They lost. I had the Nets -9 against the LeBron-less Los Angeles Lakers. The Nets covered. Thank you for sucking, Lakers. Tonight, I'm going with Wake Forest +7.5 at Duke. You ask, what, Josh?
What?
College
Josh?
basketball?
College
Why aren't you
basketball?
betting against Nebraska?
You love college basketball, famously.
Everyone says this. Good question on not betting against Nebraska. For some reason, I feel like they're going to have a stupid backdoor cover, and so I'm just staying away from that one. Apparently, Stanford Steve is a Duke basketball fan. He's going to this game. His teams always lose when he goes to games. Give me Wake Forest to cover the 7.5.
There you go. I'm going with an NBA parlay.
Oh, promo code 1620.
I'm going Milwaukee Bucks, who are at -590.
Okay.
I'm going with Memphis Grizzlies -225.
Hoping you were going to say -1620.
Nope. And then here's the surprising one: Minnesota Timberwolves +130 against the Warriors. Warriors are coming off of a back-to-back, and they're terrible on the road.
Yes, they are, famously.
+288 total.
Nick?
I'm going to try a heavy favorite hockey parlay.
Oh, this is great. You're up $636, by the way, as the month comes to a close.
Nice. Give me the Caps and the Senators +114.
Capitals, Senators +114?
Yep.
That is the bet of the day.
Iowa.
Oh. Ayahuasca.
He got you good.
Got him.
Comment
Go to your
on
boat,
the
bourgeoisie.
YouTube page.
It's too cold.
Sad Husker fan says, the ending of Lost enraged me. I invested so much time in that show for zero explanation of anything. If I could have done a bet of the day on will the Lost finale be good, at that time, I think I would have bet no, because I didn't really like the final season a whole lot. But man, I did like most of the first 5 seasons.
Yeah. I heard it got real dumb.
Some people say that.
Yeah.
So season 1 was great. I think season 2 was really good. Season 3 sucked, but the first half was really bad. There was a stupid episode where they explained the background of where one of the guys got his tattoos, like cool guys. But the back half of the season had my favorite stretch of episode in the show's run, including We Have to Go Back. I liked season 4. Season 5 was the time travel season. I really dug that. But then, season 6 wasn't very good.
Yeah. I think that people were expecting, with how bizarre the show was, like how many twists and turns, that there was a grand picture that they
and the
were
answers
painting.
just look, questions are more fun than answers. And the answer is like, ooh, what are the whispers?
And it's really easy to put together a bunch of questions. I honestly think that they never thought that show was going to get picked up for as long as it did. And they really never had a plan on how to wrap it up.
And then they just kept asking questions at the end of the show. Like, stop asking questions. Just answer.
The show's over. Just answer the questions you already asked, you dillholes.
That said, I really like Lindelof. I loved The Leftovers. That is one of my favorite shows of all time. And I loved Watchmen. That is another one of my favorite shows of all time.
Watchmen was incredible.
Watchmen was all. Did you ever watch The Leftovers?
No.
That's some sad white people
sounded
stuff.
like it seemed really depressing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm actually good.
It's one of the most depressing shows ever, but man, is it really good. There's this episode where they ended by playing Take On Me, and I love that episode. They played Take On Me like 3 different versions, Nick, in the same episode.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
It's a good song.
Was
quality.
That was some good stuff. All right, coming up tomorrow, Ravi's back. We're off at 5.
Folks.
Guess who's back?
Steve Sipple. What is going on with Sipple? We're going to ask him.
Sipple.
I'm just going to say, I want you to name names. I want him to name names on who these people are that have agendas. So we'll talk about agendas with Sipple.
I think he's going to say you.
Why do I have an agenda?
That's the.
You think he's going to say me?
That's the vibe I got from what your guys' conversation last week.
Yeah, I did too. Well, I guess we'll ask him. Sip, do I have an agenda?
Well, didn't he tell you had an agenda?
Probably.
Like, directly?
Yeah, I guess he kind of did. Yeah, then I'm going to tell him to name my name on pods. Mitch Holtis, Dumb Debates.
Damon Lindelof, famous Phineas and Ferb writer.
Hey, that show had really good writing.
Wait, are you getting Lindelof on the show?
No, I was just looking at his
get
Wikipedia.
him on. He's going to have a
Come
show.
on, produce the show, man.
On Peacock at some point soon. That'll be fun.
Allegedly.
Peacock. Good new show on Peacock. Poker Face.
How is it?
It's really good.
You watched Shrinking yet?
No, I heard that show sucked. Does it not suck?
No, it's good.
Oh.
First 2 episodes at least.
Oh, well, there you go.
We'll
TV.
see.
Folks, how about TV?
Bye.
Bye.